What's new? The Thunder are in the NBA Finals. We are late, courtesy of Mars's connection and Big Ox. I had to help him pay his internet bill, y'all, and for some reason, it took us a little longer than expected, chill. But we are here, y'all, and I don't know what really to say about that ass whooping last night, chill.
I know what to say about it. I think that this new CBA is really hampering. I think it's going to be a problem. Swipe and I have discussed the CBA and the way I felt about the Bulls in '91, the way I felt about the Lakers in 2000, when I was thinking to myself, yo, these dudes are going to be around for a while. I feel the same way about this Oklahoma City team. And I feel like teams like the Celtics, I feel like this could be real good competition, but things get expensive so quickly. And because things get expensive so quickly, it hampers units. Because this team is a team for the ages. They're awesome. And I would love to see them stick around and be together for a bunch of years. But I don't think the CBA is going to allow that. I don't think that this new collective bargaining agreement is going to allow this team to stay together for as long as I'd like to see them together and run off a bunch of championships. I understand that injuries are a part of it, but this team, I was thinking earlier today, a collection of guards. So Dort, Caruso, Wallace, Dub, SGA. Did I leave anybody out in terms of their perimeter guys? I haven't seen a collection of perimeter players in terms of defense be that connected. I haven't seen that. And I'm thinking about Nate McMillan and Hersey Hawkins and Gary Payton. I'm thinking about Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and
Ron Harper.
I'm thinking about great teams that had how connected they are on the perimeter. And I really watched yesterday a defeated Anthony Edwards who just didn't know what to do. He had no idea where to go. He had no idea what he was doing. He just looked like he was going up against a crew that was better and that there was nothing that he could do. Almost like they beat him into submission. That's almost like what it felt like watching Anthony Edwards, because there was really nothing that he could get off. Him being able to read defenses, and we all know he's got to get better in the offseason. And I think he's got to learn how to play better off the basketball. I think he's got to understand defenses better. But I feel like this Oklahoma City team, this new CBA is really doing us a disservice. And I understand, Mars, why they came up with it off the strength that, they don't want to see any more KDs and Steph Curry and Draymond Green and Clay. I do understand that part. They don't want to see bomb squads together like that anymore. I get that point. But I feel like they're really doing us a disservice with allowing the CBA to see teams like this Oklahoma City stay together and be great for a long time.
So, Chill, is this your favorite player in the world, LeBron James's fault? Yeah, Mars, we could turn it into this.
If it's
all right, you know what? I'm sorry, Chill. I'm not gonna do that. I hope everybody's having a good morning. It's a good day to talk hoops. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, Julius Randle, he didn't make it to the finals like a lot of us predicted he would. But Penn, Swiper, John, I would like for you guys to talk about this series and I guess what went wrong or what went right.
I think this is something we see. We see this. We've seen this often. OKC has built this standard to where perimeter players just don't play as well against this Thunder team. Like you look at Donovan Mitchell over the regular season, he averaged like 10 points against the Thunder over those 2 games. Anthony Edwards struggled. Jamal Murray had a few good games, but he struggled as well. When you have this collection of point of attack defenders and you have a team that plays together, they trap well, they rotate well, they have backline rim protection, so they can be as aggressive as they want. Caruso can be all up in players because Chet Holmgren's at the rim, Isaiah Hartenstein's at the rim, Jalen Williams is at the rim at times. So the way that they suffocate these perimeter players, Jaylen Brown also struggled when they played the OKC Thunder. Perimeter players struggle normally against this Thunder team. So this isn't something I'm necessarily surprised at. I think Ant had some moments where he looked really good against this Thunder team, but they have the versatility to make adjustments. They have the versatility to change up their lineups. They have multiple guys that can do a job really well. Lou Dort, Caruso, Cason Wallace, Dub. SGA can give them some good minutes when he does. Chet's at the rim. Isaiah Hartenstein's at the rim. They have too much defensively. They have way too much.
Ben, how you feel about last night?
I feel good. I want to address what Chill said about, what this team could do in the future and how it's all going to fall apart because of CBA. The cap's going up by 10% next year. It's going to keep going up and up and up. The money coming into this is insane from the TV rights deal.
Sure.
So, look, this is a team right now that's the youngest team in the NBA. In this offseason, Chet is going to be 23. Going into training camp, Chet's going to be 23.
Mhm.
J-Dub's going to be 24. Shea is going to enter training camp 26.
Yep.
And they're going to add Nikola Topic. Hadn't played.
No, they're not. Mars, give me the kid, Mars. No, they're not.
Every
They
time.
are not. Hand him over, Mars.
Yeah,
give me the kid.
we can't say his name without
You
that.
don't need him, Mars. Give me
Cough
the
up the bloody kid,
Well,
Mars.
Give me the kid, Mars.
Well, this is the thing.
Hand
Chill.
over the bloody
When
kid.
Cason Wallace becomes expensive on his next deal, or if Alex Caruso needs to be moved because 20 million is too much. Well, guess what? That pick that they're going to get at 15, the pick that they are undeniably going to hit at 20 because their scouting staff is taking this seriously. Those players are just going to step right in. As long as you keep your core, and the core is Chet, J-Dub, and SGA. Everything else is fluid around these guys.
So you just keep recycling, Pig?
It's almost like I said this 2 days ago.
Yes.
You did say it, John. And you know what's funny? When you said it, I wasn't really feeling you. Maybe it's the Canadian accent or whatever the case may be. Pig, you got a little bit of Mars in you? Either way it goes, it makes sense though from what both of you guys are saying. Like you give.
I don't have a Canadian accent.
My bad. Your Serbian accent.
I don't have a Serbian accent either.
No, I don't hear
bad. Your American accent.
The boat. I don't hear any of that.
All right, you have a
I don't
silent
hear any
accent.
of that from
You have a muted accent.
Pin, you say against.
So
That is Canadian.
You do say it.
against. That's Canadian.
Yes.
Oh, I don't hear anybody say.
I heard
so
it in
assumed it was-
Bahamian.
I assume it was
They
Canadian.
say that.
Maybe.
They say that in the Bahamas too. Against.
I don't know. Maybe that's the East Coast thing. I don't know. I just never heard nobody say that like that.
How do you
Except
say
for like
it?
on TV or something.
How do you say it? Again?
Against.
Against.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I mean, the weird thing about accents, you don't even hear it. I used to say coffee,
Right.
and I didn't even hear coffee. People would make fun of me. I'm like, coffee.
Then I
What's
want
the
you to stay on
difference?
the point though. I don't want to derail you. I don't. You got Topic. This is where we were. You got Topic moving in when
15.
Cason Wallace gets expensive, but keep going.
Plus, you got 15. Plus, you got 20. Plus, you got all these young guys getting better. Plus, they got a bunch of picks coming up in the next 5 years. They can just keep recycling the back end of this roster. How is it that all these other teams fell apart? They lost their depth. One, because they depleted their depth to get the player in the first place.
Mhm.
This OKC team is completely backwards. Most teams went out and they packaged up a whole bunch of picks and some expensive contracts and got their star, right? This team got a whole bunch of picks for their star, like with their star, right? SGA came with 5 first-round picks or 6 first round. I don't remember how many
It was
picks.
5 of them, correct.
5 picks.
Mhm.
So consider this the opposite of what New York did. New York gave up 5 picks for Mikal Bridges.
Yep.
Right. So that's the difference that I'm saying. This team is set up for the long haul.
Yep.
I think they're going to win 3 to 4, maybe 5 championships over the next 10 years, including this year. And we are witnessing a dynasty.
Pim, my man, I absolutely won't fight this, yo. I absolutely won't. But chill. I wanna ask you though. Have you ever seen a setup like this? Like they literally set themselves up to heist the league.
Yeah.
Swiper. The only one I can think of is OKC 10 years ago.
With the
I've
exception
never
of
seen
I
this
still don't
young.
think that's the same thing.
No, with the exception of
John,
with the
this is
exception of
crazy.
the draft picks. I mean, the Bulls set themselves up by building through the draft in the mid 80s to what they turned into in the 90s, right? Other than that, that's the only maybe the Lakers, maybe the Lakers in the 80s
But
early.
the reason why I can't say that, chill, because how young was Kareem, Magic, and Jordan?
Yep.
Magic was real young. But how young was their best player?
It's the Spurs. The
Well, see,
obvious answer is the Spurs. The
But
Spurs set
even then,
themselves up this way.
David Robinson was what, 34?
Well, here's the
Yes,
thing
when
though.
they first hit,
When you
33,
have
33?
young players, your young players can extend your older players. Magic put some years on Jabal, right? Magic 100% extended Jabal's career because of how good he was. So when I think about what Red Auerbach did with the Celtics, with those draft picks, being able to get Kevin McHale and then throwing in Robert Parrish as a throw-in, right? And then then turning that into something special. When I seen Jerry Krause, moving off of Charles Oakley and then getting Bill Cartwright, and then also finagling that with a number, I think 17 pick, and they ended up with B.J. Armstrong, right? So, to Penn's point, they didn't have as many draft picks, but I feel like the developmental process was there, right? The thing that I'm countering with you, which you made a really good point about the draft picks. Okay, these draft picks, they are going to turn into something. That part I'm not going to argue. I'm thinking about these guys developing and how good Oklahoma City is at developing these guys. And after developing these guys and these guys get good, these guys get expensive and they go other places for bread. Like we've seen teams lose. Denver's a prime example. We saw KCP move off of Denver and go get paid. We saw Bruce Brown move off of Denver and go get paid. So I can appreciate the developmental process. 100% I can appreciate that. But what you're banking on is you're banking on these guys consistently getting better. And then once you lose them, now you're recycling these guys.
Cho,
that's
this is a
gamble.
totally different. This is a
gamble.
different situation than Denver, Milwaukee, Toronto. The gap between this team and the next best team is so large. You can afford to lose a Case and Wallace and be fine. This is a team that lost Chet Holmgren for 50 games this year.
That did happen. Yes, it
did. There's no other team in NBA history that has achieved this level of success in the regular season and one of their top 3 players missed that much time. It's never happened. So when you consider their margin of error right now, they're blowing teams out by 30. Yesterday, if they really wanted to, they could have punched this team into a 50-point loss.
I wanted
if they really wanted to.
I wanted to get the 50 pin. I did. I wanted to see that.
It could have gone to that. They've beat every single team, like handled them. The only team that you could say even kept it close was Denver.
Oh,
what do you mean?
So, look what a hurt hammy does, man.
But that's
the Pacers.
But these other teams were not chopped liver. They didn't face the Miami Heat in the opening round. Okay, they faced a competent, relatively healthy Memphis team, and
Memphis was not healthy.
Relatively healthy.
Competent is.
So I don't think you have your best player for half the series and you're relatively healthy. They were going to win.
They were getting beat by 30 with their best players. Stop.
Well, they were getting beat by 30. And then Ja went down, and then they came back and won that game. That's what happened.
Bro, they were down 50.
They were winning by 30.
Were they not down 50
and Memphis
in
was
game
up 30. Memphis was factually up 30. They were up 30.
So you prescribe to the Ja Morant theory that, I figured them out.
No. Okay, I'm saying
cool.
what you said was incorrect.
I said
were
relatively healthy.
They were, but I'm saying, but if your best player is not hurt, then I don't think that's relative. Like that means you are missing a big play.
Swiper, if you can be down 50 and you're healthy, I don't.
The Warriors were down 45 plus to Memphis, and they lost that game, and they won the series. So, yes, that happens on playoff fronts now. I think this new NBA playoff games, you can get beat by 40 or 30 points and then come back and still win the series. So, I think that's like that happens now. But I think OKC, beyond what you're saying, I think they're just. I'm not talking about a single game aberration. I'm not talking about like a one game exception. This is the net differential has been there all year in the regular season, and it exists now. Their margin of victory is larger. Their turnover margin is the largest. I think it's the largest turnover margin we've ever seen. So, like how they score off these turnovers, and let's not even talk about like the efficiency of their defense, the competency of their coaching and their schemes, and how well they adjust. Their star player and how he is seemingly getting better every single game as he figures these coverages out. The fact that he is not getting worse but actually getting better. The fact that he is not someone who has ever shown us a tendency to become complacent and is probably going to come back next year with new things in his game. You can't stop him right now. So you're gonna stop him next year? I mean, shoot. I just think good luck to the West, man. Good luck to the league. Well, that's really good. I think the difference between where I am with you can play something else. Right?
No, go ahead, Swiper. I just wanted to just remind everybody that this was the score at the end of the first quarter, 26-9.
Bro, they were on pace for 36 points in the game.
They were missing like wide open looks too. I think that also is credit to the Wolves. Like Jaden McDaniels had like 5 wide open jumpers and just was clanking. I think the pressure got to him.
I don't. For me, shot variance, it's like there's so many things that go into that. I just think that like they crashed, and I think they knew they didn't have a chance to win that game. And OKC was going crazy. Well, SGA had like 12 points and 4 assists in the first quarter. They were down 17, 9-26, and then he goes out, and then the Wolves try to make a run. They go down 22 points, and then the game is over. Like by that point, I mean, it's just like a complete and utter destruction. I never thought the Wolves had a chance in this series. Personally, I just never. There was nothing about what the Wolves did. I think that was going to make OKC feel any pressure. There's no 2-man game to make them struggle. I think Anthony Edwards just simply isn't like, there's just too many things that he has to work on and develop in this game. I think take advantage of that defense consistently. I just don't think Julius Randle was going to be worth his salt in the series either. He wasn't.
Worth what?
Worth his salt. It's just
worth his
weight.
Salt?
It's wait. Worth his weight in salt.
Yes, it's just.
He had. I don't
think
game
he was
one.
terrible.
He had game one.
Yeah, he did have game one.
Cooking game one.
Yeah,
Game three,
Game three.
Game 3.
Yeah,
Game 3.
Yeah, the one they won. Yeah, the game they won.
Game
The
3.
game they won.
He wasn't terrible in the series.
Now game 2 and game 4.
Well, I think he was pretty bad. Personally,
I can't say Julius played a good series.
And then yesterday was like.
I didn't say he was. I didn't say he was awesome. I didn't think he was terrible. I don't
think he was.
I mean, it depends.
Relative to what he's been. Relative to what he's been in the playoffs.
What? So
based on what I expected against the OKC defense, I think Julius Randle was about what I expected.
Can you guys all give me your grade for
Julius
Randle? Before we get to Ant and Rudy, what grade? If you guys were his teacher
in this series
alone, what grade would you give him? And relative to, I guess, the defense.
Well, relative to people saying he could be top 15 conversations.
I'm not going to do relative to that.
Hang on. Yeah, this is where Swiper likes to practice selective listening.
Yes, 100%.
I said if he solves this
I didn't even know you
defense.
Said it. Okay, I don't remember you saying.
I said it.
The phrase.
If he solves this OKC defense, he needs to be put into top 15 and top 20 conversations because this is a defense that I don't think he can solve. That's the point. I didn't think Julius Randle was going to solve this defense. I don't think Anthony Edwards was going to solve this defense. I said it before the series started. Their playmaking is going to be tested. Y'all remember me saying this is a 3 a.m. lights. This team shows you who you are. Well, now you know who you are. You can go into the offseason and go figure it out. And Anthony Edwards, come back better. He's 23 years old. I really hope today does not turn into an Anthony Edwards sucks podcast because it definitely should not.
Because he doesn't. No, we're not doing that. No, we're not. Why? Because he doesn't suck. That's why. That's why.
So
because
Darren
it doesn't
only
suck.
For certain players. I got you. All right.
No, it doesn't. We didn't say Joker suck. We didn't do that, Swiper. Don't do that because we didn't say that.
I mean, no, we did.
I was just praising Caruso.
We did. We
didn't say that Joker sucked. That's not true.
No. That's no. But look, to finish my point, what I was saying earlier, for also rudely cut off. I think that the OKC Thunder are an all-time great team. I think they played like
corrected. You were not really cut off.
In this situation, I don't see. I like I said before the playoffs, the only team I saw beating them was Denver. I don't think anybody else is beating them. I don't even think anybody else gets 2 games off of them. I think they're going to walk through the rest of the offs. I don't think the Pacers. I mean, I'm already like,
I don't know.
No, I think Indiana's going to get. I think they're going to get destroyed. But that's no disrespect. Who and then he'll go wrong with his spit gimmick again.
I don't. Hey,
I smell a filthy hater.
I mean, the Knicks still have a chance.
In theory, the series is not over, Mars. No, in theory, that's
counting out the Knicks.
The Knicks go to the finals.
Stop doing this? 2026, 27.
To speak on the stuff that Chill brought up earlier, I think the CBA more so than at least from my understanding, more so than not having juggernauts is owners just simply did not want to have to be penalized. They didn't want to be penalized by the fans and by the teams for not paying guys and for being cheap. And on top of that, they made it so it's so restrictive that nobody you can go over the cap and like the luxury tax. You can be a second apron team, but the penalties for being in the second apron for multiple years, being a repeat offender, is hundreds of millions of dollars worth of a penalty. So like you're de-incentivized to build a quality roster over the stretch of years, unless the OKC, and the reason why OKC is such a historical anomaly, OKC is they're the youngest team. They already have an MVP player at 26 years old. They have an all NBA player in year 3, after year 3 with J-Dub. And then you have Chet Holmgren, who's in year 2 Correct, 3.
Well, year 3. He didn't play that first
Year
year.
3
It's
technically.
Yeah, year two
year.
playing.
Second
Year
year.
2 playing. Yeah,
Right.
year 2 playing.
And then you have Wallace. You have other drafted players. Who else? They obviously got Hart.
They got
Free
Wiggins in the
agency,
second
Caruso
round.
free agency.
Yeah, they got Wiggins in the second
Kendricks, who
round.
got minutes in this series, didn't get minutes at all in the series prior. They have a collection of ordinances that are so different than anyone else historically because they have premium draft picks. They got 4 draft picks in this round, 4 first-round draft picks coming up in this round. They have 20, I think, over the next
4
5
ones
years.
in this draft coming up.
I believe they have 4 that they have access to.
They might have to
Somebody
change
can
the
correct me
rules.
if I'm wrong.
I think they have.
I don't think they got 4 this year. I think it's next year.
Next year,
Why they
26?
change the rules for that? They play the
It
game.
could be
They play the game correct.
A team's doing their job, though. Their team's doing their job. They shouldn't change the rules.
Yes,
for the team
they
doing
do.
their
Yeah.
job.
Remember they?
Ron, we still grading Juice.
Yeah. Remember
I
they
don't
lost the
even think
pick
we got any
to the
grade, though.
Sixers though.
Oh.
They were going to get the Sixers pick and they lost that one.
Yeah,
I
they got
think Julius,
15th.
That's right.
They got 15th, 24th. That's really it. And 15th and 24th. Yeah.
They
got
could
2
trade
first
season.
into the.
In
They
the
could trade
25
into the
draft.
lottery if they wanted.
Easily, Mars.
They could
Well,
trade into
like
the
give up
lottery if they
both of
wanted.
those.
Yo,
and get
Not just
higher,
them
or
picks. Not
or
Yeah.
give somebody else.
Give up both of them. If they want to get really high, give up Topic as well. Like they could.
Wait,
really
what
trade
is
it.
the
Give up the kid.
hey,
Not
chill.
to Brooklyn, but they could.
Chill.
They could. Like if they really saw someone, they was like, "This is the answer." They could. They just
Chill.
have flexibility. I'm not saying they should, but
honestly,
crazy-
if they
as
give
crazy
him
as it
up,
sounds-
that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. That means they
Hey.
really don't believe in the jump shot. I'm just tell you that right now.
Or
I mean,
they
they might-
just see
I
somebody else
mean,
they
they-
believe in. You know
or
what I'm saying?
or they
You know?
believe in someone else. Like they don't want to repeat Josh Giddey. Like no disrespect to Josh Giddey, but
Right.
like you don't want to have a repeat situation where this guy's not good enough to take the ball out of Shea's hands or take the pressure off him, and now he can't shoot. So we're just here, just using someone in the corner.
Are we grading Julius for real right now? Like,
Yeah, we will. But
But hold
okay.
up right quick before we get there. I do just want to say like the Thunder are so well set up. I don't think anything is off the limits for the Thunder. I think they can get anything they wanted.
They could still go get Giannis if they wanted to. They
can
can still go get
they
Giannis
can
if they wanted
anything. Hey,
Yep.
including Cooper Flag. As crazy as y'all might think
to. Oh,
that is.
okay.
All right,
Here he
hey,
goes.
Mark.
Here he
Huh, how the
goes.
hell they gonna get Cooper Flag? They
Here
don't
he
got
goes.
nobody
Here he
nobody
goes.
else.
Hey,
They would have
If
to give
they
up chat.
wanted Cooper
well,
Flag,
they want to.
To
But
Ron's
the Mavericks,
go get that
Mavericks
one.
have no incentive. Like they have no incentives. I think. To
all
move off
right,
Cooper
get on the
Flag.
phone with
Okay.
OKC.
Okay,
Hey, Swiper.
Nico Harrison.
Hey, Swiper.
You want Chet Holmgren? You want Chet Holmgren? Boom. There's your
Thank
deal.
you.
and wait a minute, not just Chet Holmgren. How many of these ones do you want?
How many?
The same.
Wait.
Two
So
picks.
y'all
The
Boom.
same Chet who missed
Done.
his whole first year and missed 50 games this year. We're trading Cooper Flag for him.
Yep.
Not only
this
that,
is
Mars,
Nico
I'm saying,
Harrison, bro.
if I'm
No.
trading Cooper
No.
Flag, it's for Giannis. Like that's it. Like
I don't even know if
it.
I'm doing that.
Chet Holmgren is apparently getting me Cooper Flag. Okay.
You definitely should not. do
Isn't
that,
this the
sir.
same Chet Holmgren that you guys told me, you Mars in particular, who told me that this Chet Holmgren could possibly be the best defensive player in the game, right?
Yes.
Next to Wemby. Okay,
Yes.
so he's 22 years old?
23, I think.
Okay, 23 years old, and I don't know exactly who Cooper Flag is. I do know what Chet Holmgren is turning into. I do know
food
that.
at the rim. Yeah.
Yes, I 100% know that.
On occasion,
I 100%
Mars,
know
yes,
that.
on
Yeah,
occasion.
I ain't talking. Shush.
Yeah.
I'm not.
100%. On occasion, he was food.
We don't even got to do this.
No,
We don't gotta-
no
First
doubt
of all,
about that.
welcome
However,
back, Mars.
However,
Thank you.
however, if I can get Nico Harrison on the phone, don't forget he came off of Luka. You don't think that he'll give me that number 1 overall pick?
Incompetence is the only way that OKC could acquire Cooper Flag. If that's the avenue we're going, if we're saying Nico Harrison might just be incompetent again, yes, they could get Cooper Flag. I'm assuming competence. Assuming the Mavs GM is competent, OKC aren't getting Cooper Flag. But damn near anyone else in the league, Cooper Flag, Wemby, Luka, I think is now untouchable. I think LA is going to make him untouchable. Everyone else,
Facts. He ain't going nowhere.
Jokic, obviously. Everyone else,
He's not going anywhere. 'cause he's
What-
a-
what-
Luka, hey.
Yo.
We ain't gonna talk about it. Luka ain't going nowhere. He ain't going nowhere.
And Amen Thompson.
He's
That
happy
makes
at
a lot of
home. He's
sense,
happy
Mars.
at
Like,
home. You
those-
seen
those-
that game?
Those 4 guys, for the most part, are untouchable. I'm just saying,
And
OKC.
untouchable.
OKC, no. If they wanted it, yeah, no, they could get
For
it.
who? Shea?
Bro, OKC,
No,
Ron,
That's
how?
the only person you're gonna have to give up.
Wrong.
I don't know
I'm
how
not
many
asking-
picks these dudes have.
I'm not giving up Ant.
You guys overstate the
picks
value
aren't
of
going to
picks.
be. Those
You
picks
guys
aren't going to be
overstate the value of
top
picks.
3 picks, Ron. Those picks aren't going to be
They
top
have
5 picks.
they have
you
three
guys overstate the
all-star
value of
caliber
picks.
players,
You guys overstate the
and they
value
have a
of picks.
million.
They're not going to be top
but
5
they're-
picks.
So
though, Ron.
so J-Dub and 4-1s doesn't do it for him.
No.
Hey,
Nigga,
newsflash.
hell no.
Newsflash. J-Dub outplayed it. Newsflash.
Okay.
J-Dub's younger than it.
Congratulations to
No,
J-Dub.
he's
He's
not.
hooping in that
He's
season.
1 year older.
That's
All
hilarious.
right. You know what? I'll
J-Dub
come
was
off that.
hooping.
I'll come off
So
that.
wait, hold on, y'all. Hold on. They got
Yeah.
so this year they have the 15th
Maybe
from
Ant,
Miami,
maybe
the 24th, the 2nd, and then they have their own first next year. They got Phillies next year protected 1-4. They got Utah's next year protected 1-8. So they have the swap second round, and then in 27 they got the LA Clippers swap for the first, and then they have Denver protected 1-5 in 27. They have their own 2s. They have Dallas swap in 2028. They have 2 first round picks in 29. They have 1 pick in 30, and then you start getting the 31. So
Swiper, these aren't top 5 picks, right? Swiper, you
well, it depends. Some of the swaps,
That Clippers pick might be quite good.
Yeah, it's unprotected
That
swap.
Philly pick
So-
could be
Okay,
a lottery
okay.
pick next year.
Okay.
We don't know what
It ain't
Philly's
enough
going to
to
be.
get
We don't
Ant,
know if
though.
Philly's
Yeah, but
playing.
I wouldn't.
Oh no, Ron was.
I'm a
Ron
dice
was
shaker,
yapping.
but I can't
Ron-
get.
Ron
I
was
can't
Hey,
get.
yapping.
J-Dub, hey, wait,
Yeah,
Ron.
yeah.
J-Dub, Casey
was-
Wallace, 4 firsts and 3 swaps.
Yeah, come on,
I'm
y'all.
still not
No,
giving
come on, y'all.
still not giving
They're
up.
coming off
Still not
Ant.
giving up.
Bro,
They're coming
Hold
off
on,
Ant.
chill. Wait, chill. You hear that? Wait, chill. You hear that? Beep, beep, beep. That's the moving truck.
No,
That's the moving
Wait.
truck for us in Indianapolis.
You do understand that the Minnesota front office will be responsible for pairing
Connolly?
Ant and Shea together, right? You
Well,
do
Tim Collins did it
understand.
anyway, so he could just blow it up
It's
before he
not-
goes.
It don't even matter though. It's not even so much about what we're getting back as much as we're in the same conference. We're in the same division. I'm not playing against Ant and Shea regularly. I don't want to play that, and I'm not going to do that to the rest of the league
Ox,
because they're going to
They
hate
don't
me the
want
same
Ant.
way. I don't care if they want him or not. That's not the point. Okay, you know
How
what?
did we get here? Can we
You know
get
what?
back to
Actually,
Julius
you're right.
Randle?
That was Ron. Ron started up.
Yeah, can we get back to Julius Randle
my bad,
instead of
guys.
these
I just wanted to hit a trade.
crazy
I'm sorry.
trade
I'm
packages
sorry.
that
Nick, I'll
never
tell you
happened?
what,
Yeah, my bad.
Ron
I'm sorry, bro.
ain't worth the salt in his bread.
I'm sorry for hosting you guys and
Man,
asking.
you know what? Hey, first off, I do want to say, Mars, welcome back. We didn't miss you. John D, it's always great to see you here, standing on your own toes. Penn, it's great to see you. You know, we obviously don't get to see you every day, so I really appreciate the group being up here.
So I'm not here, Swiper.
No, but you're here every
problem.
day. You're here every day. I'm saying I'm appreciative of the people that have not been.
Before we do,
No,
too
why
much,
do we do this? Can I
Swiper,
don't
can
want.
you
I don't want
explain
to.
the poll
No.
you put up on Twitter? Can you explain
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
'Cause I've
Oh,
seen it.
oh,
I just want to explain.
Oh wait, no, let Ron explain it. Let Ron
No,
explain how we got there.
I'm gonna go find it.
Ron's leaving. Ron.
Y'all was leaving to go find the poll, but
No. Yeah, well, you got to pull in your mind.
Okay, I need
Look, this is
that
what
one
I was gonna
explained.
say.
I
This is what I was
need
gonna say, Mark.
that one to be explained.
It was because of Braun. I asked directly based on what he was saying about Hallie. This is exactly what happened verbatim. Chill. Tell me if I'm lying. Ron then said that the OKC offense will be better with Tyrese Halliburton than with SGA. So then you weren't here. I put the poll up and I said, class, what do you all think? Do you agree with Ron's assessment? But because it's me, they thought I said it. I didn't say that.
He did not say
He
that.
said that. That was Ron. That was only Ron that said that. So Ron was the inspiration behind yesterday's poll.
Okay, thank you.
I guess SGA saw the poll because
That's
he
what
basically looked like Tyrese Halliburton for the first like 12 possessions
He was
yesterday.
being guarded by a pole. So
Okay.
All right.
Again,
I'm
Swiper,
not-
and really quickly
gotta
before we move on,
gotta
Swiper,
let
can you
watch.
tell me that trade, the trade package one more time?
Oh, I said Casey Wallace and J-Dub, 4 firsts and 3 swaps.
I'm not giving up Ant.
No.
I'm not giving
hey,
up.
hand over the key.
I'm sorry, y'all. That
Like they're
y'all
doing
can
that.
do all this pretending all you want. You get an all
No.
NBA player at 23. You get Casey Wallace, and then you want to add another player in there. Sure, take one, and then you get
Aaron
4.
Williams.
We
But
also
guess
got
what?
all. We
But
already
guess
have
what?
an all NBA.
Now to put my pin hat on, which is my Canadian glaze. They wouldn't even do that trade with OKC because they don't want it. Not for that. If we're gonna go swing for a player, it ain't gonna be another guard that needs the ball next to SGA. They would get a big Wimby, something like that. They're fishing for big.
That's not
They
getting
want
you
that.
Wimbies.
That's what they want. They want a Wimby. No, I'm saying I'm not saying they're gonna do it. They're not gonna get it, and they're not gonna do it. They're not making the trade for Ant. That's what I'm saying.
Don't get off your trash takes and say you're putting on my hat, okay?
No, that wasn't my take. I agree with you. I'm saying they wouldn't trade for him. I didn't make the take. Ron said they would trade for Ant. And Pin, I know me and Ron, we were in two different places on there. He said that. I am counter what he's saying they wouldn't do it. And I'm agreeing that you just said they don't even want Ant. So I'm actually agreeing with what you already said.
First of all, Swiper, you couldn't walk a mile in that Puma hat. All right.
No, I'm not.
You can that crystal ball can't handle that Puma hat.
I'm not from the tough streets. No, I hear you.
That Puma hat too big for you. You couldn't fit that Puma hat. How dare you even insinuate putting on a Puma hat? But anyway,
I've never worn a Puma hat in my life.
We were talking about.
I do own Pumas though. Pumas have some nice shoes. Shout out to Puma. But
you know how many red bandanas you're gonna have to put on to fit that Puma hat?
That's a fact. That's a fact, bro. Talk about it.
But Julius Randle, fellas, and I want to grade for the most part everybody in this series, all the high players, the major caliber players.
I'll give Julius a B.
What direction is this? Is this a D?
Yeah, I'll give him a B.
It should be.
Wait for the whole. We're talking about the whole playoffs.
I'm talking about the series.
The series.
I'll give him a B for the series.
The playoffs, he's at A-. The playoffs, he's at A-.
A-.
The series, yeah. The playoffs, he's at A-. The series.
I'm saying D.
I'll remind you, he shot 63% true shooting against the OKC Thunder.
B-.
Yeah. I will say, like, for the series, I did like when Julius was aggressive. I didn't like it when he was aggressive and like unsure. You know what I'm saying? Where he's just kind of dribbling and just being aggressive, but backing down too much. I thought that was a bad move. I did like how he wasn't just allowing Alex Caruso just to force him to do whatever he wanted to do, but still. It wasn't too good for Julius this series. So this series, I think I'm gonna have to give Julius a C-, maybe a D+. But for the whole season and the first two playoff series, man, Julius played great. Julius played the type of basketball that I expect Julius to play. So overall grade, Julius is getting a A- for me.
Y'all got some mountains out in the West.
Hell yeah, we got mountains.
Nice.
We got everything you're looking for.
Nice. So
we got real mounts, we got flesh mounts, we got whatever you look for.
You know the Rockies? Have you ever heard of the Rockies?
California West?
Not the Rockies, the Sierra Nevadas, the Cascades.
Y'all got
the Rockies clear.
Y'all got some.
You ain't never heard of Mount St. Helens?
So you climb one of those mountains. I'm gonna grade your mountain climbing abilities. I'm gonna grade it very different than when you trying to climb Everest, right?
Respect Mount Whitney.
Respect Mount Rainier.
It ain't Everest. So what I'm saying is this.
Well, Everest is actually kind of overrated at this point because it's a tourist attraction. People literally get flown up to the top.
Thank you, Swiper.
So, to be fair, there are a lot of capitalism.
Everest was a real feat.
There are literally hundreds of people at one time at the top of Everest now.
It's ridiculous. It's like Disneyland at this point. People are waiting in line for days.
Cool. Mount Flat in Everest is what I'm hearing.
Exactly. Mount Whitney is real mountain climbing. Mount Whitney motherfuckers is dying.
Pen, you had a point, Pen.
Come to the Rocky Mountains. You want real eats? Come to Rocky Mountains.
My point is, if you have a high turnover rate, if you average a 20% turnover rate against an average team, I'm gonna say your grade's like a C or a D. But you're doing it against a team that is triple teaming you and is better equipped to triple team you than possibly any team in NBA history. So I'm gonna have to consider that when I'm grading you, because you're not superhuman. I watched Nikola Jokic turn the ball over against this team at a rate that was alarming for him. So if he's going to do it, and he's 10 times the player that you are in terms of a passer and a processor of the game, well, then I gotta say you exceeded my expectations. If you're going to tell me walking into this series that Julius Randle is going to shoot 63%, he's going to give you 3 games north of 20 points, and he might actually win you a game with one of his performances, I'll say, damn, take it. Julius Randle not supposed to win you 3 games in this series. He's supposed to win you 1. He did.
100% he did.
Oh, okay.
The defense was pretty ass.
So how many games did Ant win?
Well, they only won 1 game.
So did Julius win that game?
That Julius won that game.
I know you can say both of them.
The Timberwolves won the game.
But Mars,
they won by 50. It wasn't just Julius won them. They won by
anti-individuality. Mars, you know how he feels about that.
No one won them the game. Julius and Ant both hooped. And they won the game because
they combined for 50
relative to what Julius Randle was doing previous to these playoffs. relative to what he's been doing in the past. He almost shot 50, 40, 90 in these playoffs. In the playoffs alone. Yes. He went almost 50, 40, 90 in these playoffs. So because of that, going up against arguably, and this series specifically, Ron, going up against arguably the best defense that the NBA has ever seen analytically. And for him to, and for what I've seen from Julius Randle in the past, where he's completely disappeared in series, that Atlanta Hawks series in 22 and 21, where he just vanished like a ghost, completely vanished like a ghost. And everything that I've seen from him in the past in playoff series, for him to play the way he played against this Oklahoma City team, where I don't think he was complete and utter garbage, I give him a B.
So for the most part, you guys are impressed with Julius for what he did.
Well, my expectations against OKC were lower, so that's why the two horrible games is like, I'm not really surprised he would have some bad games, and I think the good games is particularly Game 3, really impressive.
Yes.
Yesterday was stat padding of hell, but like game 3 and Game 1 was really good. Now Game 1 was because he couldn't miss a 3, so it's like you understand that wasn't a sustainable way to be effective, but in that game he was extremely effective.
Well, are we just judging?
You tell me Julius Randle has 2 really good games, 2 stinkers against arguably one of the best defenses ever? B-.
Are we
the Thunder respected him. Hang on. The Thunder actually respected him. And the respect that they showed him and the respect that they showed guys like obviously Anthony Edwards, that's what created those open looks for Dante DiVincenzo. That's what created the open looks for Jaden McDaniels. Now, Jaden McDaniels can't hit his first 6 threes. How the hell is that Julius Randle's fault?
It's not.
Right? So again, I'm doing my job. What I said in the last episode, and y'all were like, some people were really cooking me, and they're like, "Oh my god, I know Penn's never played basketball. If he thinks this way, if I go 3 for 18 and I was triple teamed the whole damn game, I did my job, right?"
Huh?
Oh Lord,
we've been over this already, Penn. Stop saying that.
It's true. Anyway,
wait. If who's 3?
Wait. If so, wait. Re-say what you just said.
I said if I went 3 for 18 and I was triple teamed the whole game, I did my job.
You know how many people are open, Penn? Why you shoot 18 shots?
18 times.
What?
Late clock scenarios.
18 grenades?
You're dribbling too much at that point, though.
Oh my God, Penn, we are boxing in the locker room.
It's the Allen Iverson effect, man. Allen Iverson used to say, "I'm not passing you the ball. Go get an offensive rebound." It's the same thing.
And that was dumb when he said it.
No,
somebody should have kicked his ass.
No, it wasn't. Scoring gravity is a real thing.
Is the point you're making, if you're drawing a lot of attention, the percentages on us, like, they don't matter as much?
Yeah, because if I'm okay, like sure. Again, you don't know that I don't get 15 assists. You don't know if the cost of triple teaming me means I'm sending 2 to the offensive glass and you only have 1 defensive rebounder back. The overall effect and the overall impact of the game is to win the game. So if I'm drawing 3 defenders, that means I'm a very good scorer. 100%. That means I'm doing my damn job.
Yeah,
so one night I might be shooting 3 for 18 and that's an off night and shit, live with it, but the next night I might shoot 8 for 18, 12 for 18, shit. Like I got to do my job as a scorer. Like the whole thing going into yesterday's game was Anthony Edwards.
I know you hate this, Penn. I know you hate this, Swiper, but in theory, he is correct. I am doing my job. However, you're not doing a good job.
3 for 18.
You said 3 for 18.
I get the point. I just think 3. I think 3 of 18. I think 3 of 18.
You're not doing a good job.
But he said 3 of 18 and 15 assists. So even just if I put that together, typology, if I combine them in my head, that's an extremely ball dominant player.
Yep.
And like you've taken 18 shots and you passed the ball enough. You had the ball enough to throw out 15 assists. Yep. That means damn, who's touching the ball at this point? Because it's like you're doing everything. You're just out here just boom, 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 boom. And I'm saying at that point, you should definitely get off the ball a little bit. But I understand. I'm trying to figure out that like Deron Williams. Who that would be, like a shot chucker passer.
The example I can think of, and it wasn't 3 for 18 because he shot way more. And maybe this is where Penn was going. In Game 7 against the Raptors in 2001. AI was 8 for 25 or something crazy.
That's not that bad.
I thought he played well.
You know what's crazy, Mars?
I thought he
8
played
for
well.
25 is what
he had like 15 assists. He had like 15
Mars.
assists.
Yeah, 8 for 25 is what Jokic just shot.
They didn't have
overtime win against OKC. 8 for 25, identical.
AI wasn't 0 for 11 from 3.
25. Shooters game.
So the whole time you've been talking about Jokic.
That would be an example, I guess. Like,
I don't think 3 for 18 is more Jamal.
You were not ready for the Allen Iverson, Nikola Jokic.
No. I remember this. Jamal was also. I think Jamal last year was 3. I think he was 3-15 in Game 2 versus the Wolves. So I mean, it could happen, but I just don't think you should do that. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know if that's doing
I did my job. I didn't say I did a great job. I said I did my job.
Yeah.
That's my job.
It depends, but also depends on the type of shot quality you're getting. But but you said triple team, like that's a whole different.
I mean, if you're shooting 18 shots while being triple teamed, I do think that's.
But this is my whole point.
He didn't say yes. Keep going, Pen. I'm sorry.
Like the advantage is created the minute I take a double team. That's the advantage, because now the rest of the floor is open for my teammates. Someone can cut. Someone can go 2-1 on the offensive glass. The game plan is ultimately, if I can get double teamed, I've done a good job, right?
If you make the right decision once you've been doubled.
Bingo, right? So at some point,
and shooting the ball is not the right decision when you're triple teamed.
Michael Jordan shot over triple teams all the time. Okay,
Michael Jordan.
Allen Iverson shot the ball
Yes,
over
he went 3
all
for
the time.
18
Anthony
in game 3
Edwards,
of the Eastern Conference
the
Championship.
game that Anthony Edwards cooked in this series, there are plenty of still photographs.
Yeah, Kobe was 6 of 24.
And
I'm thinking
triples. Kobe shot over doubles, triples,
and that
all
shit was
the time.
weak as hell.
But this is what I'm saying. The analytics.
Yeah, Kobe didn't. I refuse to be gaslighting to Kobe playing well in that game 7 just because you got.
I'm not trying to cook
game too many times.
He took 24 free throws or whatever.
Bro, I'm not trying.
Yeah, he was getting them free throws in the fourth, but he did not play well. I'm sorry.
I'm not trying to cook the entire analytics community, but very often, like people will always be like, "Oh, you should never take a shot over double team or triple team or whatever." No, you should sometimes. Sometimes it is the right shot. Sometimes you got to do that, and you got to do your job as a scorer. And your job as a scorer is to make the job easier for all your other teammates who don't have your skills to do that. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the delicate balance that Anthony Edwards had to balance between game 4 and game 5, because he got cooked for passing too much. Like, oh, the real ones would have gone out emptying the clip, and it's like, true, sort of, but you got to do certain things before you make that pass. You can't be passive. Like, you can't be like, oh, they're about to double team. Let me throw it away and no, you got to do something with the ball, either shoot or,
So was last night one of those games where he could have gone, like you said, because I saw Jordan go 3 for 18, but he also had 11 assists. And I think he shot something. This was in game 3 of the East Finals. He went 3 for 18.
They won.
Yeah, they won the game. Yeah,
it's about bending. It's not about it's not about the 3 for 18. It's about the bending the floor. Like Steph Curry is consistently double teamed, consistently, like all the time. We got 3-4 eyes on him. He's doing his job. That's scoring gravity. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, how is he bending the floor? Every time he steps over that screen, he's collapsing like 3 defenders. And yeah, sometimes he's going to take the shot. Sometimes he's not going to take the shot. Sometimes it's going to open up. Like what yesterday we saw in the opening, when they bludgeoned them and they gave him, and in your words, they made him quit, right? They basically forced that team to quit. What was it? They had no answers. Why? Because if you step up into the paint and try to contest those Shea middies, they're cutting back door. That's what they realized.
Their defense
after that adjustment.
Their strategy was so dumb this whole series. So,
but you can say that, but the truth is there is no strategy when you're guarding great. Come on, man.
I think we've all. But I'm not again. It's not about. See, for me, process is more important than results. I thought their process was bad. The results are going to vary to be whatever. I just think their defensive process. I think you can agree with this. The first 2 games, when they were basically playing this straight one-on-one, no load up behind. I'm like, yo, that's dumb. Like, the SGA is going to rip your heart out if you do that. At least game 1 and 2, but then game 3, whatever. Go ahead, Mark, because your fingers up. Go ahead.
I just want to back to Penn's point about the advantage creation stuff, blah blah blah. So, guys like Steph, guys like this version of Shea, anyone else who you think fits that mold of they just draw that type of attention every time they step on the court.
Shaq, Michael, Kobe.
Can they have a bad game?
Of course.
How?
By not.
That's a good question, Pin. Because if I could just shoot anything and I don't have to make anything.
But it's not shoot anything. It's shooting. You got to shoot at the moment that is opportunistic for your team or is advantageous for your team, right? When I say bend the floor, what am I doing? I'm forcing 3 players to think about me, which means they're not thinking about their matchup, which means that matchup can cut to the rim. The positioning of my team and your team, right? Like, think about it this way. Let's say Steph Curry comes off a screen, and because he's such a great deep range shooter, he's drawing 2 to 3 defenders 25 feet, 27 feet from the basket. What is that doing to the rest of the floor? At the moment that he takes a shot, that means there's a 2+2 advantage for me at the offensive glass. Now,
But
if I take it early in transition, I messed up. Now I'm just chucking shots. But if I take it at a position which is advantageous for my team and gives myself an offensive rebounding opportunity, or if I'm consistently doing this so that I, force the
damn offensive rebound pin. There's 3 people on you. Just pass it to the open person.
But what if they're cutting off my passing angles? I'm a small guard. I can't make that pass over a triple team. So I got. And honestly, the whole thing about scoring gravity.
If you can't pass it, you can't shoot it. If I can't see the pass, I can't see the shot.
But they're playing you for the pass.
I'm just saying.
Moss, to answer your question, I think that I think that guys like
I wanted to get with you on this for a second though, Pin, because I'm feeling that I'm feeling like where you're coming from with it. It's just the examples. When you give the examples, it just blows my mind. But I get what you're saying about being aggressive. Like, for instance, like with Dirk Nowitzki. When Dirk Nowitzki went on that run in 2011, he was like, damn, a double team. You know what I'm saying? You can see who you want. But Dirk's 7 feet tall and seeing over that. But if I see a double team, I'm okay with certain people attacking that. Kobe, Jay, Dirk, Jokic. Great scores. I'm fine with that. But when a triple team comes, and if I'm not on the block, I cannot get behind you shooting over 3 people in no form of it. And there's no way I can get behind that unless it's like a buzzer.
No, it's not about.
You do got to be aggressive. 100%. You got to be aggressive.
It's got to be. It's so for me. If you're passing,
I do get what you're coming from.
If you're almost like pre-passing to avoid the double team, you're not doing your job. You need to accept the double team. And then you need to punish the double team by splitting the double team and forcing a triple team. And now, if you take a shot and you're open, like if they're trailing behind you or whatever,
3 guys on me, man. 3.
Here's the thing.
3 guys on me.
Chill. Your scoring is bending the defense to play you more as a scorer. If I keep passing the ball, you're not gonna gravitate towards me as much.
Well, I'm gonna score the basketball 100%. That's why
you played hoops. I think most of the people up here have played hoops. You know that when a guy starts hitting 2, 3, 4, the defense adjusts.
Yes,
right,
100%.
And so now that's what I got to do. So if I got to hit a couple shots that are tough shots, I'm a great player. I'm not getting easy shots.
Sure.
I'm sorry. I'm not getting open catch and shoots. Steph Curry is never going to get open shots like Jaden McDaniels. I don't give a shit about shot quality. 100%. Right? So Steph Curry gonna have to take a couple of those ones.
Yes, he is. A couple of them.
And,
but
like fading away, falling away.
We're talking about 18 shots. We talk about 20 shots. How many of those shots are you shooting where you got 2 and 3 guys hanging on you? Like, you're not getting, don't get me wrong. Let's
define a triple team, okay? I'm not saying like I got 3 guys draped all over me. I'm saying like I got 1 guy on me.
That's what Anthony Edwards had on him yesterday. He had 3 guys.
No, that's what he had on him the whole series.
Yes, Julius Randle in the paint. He's got 3 guys draped on him.
Okay, I'm not talking draped. I'm talking like one guy's in your face, 1 guy's kind of behind you, the other guy's kind of like 6 feet away and closing in. Like, I've drawn 3 defenders. If I've drawn 3 defenders, I've done my job. And now I just need to make the right play out of that. But I cannot become passive. I cannot make myself so easy to predict the second you double team me, I'm passing right away. Now, I can't do that.
To Mars's point, though, if that is the case, and if you're doing your job by doing that, guys like Steph, LeBron, Luka, even Anthony Edwards in this series, they've done their job. They did their job last year.
Why do people? Well, just hold on. Follow up. Why do people say? Why do people say LeBron had a bad
before the game even started?
Why do people say LeBron had a bad series in 2015 then? Because people bring up him shooting 39% from the field, but I think he was incredible in that series.
Some people also say he should have been the Finals MVP.
I think he was the best player in the series, but I just think that so Penn, I guess with this adjustment, if you're a primary scorer and you are, by the nature of your own scoring gravity on and off ball, you're creating multiple advantages for yourself, but you're also trying to put pressure on the interior of the defense, or as a perimeter player on the exterior of the defense. And because of that, you're basically like forcing the defense to flow wherever you are at all times. And even if for you, it's more so shot variance, because you going 3 of 18, you could still be getting good process throughout multiple games in the series and shoot poorly and still be having an excellent offensive series. It's just the shot variance, like the missing of the shot, the mechanics. Those are the things that are kind of the only negatives there, is that you're just missing shots.
Exactly. Look,
okay, well then
I didn't come here and get super upset about Nikola Jokic shooting 8 for 25 or 7 for 22. I didn't do that. I personally don't care. The way that I think about basketball is a little bit weird, but I think about every great scorer and every all-time great having a sort of sinking effect on the floor. Like when I think about their gravity, think about the court and think about the court like a court that can actually bend, right? Like it can wait. So when you have Steph Curry at 27, 28, 29 feet, even 50 feet, 45 feet, there's gravity there. When you have Giannis, downhill gravity, he creates like a sinking effect into the middle of the floor, which funnels defenses towards him. What does that do to your outside shooters? What does that do to your trailing big? You're making the game easier. That's what stars are supposed
to
do.
Which is fair.
I agree with advantage creation. Sorry, Joe. I agree advantage creation is valuable and it changes the game. And these guys, Steph, Giannis, Shaq, blah, blah. I agree with that point. I think where you lose me a little bit because this is a point I've made for a few years. So I'm with you on that part. You lose me a little bit when you start justifying shooting over triple teams. Like that part, I think if you just recant that statement a little bit, and then I'll be like on your side because I agree with you. It's something I've been saying for a while.
Okay,
like,
let's lawyer up. Okay, Mars, you my lawyer. Let's I'm bringing you in. Okay, so let's adjust the 5 for 18. So let's bring the 3 for 18. People get the shock value of 3 for 18. They'd be like doing the math and be like, oh my god, he's shooting 16%. Holy shit. So okay, so let's do 5 for 18, and let's just say a soft triple team. Okay, like my point is basically if I'm Shaquille O'Neal and I'm in the post and I'm forcing you to play different rotations and play an unskilled big because you want to pick up fouls and you have to foul me and slow your game down and disrupt your rhythm to keep fouling me, and even if I shoot 2 for 10, 2 for 12 from the free throw line, I don't give a shit. I'm destroying your entire concept. You have to think about me so much. And because you have to think about me, and the only way I can make it so that you don't think about me is if I don't demand the basketball. So that's when Shaq says, bro, big man, be assertive. He's cooking on that for sure.
Where the divide comes with me, Penn, is when you talk about that, again, that shot creation and that advantage for other people, but you're still shooting the basketball. So when I go 2, 3, 4 trips, when I don't touch the ball, when you got 3 guys on you, because you've created that advantage, because you're such a great scorer, because you've created that advantage, because you get downhill and you get to the rim. If I haven't seen the basketball in 3, 4 trips, and then I see it, and then I don't see it again for another 2 or 3 trips, because you are doubled and soft tripled, I mean, that is throwing me off my rhythm. So you're really not that advantage that you're talking about creating. Well, it doesn't help me because you're not getting off the ball. Now, to Mars's point, to answer your question, Mars, I think it depends on what else you're not doing. Because if I'm 5 for 22, right? But I'm not doing anything else. And my game is predicated solely on me making shots. Well, if I'm not making shots, well, I ain't getting on the glass. If I'm not making shots, I'm not out in transition. If I'm not making shots, I'm not getting loose balls. I'm not playing any defense. I think that's completely different as opposed to if I'm missing shots, but I'm still on the glass. If I'm missing shots, I'm diving for loose balls. I end up getting 2 or 3 steals. I'm still involved in the defense. I'm getting deflections. I'm still distributing the basketball. Shaq, for example, Shaq may miss some layups around the rim, but Shaq had 3 blocks, right? Shaq had 14 rebounds.
So how do we then equate so I guess to that point, Joe, and I'm wanting how would you then, for a great offensive player, because Shaq obviously, is a great offensive player, but say Shaq had some of those games like he did versus Portland, for instance, when he was, or he was 5 of 16 or whatever. He just wasn't converting some of those shots.
Yeah.
So how do you then qualify if a player had basically Shaq shot below his average, but what would he have to do to still be having a good offensive game per se for you?
For me, according to Penn, though, it's no way he can have a bad game because.
I think that's Penn. I think that's where Penn will go to the turnovers. I think that's
but hold on. Let me just make my point though. If Shaq commanded triple teams the minute he set foot on the court,
he did.
No matter what. So if that's the case, all Shaq has to do is be on the court. That's all he has to do.
He has to demand the basketball. He has to put him. He has to get down the court. He has to seal his man. He has to get position. He has to fight for position. He doesn't just get on the court. If Shaq is just walking around a half court, he's not doing his job.
Okay, but we know he's not going to do that.
I'm saying all Shaq has doing that.
We're talking about Shaq though. We're talking about Shaq. We're not talking about Rudy Gobert. Penn, we're not talking about Rudy Gobert. I'm talking about guys that automatically, before the game even starts, Swiper, you've been in the war room. You've been in locker rooms when the day before the game, when you're watching film and coach is saying, you got to be here, you got to be here, you got to be here, we're focusing on this one guy. So technically, it's impossible for that guy to have a bad game as long as he sets foot on the field, Swiper, as long as he sets foot on the court, because the defense is already focused on you. Right, we've already built the whole scheme and game plan around you. So technically, you've done your job already. And Payne, I'm not saying this to try to cook you or anything. I'm saying this to actually make your point. Like, these guys that are great, they automatically create a disadvantage for or an advantage for the rest of their team because the defense is already schemed around it. Anytime they set foot on the court,
even if they are schemed around you, and I want to get back to what you were saying, Swipe. I'm going to answer your question, but I already know that as a player, I'm not walking on the floor going, they just got to have one guy on me. I already know that their scheme is to slow me down. I already know that, which means that I'm already going to be engaged. I'm not going to walk up the floor. I'm not going to not post up hard. I'm not going to not run in transition because I know how much my crew needs me in order for us to win. Now, Swiper, to answer your question, it depends on how I'm operating within the as an offensive player. It depends on how I'm operating within the offense. So if I'm in a triangle, I might miss Bryant cutting to the basket when he's in rhythm. He already made 2 shots. I already missed 3 shots. I already missed 3 layups, and I missed Kobe cutting to the rim. They're tripling me. Well, I ended up missing Brian Shaw when the ball got swung back to me. I ended up missing Brian Shaw in the corner, and the shot clock ran out. Now, I'm killing us at that particular point because the offense isn't flowing, and it's got a lot to do with me because the offense runs through me. Mm-hmm. So as opposed to me just missing shots, if I'm not doing that other stuff that they depend on me to do, I'm not helping us. I'm killing us, in fact.
All right, fellas, this is a good time for everybody in the chat to do their job. You know, I'm required to come up here, and whether I shoot 3 for 18, I got to read y'all bum-ass super chats. Well, you know what y'all need to do? Take your bum-ass index finger and tap that like button. Now, with that being said, turn on your notification bells, too, and shout out to the guys that aren't the bums of the chat. You know, the Hall of Famers like Vale, Teddy Hart, Jason Grillionaire, Worldwide Mace Television, my man Miner, my man Cheese, and obviously Multi-Kenny. And also to everybody that's out there, tonight, we will be on Playback watching Halliburton take his franchise to the first championship since a long-ass time. So you guys pull up and tune in to, well, quite frankly, a masterclass of sorts. We'll see you guys there later tonight. And also, while you're at it, download the PrizePicks app. Why? Because you can run your game, control your game, and win your game with PrizePicks. And when you play $5, you will get $50 back instantly, only when you use promo code PANEL. Now, the thing about it is it's fairly simple, y'all. All you got to do is go to the App Store, download the app, and then, once again, you will get $50 instantly when you use promo code PANEL. And with that being said, Big Ox put together something real nice. Angel Reese. Okay, we're going Angel Reese. You see that, Mars? Goblin, 10.5 rebounds. Now, that's a real demon on the glass. You know, hey, Moses Malone ain't got shit on Angel Reese. But, yeah, we're taking a goblin of Angel Reese getting just 10.5 rebounds. Shout out to
easy money.
And then we got Tyrese Halliburton's less. All right, man, get this off the screen. Ox, what's going through your head?
I'm saying though, this is an elimination day for the Knicks. They got something to play for. This is a Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby masterclass. So Tyrese is getting shackled today, pushed straight on lock run. That's not a knock to him. He's still an amazing basketball player. But sometimes you get locked. Sometimes you're fooled. It doesn't matter who you are.
Sure, you see what's going on here? He took the less on Tyrese Halliburton and then took the demon pick on TJ McConnell. You see what's going on here?
I'm saying TJ got the ball out when Tyrese is letting them down. TJ usually saves the day. It's no big deal. They'll still lose the basketball game. We got Jalen Brunson going more than 30.5 points, so it's going to be a big game for Jalen. Also, OG Anunoby, 24.5 points. We took the more on the demon pick, so it's going to be a good basketball game. Knicks in 7.
I'm here for it, Ox. I am here for it, Ox. I swear I'm here for it.
Swing.
So we got 3 Marses up here? Good to know.
Well, there can only ever be one Mars. Respect Mars.
I do think it's
all right,
over tonight.
we got Jupiter and Saturn, too.
I'm here for it.
Well, which one am I? I'm Jupiter,
Nah,
right?
you more Neptune, no.
But don't stop, bro. Stop.
All
I
right,
know we're
all
going
right,
with that. Be cool.
In the meantime, after you guys download Prize Picks and do what we just did up here, minus the Halliburton going less, also make sure you go to Factor Meals and use Player's Choice 50 off. You see, the good thing about Factor Meals is, well, it's summertime that's coming up, and everybody wants to be outside. You want to enjoy your day. You want to, quite frankly, just have some fun, you know? Well, with Factor Meals, it will allow you to get outside and enjoy the good weather, get on a boat, barbecue, or, well, you wouldn't need a barbecue if you have Factor Meals. But you get what I'm saying. You get outside and you enjoy the weather. And, well, Factor Meals allows you to do that because they have quick and easy meals that you could just heat and eat right away. So, like, stop worrying about cooking. Get off your couch and go do something outside because, quite frankly, you can rely on Factor Meals where they have meals that can be ready in 2 minutes. And the cool thing about this whole thing is when you use Player's Choice 50 off, you'll also get free shipping on your first box. So what are you waiting for? Enjoy your summer, enjoy the warm weather, enjoy your friends and family, and get started right now at factormeals.com/Player's Choice 50 off and use code Player's Choice 50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
What up,
That's
boss?
Player's Choice 50 off at factormeals.com/Player's Choice 50 off for 50% off your first box. Let's get to it, y'all. All right, fellas. You see, here's the thing. It is Thursday, and the people have showed up and showed out for us for 4 days this week.
They have.
So we got to give them the top 5 comments of the week. Better late than never, right, y'all? Right. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first comment that we got, sorry, y'all, I didn't proofread these comments, so I don't know what's coming up, but here we go. Top tier hater. Top tier hater on episode 561 said, Swiper, imagine 97 Chill on this team. He might be Tony Allen. Chill, I'll be a better transition player.
I would be.
Chill, were you a high flyer back in the day?
Yes.
I mean, Tony. Well, to be fair, Tony Allen could get up there too, but
not like me. He couldn't hop like me. No, he couldn't.
But Chill,
like a 40-inch vert.
Chill. So you were throwing the ball through your legs.
Basketball, probably 35.
Chill. You were throwing the ball through your legs.
I could do that actually.
Off the glass.
I could do that.
Okay. You know how many times I've been tagged in that TikTok?
It takes me more than one time to do it though.
What TikTok?
The
Kenny
the Jet Smith John.
We talked about that yesterday. Yeah.
I've been tagged so many times.
Yeah,
I'm tired of people comment. I'm tired of people
I seen
commenting
say
on
that
that.
the dunk was tough. So
No, I'm saying for like a 6'1" dude, I think that's not an easy thing. It looks like
he's 6'3". Where do you get this?
All right, Spike. All right. I guess it looks funny, but like. You know what I'm saying? Like, just it's the whole thing throwing it, and plus that's probably like.
It wouldn't have looked funny if Chill didn't give the description that he gave. And Chill, I'm not saying like you legitimately gave an accurate description.
Factually, what you said is.
And y'all thought it was something. Y'all thought it was some whole other shit. Even though everything I said,
between the legs off the backboard, reverse dunk.
Yo,
like I'm sorry, you're not gonna think of what I just seen.
Even though exactly what I just said, that's what it is.
That's not at all what I expected, Morris. But when I saw it, I was like, I mean, that's not gonna win you a dunk contest, but I ain't mad at it. Like,
exactly what he did.
I thought it was Space Jam shit.
What I'm saying, though, Ron, because it took me a while when I was dunking to start doing that, like the reverse, just go cramming it like this backwards, and I could do most dunks, but that one was always a little difficult because I'm just like, go turning around. I'd rather just full 360, 360. You know what I'm saying? But dunking it backwards was always a little difficult for me. So
ask somebody that's 6'3", and was a little bouncy. That dunk was actually a little easier than other dunks.
Right.
I'm not hating on it. I'm saying like that actually, like if I'm gassed in a game, but I still want to show out a little bit, that actually was my go-to. Like, okay, I know I'm not getting a windmill off right now. I know I'm not. But
if you're gassed, you can still jump. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you know what I'm saying. People think like, oh, I'm tired, I can't. Like, if you can dunk, bro. But I'm just saying, like, I don't think that's a a dunk contest winning dunk. But a lot of people that have never touched the rim before think that shit is just super easy. Like, bro, it's not like, you know what I'm
Like
saying?
a reverse dunk or throwing it off the
I don't know.
glass?
I don't know if y'all know
Well,
this.
that's the thing. That's the thing, though. Swipe the bouncing between the legs part and having a perfect bounce. That's probably harder than the dunk.
The bounce
You know
is
what I'm
harder.
saying?
Yeah, the bounce.
Yeah,
Is
and that's what I'm saying. You put the whole thing together. It's like, that's not bad. Like,
Now, if
you're not getting tens, but it's
if you throw it up in the air to do it, then yeah, that's a lot easier. But through the legs, yeah, for sure.
right. Yeah. Oh, if you just throw that up and go dunk it, then okay, this we in layup lines. It's a warm up dunk. You know what I'm saying? But
Chill, do you want to correct anything that you said?
Fun fact.
Can we get another description? Real description?
Fact. Well, with the description that I gave you, that's exactly what it was. But fun fact, just so you know, Mars, Kenny Smith was the runner-up in that dunk contest to Dominique Wilkins. I just want to put that out there.
I want to give you all a little bit of a side note. So, question: over or under chill shot 70%, or over or under from the free throw line as a Division I player?
Well, he got to the free throw line twice.
I will remind you, he's related to Shaquille O'Neal.
You got how many free throws?
I'm
two.
gonna remind
Free
you.
throws a game, right? There's 2 free throws a game. Chill. Two a game. Is it 2 free throws a game that you were averaging?
I was at the free throw line one time a game.
So I was over 70. Yeah, over 70. Yeah.
No.
Over 70%.
Yeah.
Mars.
But here, Mars, Mr. Volume Man.
Small volume. If you shoot 30 free throws and you they're coming games apart,
you make 24 of them. You know.
He shot
but
74.
Then
he shot 74
might
free
just have a
throws.
couple games where you go 0 for 1. All of a sudden, before you know it, you're 21 or 30.
I wish we could go back to like all of my.
I'm gonna give. I'm a hope.
I'm not gonna lie. I was watching my tape the other day, bro. I was kind of.
He was over. He was over. He was over 70%.
Good work.
So Ron, my freshman year in junior college, I shot 87% from the stripe, and I got to the stripe way more times than once. I was at the stripe almost 8 times.
And then you went and played at a higher level. Your legs were more tired. You were more nervous.
No, that's not what it was at all. No.
I'm telling you, man, it's a rhythm thing. When you go to the line and you only taking one.
Yo, a lot of people. I played in Utah 4 times. I played Utah multiple times. People don't know this. Chill. Utah is an incredible state. It is a beautiful state to be in, especially to play.
It is beautiful, incredible.
No, I'm saying like the mountains. The mountains were right behind the stadium.
Utah's amazing.
Like if there weren't so many crazy people there, bro.
Logan, Utah, the elevation was 4,200 feet. That's what the elevation is in Logan, Utah. But yes, I did. I only got to the free throw line one time. But another fun fact for you, Mars. In 1996, in the Big West tournament in the semifinals, we played against Long Beach State. Yours truly comes in the game, makes 6 straight free throws, and ices the game.
Well, I'm not surprised at all. That's
Chill.
Your name is Chill.
You made him win it, man.
Chill. Your name is Chill.
Against Nevada Reno in the Big West tournament. Yours truly here comes in and ices the game at the free throw line.
I'm not surprised by that. Your name is Chill. Like you're Chill at the free throw line.
So
wait. You brought up Long Beach. By the way, Ox. I was gonna at you. You know that King dude on Instagram, the big dude always walking around like talking to different girls and all that kind of stuff. The one with the dreads or whatever. Like y'all know what I'm talking about in the chat.
I'm not sure.
I'm not watching reels of guys.
No, but it's IG. He went to Long Beach State, bro. I know you've seen him. He's our age. He went to Long Beach State. I know you probably seen him back in like around the way somewhere.
Maybe so. What about him? Oh, that's what you were saying. You were just saying.
Yeah, he was big. He's like 6'8". He plays center. Yeah, he plays center. So
he's from California.
He's from Cali.
From LA
went to Long Beach State, bro. So like you definitely seen him in a tournament at some point.
My boy went to Long Beach State. But I never went down there and checked them out.
But they was cool. Long Beach State used to have a little squad back in the day. So you know
that pyramid ain't no joke.
But that's so funny.
I used to like playing in Santa. I like Santa Clara's arena.
Santa Clara's cold. Hey, I used to be at UC Davis. UC Davis was nice, bro. Cali got a lot of schools, bro.
But that's the crazy thing about how small we got a lot of everything. Y'all remember when I brought up Carter Bryant and his father, Deshane Bryant, and Deshane actually played for Long Beach State in the same conference that Chill played. I messaged us in group chat a year after Chill left. So y'all could have played together. That's pretty cool.
Pen, I've been meaning to tell you.
I actually played against his brother. His brother James Cotton was on the Long Beach State team. He played for the Bulls. Yeah, he was on that team. So
That's fire.
It was a good time. It was.
I'm telling you, like that's a big reason why I love basketball so much too. It's not even just on the court. It's just like basketball. You meet so many people. You never know the type of connections you make. Like I never would have left California for anything else besides basketball. Like the first time I left California, I went to New Orleans to play in the Nationals in AAU. You know what I'm saying? I was like 12. You know what I'm saying? Like other than and then I start going to Houston and stuff. It was all because of basketball. Arizona, I was like everything was because of basketball. A lot of people I met in life was because of basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a big reason why, and that's why I try to teach the kids too. Like I'm not stepping on nobody's dreams, but you know the NBA is not very realistic. Even getting paid big money overseas is not very realistic. But you can make big money if that's your goal through basketball. You got to use basketball as a tool. You know what I'm saying? You got to get your education. You know what I'm saying? Network, meet people when you travel. You know what I'm saying? Be outgoing. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these people are going to be doing stuff outside of basketball or within the basketball field, and at some point it can help you in
how
life.
many countries have you lived in, Ox? And then Ron?
I only ever lived in Australia. I've traveled around.
And then what country did you play in?
Just only Australia.
Only Australia? Okay.
Yeah.
But Ox, what you're saying though is very true. I mean, look at the panel right now. It's me, John, and 5 casuals that I never would be in the same room in. But thanks to basketball, we here. 3, 4. You know.
Wow.
Well, the only people up here.
Play it, the more people that play it, the bigger the ecosystem becomes. There's so many things that come with basketball, from the podcast to the coaching to the trainers to the nutritionists. Like it's all an ecosystem when it comes to like the money that comes from it, right? So right now, if you're a podcaster making, I don't know, 50 to 100, 150K, whatever off of this, you're making money through basketball, man. That's not an opportunity that was open to you 25 years ago unless you got on ABC. So that's crazy.
And it wasn't available on this platform, like on YouTube. Because remember, it used to only be media. Like you had to work for like a network. And then now, because you take your basketball, your knowledge, expertise, relationship, and you build it from here. But I tell people all the time, Ox and Ron and Chill, if I could have replaced my football career in college with basketball, I would have did it probably in a heartbeat. Because there's way more you can do with basketball after you get done than playing football. Way more. Like, way more. I think you can travel. You can go do stuff. You can play for other people. Ron became my son through basketball, bro. Come on, man.
Yo, y'all asked JD what I used to do to them on scout team that year.
Scout team.
My God. Hey, that was the
Who was on scout team?
Who was on scout team?
I was scout team.
You were on scout team. JD was was playing.
Well, it's a whole it's a whole backstory to that.
Oh no, you got in trouble. Oh, you got in trouble. Okay.
It's a whole backstory to that. Just know that's the year where Kyrie really broke out. I'm talking about I watched 30 minutes of Kyrie highlight tape and be like, you know what? I'm gonna try this on you today. Whew. It was the good.
Well, I need a scout team story. Why are you and JD the same age and you on scout team?
Swiper, we don't have time to get into that.
Swiper, you are so messy. I swear. You are so messy, Swiper.
Hey, no, chill. Cause I was on scout team once past my freshman year too, and it wasn't because I chose to be there. You know what I mean?
But Swiper, I used to go up there. I used to go up there sometimes during that season. That's when that was Shaq's sophomore year, I think. So I used to go up there sometimes in their culture, you know what I'm saying? Let me go jump in there, like practice with them.
Me and Ron
used to tear their ass up. I'll come, JD would talk, I'll come pop in every once in a while. Like, let me a jersey, coach. Let me jump in here.
Coach will be out there cussing him out. Oh man, that was a good ass year. But y'all, we got to get back to these top 5 comments of the week.
Damn, man, he called you the backup to the backup. That's crazy.
I'll turn the chat off right now.
Sorry, chat.
But anyhow, Matthew Burke, 5044 on episode 562, said generational talent doesn't mean top 50 player. Generational is rare. It is a rare person that comes around every 5 to 10 years. Nothing is generational about Wade or Ant.
This is not true.
Well, I think generational. I think we would agree that there's. I think Wemby, Yoke is Giannis generational.
Yep,
Giannis, and then you have LeBron, Steph, Durant generational for y'all.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. So then before that, you would go the Shaq. And again, the reason I'm asking about Kobe because Kobe's archetype it's been seen before, but is Kobe generational?
Respect Eddie Curry. Respect. Eddie Curry.
Is Kobe generational?
I'm just
yes.
All right. So then before that, Mars and Chill. Then you would have Jordan, Malone, Barkley,
Magic.
Hakeem. Well, we're saying in the 80s or 90s. Hakeem generational.
Yep.
What's Tim Duncan generational?
Yes.
David Robinson.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Tim Duncan was the generation.
Sure. No, I'm agreeing with you. And then you have then you get the Magic.
Kevin Garnett. Did you say Garnett?
Kevin Garnett's another one. Is he generational?
Yes.
Yes.
I think.
Wait. So y'all don't count D Wade in this?
The comment said that.
Who else would be the generational player?
I think generational talent.
Zion, Curry, man. Look. Everyone gets hung up on this like once in a generational thing. Yo, if you haven't seen it and you're not gonna see it for like a 20-year period, I'm never seeing another Zion. Sorry, I don't see Zions. I don't see Wemby's. I don't see, Dirks. There just aren't. There aren't two of these guys. You're not getting two of these guys. So people get too caught up in the, it's got to. There can't be multiple generationals. Sure, they can. Steph Curry's shooting is very different than LeBron's big jumbo playmaking is very different than Kobe's shot making is very different than Shea's flexibility. I think Shea is generational.
Yeah, but I'm not so sold on the Zion thing. You know what I'm saying? I see greedy niggas that can jump high every day.
Shea qualifies as generational though.
Why can't I?
Mars, I'm just saying I could go to any buffet in the South and find a Zion.
I think
athletic, greedy niggas, man.
Why can't I be? If I'm a great player for my generation, does that mean I'm a generational player?
So wait, can you qualify, Chill? What do you think when you think generational? Because typically I think like a premium level of size, strength, speed, and like overall talent.
Sure.
Like there's, you know what I mean? But so that's when I say generational, that's typically where you're going. So
Yox, you want one?
Grant Hill, Penny Hardaway, generational?
Talents, yes.
Well, I don't know.
Jason Kidd, generational?
No, I don't.
Steve Nash, generational?
I think
Steve Nash turned into a generational talent. Yes, I do. So to answer your question,
is Halliburton turning into a generational talent?
Why your eyes so big, Ron? Like is that what you like? Is he really? Yes. If he keep going the way he's going, yes.
All right. That's all I wanted to hear.
We slinging it.
He 100% to be that.
And we already know
Holly, man. Shout out to Holly.
And to answer your question, Swiper, I think about what you were during your generation. Like, how were you compared to your counterparts? How did you stand out amongst your counterparts? And in addition to you standing out amongst your counterparts, how does that translate to other generations? So, for example, SGA is a prime example that I'm thinking about right now. If I drop SGA, like Ron, I gave Ron this example yesterday. If I drop SGA in 2005, like what does he look like amongst? Well, he's clearly amongst the best today, right? So if I dropped him in 2005 amongst Vince Carter and Ray Allen and Brandon Roy,
right there. That's a pin question.
He's better.
No, that would have been Nets. Would that have been Nets? Vince Carter.
That's what I'm saying. That's a generation. That's a generation of two guards, right? And then
Vince Carter, dog.
And then let's rewind. And then let's rewind.
Ray Allen.
Hang on.
North Carolina, dog.
I want to drop him in 1995, where there's.
Would he be? Wait, hold on, Chill. Would he be a top three? Would he be a top 3 or 5 player in 1995? Jordan included.
I don't think he'd be a top 3 player, but if I'm thinking about the 2 guard, right?
Who are the 3 players?
If I'm thinking about,
he's saying Jordan Hakeem, and Robinson or Malone.
If you have a 99th percentile to 100th percentile outlier skill or some sort of talent, to me, you're generational.
Which is what?
Shay's flexibility is generational.
Mm-hmm.
For a shooter,
flexibility?
Yes, his flexibility.
Bro,
he's like
you ain't see him do dominated splits impossible between Rudy's legs. You ain't see that?
Yep.
Come on, man.
So the fact that he could do the butterfly stretch and both of his knees touch the floor, that makes him generational.
The way that he is able to utilize his
I guess some
his
women
body control to score and manipulate the defense. Yes, Ron, controlling your balance and staying on balance is a really important part of scoring.
Well, technically, Wemby's the most flexible
you would know
player
that if you average more than 5 points a game. So, I mean, look, it comes down to that. Like, if you have an outlier skill set, Vince Carter's vertical leap, that's generational to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I can say even passing at a certain size,
not just his vertical, not just his vertical. Vince Carter's bend, like everything about his aerial attack, everything was never before seen. He's the best dunker of all time. The dude in the late 90s, Ron. Tell me if I'm tripping. When with Vince Carter at North Carolina. Like when
he was doing windmills in games. That was not.
But the dude was stretching. Chill was
he was doing that
eye to eye with the rim. And I'm talking about stretching his whole body, dunking on people, and then the in-game dunks he would have, the off-the-bounce windmills. Chill.
That was going on.
Is Blake Griffin generational?
Yes, for the definition of college, and I think early career. Yes.
Hang on.
I think so.
No. So a poor man's Amari Stoudemire. A poor man's Amari Stoudemire.
Well, but I guess
y'all got to stop.
No, he's not poor.
Everybody can't be generational because they can jump.
According to what we're saying right now up here, he had something about him that I think almost nobody else had ever we hadn't seen something like that level of power.
Yeah, you guys.
Zion and him existed relatively close to each other. Amari and him overlapped in terms of career. There's no way in hell you're gonna make a case that he was generational. I think there were players like him. I don't think maybe
tons of players like Blake.
He's the best version of a player like him, but Dwight could get up like that. Stromile could get up like that. There's a lot of big guys who could dunk.
My dog.
Mars, what's your version of Trent? What is your version of generational, Mars? When you think about a generational player?
Talent is like what you are coming into the league, like draft prospects.
Projected, sure.
Like. So like generational talents, I don't think there's been many. I think you go Wilt, MJ. No, Wilt,
Kareem.
Hakeem.
Are you going in chronological order?
Kareem, sorry. Wilt, Kareem.
Magic Bird.
Hakeem, Magic, Birds.
Doc.
Sure, Dr. J. Couldn't act like I know anything.
Sure, I'm with
Dr. J.
So we clear, just so you guys know, Michael Jordan was not a generational talent coming into the game. They didn't view him like that. It was
LeBron,
a big man league.
You said who?
LeBron was generational.
Yep.
Wemby, Shaq.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head, generational talents.
Mm-hmm.
Zion is fringe, but I'll leave that out.
Bro, Zion.
Every player won an MVP and an NBA championship in the same season is generational.
Jason Kidd was a guy.
Is Cooper generational?
I wouldn't call Cooper Flag generational.
I wouldn't call him generational either.
You guys don't want to hear this.
The way y'all be acting.
You guys know
it's not because
yes,
of generational.
I think
he is.
Like,
Yes,
Wemby
he
notwithstanding, I think he's maybe the best
see?
prospect of the decade.
I don't
he
think
is
Cooper Flag
generational
is
because
prospect of the
you have
decade?
never seen
Oh,
an
you said outside of
you
Wemby.
have never seen an 18-year-old
I
dominate
think he
college
might be the best
basketball this way.
prospect of this
The
decade.
last four players who dominated college basketball were all considerably older than Cooper Flag.
that doesn't mean
like
he's
this.
generational talent.
Yes, doing things
think-
early is generational. If you can find me a 13-year-old who can solve math equations that no 17-year-old has ever solved, yeah, that kid is a wonderkind and a freaking generational talent for his age. Doing things earlier than everybody else in your field through NCAA history is generational.
I just don't think
The
it's
whole
a
point.
I think he's a really good player.
He could legitimately guard 4 or 5 positions. That in and of itself is a very rare archetype.
Ox, they don't want to hear this. Ox. They don't want to hear this.
I just use it more tightly. Like if I'm given the names of generational talents, and my names are Wemby, LeBron, Shaq, Wilt, and Kareem. Like respectfully, I just don't think Cooper Flag's gonna make that cut.
Yeah,
he might turn it into a generational player, which I think is a different criteria
Those
where
two
you
things
do
ain't the
open
same
up the
thing.
floor.
They're not.
Like I think James Harden was a generational player, not a generational talent. Steph Curry, generational player. The shooting was a generational talent, but the player he became, generational player. Like Kevin Durant is one where I don't know how I feel because I go back and watch Texas Kevin Durant. He looked generational to me.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna leave that one out. I don't know. And then like.
But instead, people wanted the next David Robinson.
But like, I'm just not putting Cooper Flag in that group. But I do think generational player, he can become a generational player. Jokic is a generational player. Giannis, obviously. Like I said, James Harden. I think Joel Embiid was a generational player, but obviously everything just went left.
I thought he was a generational talent too, Mars, coming into the league. I did with the stuff that I saw from him.
I didn't see the offense
moving that way.
Yeah,
I didn't see Embiid moving like that until I saw his workout highlights prior to him coming back that year.
Yeah.
Well, no, remember, no, sorry. It was there was like a few weeks before he actually played after year 2 when that workout video came out of him moving and like he was doing like
everybody was talking about Embiid.
Yeah, I was like, who is? I've never seen this person in my life.
I still didn't believe it.
I saw that video. I'm like, yo, what?
Because I never
Ron,
seen
you know
it in
what
the
I'm
game.
talking about though, Ron.
Yeah. But I remember because that year this is around the time where I was telling you guys I was watching a lot of highlights because I was a young college kid. I was in the lab every day. I was watching these other dudes and trying to study their game and see see their see how they were working out and stuff. No, this wasn't 2016.
It was 2016.
No, I'm talking about before when he came out of when he was coming out of Kansas.
When he came out of high school.
You know,
2014. You weren't in college in 2014.
So, you know what's so nasty?
Tell me when I was in
Because we the
college.
same age, clown.
How are you going to tell me?
Swiper, just let this brother tell his story.
Ron may have been in college for a little while longer.
Yeah, you know, like not everybody can read Superchats as well as you, Swiper. But anyways,
as you were saying, Ron.
So I was studying Joel Embiid and Jabari Parker and all of these guys that was coming out that year. I was studying their Draft Express is that what it is? Draft Express?
Yep.
Whatever it's called, but they'll put out the workouts. And I was watching Joel Embiid work out, and I didn't believe it because like he looked good in his workouts, but when you watch him play at Kansas, you didn't really see all of that.
Right.
So I was just thinking like, okay, you're Ben Simmons essentially before Ben Simmons. Like, yeah, you look good in this workout, but none of this is going to translate into the game. Couldn't have been further from wrong.
It's a lot of guys like
Ox.
He made that midi over his shoulder.
How the hell did we talk about generational and we didn't talk about Russell Westbrook?
You don't think Russ is a generational
Super
player?
generational?
Let me ask you this question, Penn. Was Russell Westbrook number one coming into the league? Was he a more generational talent than Jason Kidd?
No, Russ was a defensive ace
coming into the league. No,
coming into the league because we're talking about generational talents, right?
I was so
because remember, Russ didn't play the point.
I don't remember Jason Kidd in college.
He played off the basketball. He played the two.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so he played the two. But Ox, they don't want to talk about in terms of generational talent. And Mars may disagree with this, but Greg Oden was a generational talent coming into the league.
100%.
Out of high school.
How is he generational if he's literally six?
We didn't know he was made of glass.
Hang on.
We did not know he was made of glass.
One of his legs is longer than the other, so I guess that's pretty generational. Hang on.
From a talent standpoint,
David Robinson was still in the league in 2002. How is that generational?
Who was still in the league?
David Robinson, 2002. He was still
what that got to do with Greg Oden?
Who
in 2007? How is that? They're not generations apart. Like that's what I'm saying. Like we haven't seen this in our lifetime.
Okay,
I have not seen a guard rebound like Russell Westbrook in the last 20 years. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen a guard dominate the game.
Patrick Beverly tell it.
But
in 20 years, Ben, that's too far because Jason Kidd exists.
15 years. I don't know what's the generation. It's about 11, 12 years. I'm assuming 11, 12.
You're talking about like
all right. Well, still either way, regardless of anything that Russell Westbrook did, chill. You're 100% correct. Right.
And Russell Westbrook became a generational player. I'm not going to argue that point. He did for his generation for what he did. And then if you take Russell Westbrook in that, like we talked about yesterday, Ron, that iteration of point guard, if you drop him in 2003 with Chauncey Billups and Gilbert Arenas and Steve Francis and Steve Nash, like what does Russell Westbrook look amongst that pantheon of point guard of Rondo, right? Guys like that. What does he look like in amongst that pantheon of point guard, as opposed to what he was looking like throughout his generation? Because Russell Westbrook, you can make the argument that during his time, all right, Russell Westbrook, he was a top 2, top 3 guard in the game. That was going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
That 100% was going on. So if you take him and you drop him in 2005, right? You take him and you drop him in 2005, and in 2005, when you got Gilbert Arenas and Steve Francis, Chauncey Billups, Rondo, I'm thinking about these generations of guards.
Throughout the early 2000s, like if you put Russ in there, his numbers might not be, he might not average a triple-double, and his numbers might not be as crazy. But Russell Westbrook is the best point guard in the early 2000s. And he's
better than Jason Kidd?
He's
better than Jason Kidd.
Early 2000s?
In 2002, is he a better point guard than
2000,
Jason Kidd?
2001, 2002, 2003. Yes, the early 2000s. Chill. He's going to get, because, and this is the main reason I'm saying this.
Yep.
Is because, so.
Better than Allen Iverson?
Hold on, right quick, before I answer that question.
Yep.
The generation that Russell Westbrook played in, the 3-point ball became so relevant that it almost hindered him. But he was so good of a player that he was able to overcome that. In the 2000s, threes weren't getting shot like that. So the mid-range that he was getting to would have been valued 10 times more than it was valued when he played. Him getting to the rim was getting to the rim is always valuable in any era. But his style of play fit that era so much that 100%. he would have been maximized way more, and he would have been valued way more.
That logic that logic that I can get with if Russell Westbrook was better at shooting. That's number one. And number two,
mid-range Russ was a demon. Mid-range Russ was a demon.
Killing that mid-range.
Mid-range Russ could shoot.
8 years of his career.
But his shot selection was a bit tricky for a lead guard at that point. And that kind of hampered his game a lot. But we did have guys who could stretch the defense during that time. We did have guys.
No, absolutely.
And I think that Russell Westbrook, I think that because he only played at one speed, I think that that's what would have hampered him. I think that's where his turnover ratio would have went up higher because he was going up against defenses like the Detroit Pistons, like the Nets, like the Lakers, like the San Antonio Spurs, going up against teams like that in terms of defense. I think that they would have sped him up and made him look a lot different. Because again, Ron, we got to talk about what he wasn't. He wasn't a natural lead guard coming into the game. He had to learn that. As opposed to Steve Nash, as opposed to Jason Kidd, as opposed to Gilbert Arenas, who these guys already had the basketball.
Yeah,
that transition is a lot different.
Sure, I don't even think he's a point guard. This is a crazy hypothetical because in the early 2000s, Russell Westbrook's playing the two. He's not playing the point guard.
This is just straight cap. First of all, you say you say the 3-point shot made the increase of the 3-point shot made Russell Westbrook less effective. I disagree completely.
I did not say that.
You're saying that if he played in an era where the 3-point shot was not as important, he would be better. You're trying to put him over Jason Kidd and all those guys, and you're wrong. You're flat out wrong. Number one, because the increase of the 3-point shot meant his teammates were open. You were, because the paint was way more packed and way more congested in the early 2000s.
Yes.
You're trying to present Russell Westbrook as some sort of mid-range demon assassin. He was not. That's not true. That's not reality. That's not what was happening. He had a couple of outlier seasons where he shot above like 42, 43%, but this is not like he's not generating like Michael Jordan efficiency in the mid-range.
He doesn't have to.
Well, his rim pressure, his rim pressure is being created by the fact that he played in an era where the rim was less contested than it was in a previous generation.
You know what, Penn? That's why I said his numbers would be less. He wouldn't. I started by saying that he wouldn't average as many points and assists and all of that as the average.
Yeah, that's because of pace.
That's because of pace.
Keep going, Penn.
Teams didn't play the way that you just have one guy.
Yeah.
Keep cooking this dude, Penn. Trying to put Russell Westbrook with Jason Kidd. We're not doing that.
Yeah, I think J Kidd is better.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think anyone up here, should be arguing the contrary. I'm just saying, like, you can't selectively say, well, he would have been better in this era because he wasn't a great 3-point shooter and 3-point shooting became more variable. It's like, whoa, wait a second. He wasn't a good
3-point shooter. Rondo during that time,
but Jason Kidd was a way better passer, but way better defender, and just a way better.
Andre Miller wasn't a good 3-point shooter.
Whoa, let's keep Dre Miller out of this. We're not doing no Dre Miller. Dre Miller was.
I'm not trying to slander him.
Andre Miller.
We seen like today. You can't. It's so rare that a guy is very effective.
Was like the only one.
That's what I'm saying. It's so rare that you can be effective as a point guard and not shoot the three. I'm saying back then, Russell Westbrook would have been at home. That's all I'm saying. He like I don't have to shoot this three. I can get to the rim. I could be a demon in transition, and I can pull up with this
but the rim is harder to get to. The paint.
How do y'all
know who we talk about?
My bad. How do y'all see Ben?
The fact that no one else could get to the rim like he could in an era that the rim is more congested.
Yeah.
How do y'all see Baron Davis as like Baron Davis shooting ability?
Are you watching Anthony Edwards right now? Do you understand like the you have to be a complete scorer. You have to be a complete 3-level scorer, and you have to be a great decision maker out of those situations. Russell Westbrook decision making never ever going hand in hand. Okay, always erratic.
Comment of the week.
That's crazy.
Comment to the week. That is ridiculous. I led the league in I led the league in assists multiple years. I do. You guys
wow,
Ron,
you get cooked up, and that's what you do.
Do whatever you want to try to slander Russell Westbrook.
He done turned back to Mussolini.
Why do y'all disrespect Russell Westbrook like he's not one of the best playmakers that the game has ever seen?
Ron, you got to stand tall and take your whooping.
Nobody's saying that part, Ron.
No, there are 2 people up here that have said that. So to be fair,
no, and salute to those 2 people. But I'm saying, like, why are we acting like Russell Westbrook would not get busy in the early 2000s? Like he couldn't get to the rim.
Okay, let's try this again.
Like he wouldn't rack up assists.
Yeah, I think Russ would be great.
Is really congested.
So how was Dre Miller getting to the rim?
Dre Miller,
he wasn't getting an MVP. I'll tell you that much. He wasn't doing it over double teams and triple teams.
MVP in this era, but that's besides the point.
But see, Ron, Dre Miller more methodical with the ball, more probing. Russ more like
Aaron Davis.
Go, you know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
You know what I mean? And I'm not saying Ron. I'm not. But hold on, Steve Francis had more than Russ too. Like Steve Francis had more. Bro, but hold on, bro. I'm not trying to say that Russell Westbrook. I'm not trying to say Russell Westbrook couldn't get to the gym, to the rim. Russell Westbrook can get to the rim in any generation of basketball, any era of basketball. Russell Westbrook could ball. Russ could ball in any generation of basketball. I do not subscribe to that way of thinking. But I do not think that Russell Westbrook will be the point guard that Jason Kidd, Dre Miller, them dudes were. I think Russ would have to play the 2 or something like that. You can't just in that. I don't think in that era of basketball you can give Russell Westbrook the ball and let him run your team. I think that would be a recipe for disaster. That's all.
In the words of Chill, like a coach is driving their car into a telephone pole. If Russ,
they're driving their car into Russ.
You couldn't.
You
couldn't be a point guard to turn the ball over like that in that generation. Russ did have the and I mean, I guess to your point, Penn, Russ did have the ultimate freedom in the era that he played in. Like they gave him the ball and it was like, Russ, go be Russ.
Do whatever you want to do.
I always wanted to ask you too, Ox. Ox, what's your fascination with Andre Miller?
I think it should be everybody's fascination with Andre Miller. He was dumb.
I don't think he's whack. I think Andre Miller. He was a good.
Dre Miller, because I like players like for instance like Paul. Let me not even bring Paul Pierce in this, but guys that are much more athletic than they look. Move like they move at their own pace, can get around you. Dre Miller was catching. But matter of fact, it's crazy you say that because I just reposted a clip about Dre Miller this morning. Y'all, I am a big Dre Miller fan. Dre Miller could do everything on the basketball court, defend, pass. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't a great outside shooter, but he you know what I'm saying. But you had to guard him. You know, Chill, because there's those dudes that you think like Rajon Rondo wasn't the first non-shooter to take advantage of people playing off of him. I always say that just because somebody's not a shooter, you still got to get up on them because there's so much things they could do. Dre Miller was crafty with the ball, crafty without the ball. He was a floor general. He played great defense. I'm talking about a demon in the open court. There was, you know what I'm saying? It was nothing Dre Miller couldn't do except for shoot 40% from the 3-point line.
Verticality whatsoever, also too.
That's a lie. That is a lie. No. That is just a complete lie, Swiper. That's a complete lie. He didn't.
His best year. No.
He didn't. No, he didn't have a 50. No, you're not with me because I would never allow anybody to say that about Dre Miller. Wait, hold on, Swiper, because he definitely
got better at it. He could, but I'm saying he also wasn't like a crazy vertical threat, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with it. I watched his prime years. He was one of my favorite players in the league too. I agree. But he was the best player. He ended up being the best player on the team in 2012-13. Kagala went down, and then he ended up winning them the game, like the first game of the series. So like he was a really good player. There's no slander at all. No slander. He was a great player.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like that's just a lie. Like Dre Miller could go. He'll go punch it. Like
when he was younger for sure.
You think Andre Miller was better than Sam Cassell?
No.
Yes, Mars.
No way. He wasn't a bucket getter that Sam Cassell was. I think the distributing was a little bit.
Oh, Sam Cassell was so nasty.
I give Andre Miller the edge as a. I won't. Sam Cassell was a fantastic distributor.
No, you know what? Yes, Dre Miller was better than Sam Cassell.
Yes, better than Sam. No, Chill.
I don't look, and that's no knock. That's no knock to Sam Cassell. Y'all, Sam Cassell was dope. I just think Dre Miller was so good at basketball.
I think
he was super intelligent.
I just was wondering because
I don't know.
Anytime we talk about Andre Miller, right? Anytime we talk about Andre Miller, your eyes light up. I'm like, Ox, what's your fascination with this dude?
And you know what, too, Chill? That might be some bias, though. You know what I'm saying? My pop's from Watts. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know what I'm saying? I get put on a lot of LA dudes. You know what I'm saying? I had to pay attention to a lot of the LA dudes because those are the dudes my pops was, you know what I'm saying? On. So my pops was me on Andre Miller. When I was I could do it too. So anyways, well, like I was saying, Chill, I got put on a lot of LA dudes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I guess we can get back to the comments of the week now. So the next one that we have is we read this one from Matthew Burke talking about generational players. The next one that we have, I think this is a two-part comment. It is from Fab Rice 95. Fab said, in the last 35 years, only a handful of players truly qualify as generational talents. Guys like Shaq, LeBron, Luka, KD, Zion, and Wembanyama. What sets them apart isn't just stats or hype, but the fact that each brings a skill or physical trait so far ahead of their peers that their floor is higher than most player ceilings. The second part, Shaq's unmatched dominance in the paint, Luka's elite playmaking, KD's effortless scoring, LeBron's all-around game, Zion's explosive athleticism and off-the-court antics, and Wemby's freakish blend of size and talent, or size and skill. They all reshape how the game is played and how defense is prepared. These aren't just stars; they are anomalies.
Fair enough.
Focusing way too much on the athleticism stuff. You're not thinking about hand-eye coordination. You're not thinking about skill sets. Steph Curry's shooting volume changed the game. I'm sorry, Nikola Jokic changed the game. We are now having every draft where everyone's looking for a post big that can mimic Jokic, right?
Which I think is a mistake. Personally,
I agree. No, it is a mistake.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can't just go in the draft and be like, okay, I'm looking for Jokic. Like Jokic is really generational. You know what I'm saying?
What's really funny?
You're not just gonna find another Jokic.
I was thinking about the Sacramento Kings. I was thinking about the Sacramento Kings and their obsession with finding Steph Curry. Y'all remember this? Steph Curry coming up in the Bay
Area. Please.
There's a prospect in the draft.
And I know where you're going. I know where you're going with this, Pin. Just please.
Buddy Hield, right?
God,
they were looking for Steph. I'm sorry, Ox. Just cover your. they were looking for Steph Curry, and they were trying to recreate the Warriors backcourt of Steph and
we took Jimmer over Clay.
Jimmer Fredette next Steph Curry, Buddy Hield next Steph Curry, Nick Stauskas the next Klay Thompson. Like they were looking for this archetype, and it's just like, yo, you're not finding it. These guys ain't coming around again. That's I think
that messed up the league a lot though, because I'm just not with the copycat thing. I don't think because this team did this to win that you need to do the same thing to win. There's so many ways to win basketball games. I think like that threw the NBA off, and it's not Stephen Clay's fault. It's not Steve Kerr's fault. It's not Mark Jackson's fault. It's the rest of these dudes' fault. And we've talked about this before. I've said this a bunch of times, but how are you playing the 16, 17, 18, 19 Warriors, any of these Warriors, and you're really out here trying to shoot it out with these guys? Like that's just not gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Why are you trying to shoot it out with Steph and Clay and then get KD and all these dudes, like, and then now you want to try to replicate that? You can't replicate that. That's so the league might have changed, people looking for that, but it's just not realistic, bro. It's so unrealistic. You're not gonna find that.
Moss, can I be a generational talent when I'm the next iteration of what the generational player is in that era?
Yes.
For example, like we just got finished talking about. So Malone, Barkley, Webber was the next iteration of the power forward, the bigger 6'10", more skilled guy, stretched the defense a little bit more. His ability to pass. Him and another guy like Derek Coleman was supposed to be that also, but Webber I bring up. I bring up Chris Webber as an example of the next iteration of what the four-man is supposed to be.
Well, I mean, Jordan was the next iteration, better iteration, by the way. Next iteration of David Thompson.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just very strict. The same reason I'm very strict with the Hall of Fame. Like these terms for me mean like they hold a lot more weight. Like I'm not gonna be at a point where I'm calling Chris Webber generation. And Chris Webber was great. Like no disrespect to Chris Webber. Chris Webber was great. Just like
generational player versus generational prospect, though.
That's what I'm talking about, Mars. I don't think
there's some players who I'll sit the conversation out in terms of them as a prospect. Yeah. Chris Webber is one of them. Like I may watch a lot of
conversations around Chris Webber.
Michigan hoops.
Hey, but Pin, so you don't think Chris Webber lived up to the hype?
No, absolutely
because yo, Ox, the hype was like, yo, this guy's about to change.
Well, even Jalen Rose. When Chris Webber came out, I was a baby. I don't know. I never seen the Bad Boys play in real life. Like I wasn't, or not the Bad Boys. I'm sorry.
No,
the Fab Five. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't see Chris Webber actually play.
But Jalen Rose was a
Michigan.
point forward, and he was 6'9", so he was also it was him and C Webb that were supposed to be like the two like whatever. But remember, but if we going back to that era, Penn.
Right. You know what? Hold on, Eli, you made a great point. But don't ever call Blake Griffin generational and then say Chris Webber didn't live up to.
Well, I think we were talking about the athlete stuff. So anyway, we can sidebar.
As an athlete, Chris Webber was jump. Never mind. Go ahead.
Okay,
I think we're disrespecting Chris Webber a little bit.
We all run.
He was a generational prospect, but we're also saying Jalen Rose. But even in the 90s,
Chris Webber was 3 times the player Blake Griffin ever was.
Well, no, that's actually no. I disagree with that.
You disagree? You're wrong.
Blake Griffin was a great player. He was a top 10 player at his apex.
Blake Griffin's not close to Chris Webber.
Yeah, Blake Griffin couldn't watch Chris Webber draws. What?
No,
Blake Griffin was a top 10 player in the league for a period. What are you yapping about?
In what league?
Chris Webber was better than Blake. Chris Webber was better.
It was not even close. The gap is so big. Like the gap is so big, we can all 7 walk through.
Swipe is indirectly saying that Blake Griffin's better than Jokic.
I know. I
didn't say that,
right?
But he said he can't watch his draws. This is not true.
He can't swipe. He couldn't.
Socks nor draws.
You don't wash your draws. That's the difference.
You're right. My wife washed my draws.
And a generational talent, right? I get that. I get that part.
I can relate.
When I think about a guy being the next iteration of what this guy was in terms of a point guard. So Magic was the next iteration of what Oscar was, right? Webber was going to be the next iteration of what Malone and Barkley and the better power forwards were. And then Dirk showed up, and Dirk is going to be the next iteration of what those guys were. So when you're talking about being a generational talent, right, that's completely different than living up to the term of being a generational player. Because I think that I thought Webber was going to be much better than he was. I did. I as good as Chris Webber was, I thought he was going to be much better because of his skill set.
So and again, remember that whole era, everybody was looking for them damn forwards. So you have Greg LaFrance and Christian Laettner getting mad hype coming out of college. And they were bums. Now Webber was absolutely the best of all of them. He was the best of all of them, no doubt. But they were bums. I hated those players, Penn. Respectfully, I don't mean no disrespect. I hated them. Bars, I hated them because you're the drafter. I hated them. I did not like the way they played at all. But I thought Webber was going to be him, and he ended up being very good. No, but he wasn't. He wasn't like.
And this is the only reason. This is the only reason why we don't give Chris Webber as much flowers as we should.
He wasn't Kevin Garnett, yes, and Dirk. Yes.
Okay,
that's why.
It was
Tim Donnie.
Hey, we could keep Dirk out of this.
And Tim Duncan, they all were in the same era. He wasn't better than any of them.
The only 2 forwards, and so when he came in, Karl Malone was still running around. He was never better than Karl Malone. And
Who?
No, Chris Webber.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So he had Karl Malone, and then once Karl
never
Malone
better.
No,
never.
You understand what I'm saying, Penn? I understand when Karl Malone in 2004 he was better.
At Chris Webber's best, he was never better than Malone at his best.
So he had to live through Karl Malone's prime years, and then after Karl Malone fell off, Kevin Garnett, Shaq, Tim Duncan. This is the only he played.
Then Amari Stoudemire came down in the mid 2000s.
He played with four top 10, 15-ish players. That's the only reason why Chris Webber doesn't get the hype that he should be getting.
Whoa.
27 and 10, 24 and 13.
I agree. He was a great player. But then, and again, I'm not comparing. I'm not saying just listen to the context where y'all start yapping, especially Mars, because he's going to get more to the back. Y'all got to remember, it wasn't just them. Jermaine Damn O'Neal came into the league too.
Rasheed Wallace.
Dog. And then you get Rasheed Wallace. The power forward position was loaded.
O'Neal was a project.
And then on top of that, chill, and then you get Minnesota K Love. Right?
Yes.
They were the power forward spot from the 1995 to 2010. To 2010s was a powerhouse. We had never seen power forward talent like that.
Pau Gasol in that era too.
Pau Gasol was in that era too. Yeah, bro.
Peak was 96 to 2003, 2004. Okay, that's kind of the area where he dominated. Over those years, he made the All-Star game multiple times. He had five top 10 MVP finishes. His teams were great.
Chris Webber.
Mm-hmm. He was a really
Chris
good
Webber
player.
was great. Chris Webber was
Chris
amazing.
Bosh, Marcus,
I'm sorry. Chris Bosh was not even.
Well, no,
in
they
the
put it
league.
in the chat. They were putting other power forwards in the chat.
Okay, yeah, but I think people sometimes get confused about when C Webb actually was the best version of C Webb, and that was like 96 to 2003. Kevin Love does not even enter this equation. Doesn't matter.
No, but we were just going through the 2010s, like period. Well, Kevin Love came later, but yeah,
I think
C Webb was great.
The players who really,
Kevin Love couldn't wash his drawers either.
And no offense to Karl Malone, but Karl Malone really wasn't Karl Malone by 2002.
Well,
2001.
no, of course not.
He was over.
Yeah.
Like so Malone, like really the guys who came up with Webber were Rashid. That's one player. I think like that's
Kevin Garnett,
Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan.
He came into the league in '93.
When Barkley was still running around.
He still played.
Duncan showed up in 94.
And he's a 20-year-old rookie playing against grown men.
Garnett showed up in 95.
And then he played four forgettable years with the Bullets.
So Pitt, the point I'm trying to make is, let's just take Anthony Edwards, for instance. When he came in the league a few years back, who was running the league?
What year? Like the 21 year?
The Lakers are just won the
2021 year.
Bro, you still had Braun, Steph, you had Giannis, you had Jokic. All right, now let's just do a hypothetical. 5 years from now, let's say Cooper Flag turns out to be everything that we think he's going to be. Let's say Wemby turns out to be everything he's going to be. You think SGA is better than Kobe already, so SGA is up here too.
Why are we misascribing quotes to me to try to get me cooked by the chat that I never said that?
All right, my bad.
What did I say?
Rewind, chat.
No. When Penn starts using those fingers.
Let's pretend I didn't say that.
What did I say? What did I specifically say?
No, let's not pretend you didn't say that, Ron, because he didn't say that. He did not say that.
All right,
you ain't gonna tell me on period.
In the group chat saying that Shea had more everything than Kobe in the playoffs at the same age. But he's not implying.
On the timeline.
But he's not implying. He's not implying.
Doing it.
Yeah, he's just saying that for the sake of saying. He's not implying.
Zach Randolph, David Lee, David West.
You know what's happening. Definitely not. He just wanted to put them stats out there for no other reason other than just to point them out. Not because he's actually saying that. Shea and Kobe. That's what's happening. I mean, you know what's going on. But he hasn't explicitly said it. So I guess he has the nice little outdoor.
He did not say
technically,
that.
I haven't said Shea's better than Kobe.
No,
but I'm gonna just say everything that implies that I think Shea's better than Kobe.
John, text that to me.
We saw that. Yeah, we saw that.
I'll
John,
read
text
it
it
to
to me
you.
right now.
It's big now. We can pull it up.
Yo, I'll.
Hold on, because I did this
John,
last week.
John, text it to me.
This will be
Just
right in
text
my
it.
lap. I want you to look at me and look at this plaque, and we're gonna talk
my
about
God.
this man. I can't do it. I can't do it no more. I can't do it. We can't disrespect him too early. We can't do it.
Okay,
We can't
John,
do it. Get me off the big screen.
These are numbers, Sean. John, these are numbers. You don't need to feel disrespected by numbers. Numbers can't hurt you. Let me give you the numbers though. Between years 4 and 7, which right there, Mamba. You know the first 3 championships, the ones that built up the legacy, right? Those ones where he was running through the league. He was great in those first 3 championships, right? We can say, especially those last 2 championships. Over those years 4 to 7. So I'm not including 17 and 18-year-old Kobe to inflate the stats. Okay, I'm sorry. Rest in peace, Mamba. I just want to put this out there. Between years 4 and 7 in their respective careers, in the playoffs, Shea averages more points, more rebounds, more assists, more blocks, more steals, higher field goal percentage, higher free throw percentage, fewer turnovers in 5 less minutes.
Is the pace different?
Can we have a conversation?
Now you tell me what he's trying to imply with that statement. What's he trying to imply?
Does the pace and the spacing differ to you at all? Like,
The pacing is in your favor because you're playing 5 less minutes. Let me tell you something. If I adjust for pace and I make
just said like more points and assists,
Shea scores. Hang on, you didn't even get to the mic drop moment. Shea not playing with Shaquille O'Neal. If I adjust for pace, if I adjust for per possession, Shea scores 25% more than Kobe per possession.
And Kobe also don't get to stand around while 6 other dudes play all the defense.
Yeah. Talk about that.
While everybody else plays the defense, Kobe wasn't standing around watching his teammates play all the damn defense.
Get to it up.
That's what it sounds like.
And also,
Hey, guess what? When Kobe was off the board, we won a plus 25 either. Talk about that, Ox. Talk about that.
You know.
I mean, since 1960, there are only 13 players in league history who have won MVP and NBA championship in the same season. Okay, you don't care about that.
No, I don't.
That means a lot
at all. I don't
because that is true utter dominance.
This era, the Thunder are better than everybody else.
Hey, wait a minute. wait a goddamn minute. You know why? Because I just heard this dude over here to my right say to me that if Joker wins the league MVP for the 4th time, he's top 10. Swiper, you.
What's that got to do with winning a championship? What's that got to do with winning a championship?
Meanwhile, Penn just told me that.
Yeah, 13 players. But what's that got to do with winning a championship?
Meanwhile, Penn just told me that SGA is one of 13 guys to win the league MVP. And when
he hasn't done it yet.
No, he will be the 14th.
That's some shit people vote for. That's just some shit people vote for.
Let me give you the names because I think the names since 1960
yeah, but
Finals
MVP, right?
Hang on. MVP,
Steph won it in 15.
MVP, and a championship in the same season, presumably.
How many does LeBron
Bill
got?
Russell.
One?
Hang on. Bill Russell. Wilt Chamberlain. Willis
still,
Reed.
MVP is something that people vote for, though.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Moses Malone.
Yeah.
You seeing where we're at?
Larry
Bird. Larry Legend. Magic Johnson. Michael Jordan. Hakeem Olajuwon. Shaquille O'Neal. Tim Duncan. LeBron James. Steph Curry. Nobody else until possibly a few weeks from now.
Yeah, so what's the the era is completely different though. Like that's what I'm trying to say.
It's harder.
It doesn't.
It's
harder. It is harder. It is harder to do.
He's playing in the harder conference.
Hold on. Is that an indictment? Is that an indictment, for instance, on Joker?
Oh, he just no.
But they just won. I mean, they've all won. Giannis didn't even do it.
I'm sorry, Swiper. We got to add a Jokic trigger warning.
No, I said the
MVP, following statement
go
is
through
not
the MVPs.
offensive.
James Harden. No. So you're not gonna do that. Hey, SGA Muncher. You're not gonna do that to me. I'm bringing up all the MVPs, all of them. So answer: why didn't Harden win? Why didn't Giannis win? Why didn't Embiid win?
Bro,
why didn't Joker win? What I'm saying to you
calling
in this
me
era,
a muncher, why you literally need a tampon anytime someone brings up anything about somebody who's not Jokic.
I'm gonna call you
when I said
when you start doing this nonsense, when I'm bringing up an overall point and start making these dumb jabs, I'm gonna call you what you are. What I'm saying to you in this instance,
you thought it was killing you?
Chill. I didn't even go there. I didn't even go there. I'm bringing up all the rest of the MVPs, and this dude want to come off and back talking again. So what I'm saying is, in this era, it's different. It's more it's more difficult for the best player in the world to win a title because of roster construction and team construction. Chill just started this episode today talking about the CBA. So what I'm saying is this is a different era to win as the best player in the world on the team. The Thunder have by far the best team in the world, and deservedly so.
But if they got bounced in the first round, you wouldn't be saying this.
Who?
Stop
Shea?
it, man.
What is that? What does winning have to do with that? What does winning have to do with that?
I'm tired of this logic because
every winning have to do with that?
Every year, y'all want to do this where
y'all?
You
I picked the Thunder to win the title.
No, you didn't. You had them losing last round.
Before the season started, I picked the Thunder
to win the title. If you had them losing
before the season started, I picked the Thunder to win the title. So who is y'all? Who is y'all?
Well, I believe that I picked the Thunder to win a championship as well. Okay, so you're not going to come
here. You're not talking to me. You're talking to the rest of the group. I got you.
Okay, cool. All I'm saying is we're not all up here doing propaganda runs. Okay, I really could give a shit less what you think about who you picked, or you want to come up here with your hat, your A hat, whatever yesterday, and do victory laps over being some sort of visionary about who Tyrese Halliburton was. I really don't.
OKC right now. You've been on the timeline talking about this. You doing victory run about OKC like they're the favorite to win the title.
But I'm not. But hang on, I'm not doing
a plus 500, a minus 900, and all of these.
Let me present you with a key difference. I'm not doing OKC victory laps to prop up my favorite player, Scotty Barnes. I'm doing OKC victory laps because I genuinely appreciate this team.
You did a Scotty Barnes prop yesterday. You put up Scotty Barnes tweets yesterday. What does that got to do with anything? We're talking about OKC.
No, I'm talking about the agenda pushing that you consistently do.
There is no agenda.
Yes, there is an agenda.
Being the best player in the world. I've already talked about this multiple times. If you don't have the roster construction and you don't have the depth, it is more difficult to win in this era as the best player than any other. I've talked about this multiple times. That includes Giannis. Giannis for me is the second best player in the world. Why can't he even get past the first or second round every year? Because the team sucks. The Bucks suck. Is it Giannis's fault? Is it somehow an indictment? Not saying you. Somehow an indictment on Giannis Antetokounmpo that he's not been to the conference finals since 2021. No. I don't believe that. I believe that the team has not been put in the proper situation around Giannis for them to be able to get to the conference finals. That's just facts.
Okay.
It's that simple.
Hang on. I'm tired of reverse engineering everything. Number one, you said a lot of stuff there. Number one, yes, you are pushing an agenda. When you glaze OKC's defense now and you're saying like, oh, they're the greatest defense ever. All you doing, no, don't nod your head. We can all see what you're doing. All you want to do right now is present how much better Jokic is than other people realize, and how great your Denver Nuggets are for pushing this team to 7 because no other team came close. We all see your agenda on the timeline. What I'm trying to tell you is you and I are praising the OKC. Bro, you and I are praising OKC for completely different reasons. I am praising OKC because I genuinely appreciate a team that builds to the draft, doesn't get some favors because they're a big market team. I very much appreciate small market teams doing well. They've built through the draft. They've built the right way. They have a great team system. They have a great development staff. I just appreciate them. And everybody wants to turn it into some sort of munching agenda about Canadian this, Canadian that. When the hell have you ever heard me be like some hype boy for Canadians? I don't give a shit less. I have talked a lot of shit about Steve Nash throughout my career as a basketball analyst. So I generally don't care.
Literally, Chill just said they're possibly the greatest defense ever.
But you're saying that because they're winning. If they lost in the first round, you wouldn't.
No, because that's the issue. In the regular season, they were already in the conversation as the best defense ever without winning a championship. Without winning a championship, they added it by going to the playoffs and maintaining what they've done. They were already in best defense ever talks before the 82-game season finished.
Test what you're saying? You want to shit test what you're saying? Go read the comments. When I brought up that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, no, hang on. When I said the OKC Thunder were going to win a championship, I got major pushback when people said they're not ready. That was the consensus on this panel, is that they were not ready. There were very few people co-signing that take. So shut up about that. Number one, because it's very easy to say. It's very easy to say now that because they're about to go to the finals and presumably about to win, that everybody saw this coming. No, they didn't.
Who is everybody? You're not talking to everybody. You're talking to me. Yeah, the thing is, this started off because when I'm talking about this era, which I'm accurate, I'm 100% right. It is more difficult to win as the best player on a team or the best player period of your era because of the things that have to happen around you and your roster and your front office and your coaching to win. That is true. I think there are consistent reasons why Jokic.
I'm Giannis, a muncher. Can you go 2 minutes without making a Jokic point? I
just said the best player. Penn, you think the best player in the world is Jokic? So we're going to the point that was original. I think it's more difficult to win in these situations when you have to depend on your 1 through 9 in a different way than you have in previous iteration. Because back in the day, when you had LeBron and all the people you read off, Steph Curry played for the best team in the sport in 14-15 when he won the title. LeBron James for the best team in the sport with Dwayne Wade, with Chris Bosh when he did that. Shaquille O'Neal in 2000 played with Kobe when he did that. Kareem when he did that. Played with Magic Johnson when he did that. Go through all of those names.
And in the last
they played on all-time great teams in order to get the job done.
Previous to what we're seeing right now, in the last 6 years, how many times has the best player in the world been in the NBA championship? Not won it. Let's take winning it off the table. Just been in the NBA championship. How many?
Probably like a lot. LeBron was the best player.
2021 and 2020, maybe?
Tim Duncan. I mean, I don't know. Say
Tim One more time, Moss.
2020, 2021, 2021, and 2023 are like the years you can make the argument.
So that's barely half.
What about all the years that LeBron made the finals?
Okay, but that was a different CBA, which
9.
is Swiper's point. That's a different CBA, which is Swiper's point.
But this CBA is not the reason why the Denver Nuggets depth is cooked. Your depth is cooked because that's how you team build. You overpaid role players.
KCP left because that $60 million that he got in Orlando was not available in Denver. Because that Bruce Brown got was not available in Denver. It was available somewhere else. If the money was different, he would have stayed there.
Hang on. No. Jokic has nothing to do with the Kroenke's willingness or unwillingness to go into the luxury tax, go deep into the luxury tax. To go deeper into the luxury tax, as you understand, that the money. Look, the Boston Celtics kept their core together. They extended Jaylen Brown. They didn't have to extend Jaylen Brown.
They didn't have the ability to pay Bruce Brown more than $7.2 million. They literally legally could not. KCP
That's a different situation.
Yeah, KCP was a different story. KCP got $22 million from the Magic. They weren't going to pay him anywhere near that.
Okay,
number. So that was because of the second apron, though. So that was also a CBA thing. They did not want to go to the second apron to pay for KCP, but they had and I also saw that when they signed Zeke Naji for $8 million, if they didn't have Zeke's contract on the roster, then they could have added KCP. But the problem was they needed an intermediate contract that was not a max contract or better minimum to be able to move, which was the $8 million they gave the Zeke. It was a wrong decision. But again, we've argued about this. I think the draft stuff for Denver was wrong. Late 20s, early 30s. That's not how you build a roster. And on top of that, I think they should have brought back KCP. The one decision they had control of was KCP, and they let him go because of the CBA.
You remember Jerry Krause saying organizations win championships?
Yes, I agree with you.
He was right. Organizations do win championships. Players do have to get you through the door. And yo, if you have a top 5 player and your organization is doing their job, you should be at the dance every year. And if your organization is not future planning, we talk about the Bulls and the dynasty that ran through the 90s. How big a part of that dynasty was identifying the diamond in the rough that nobody else wanted to take a chance on, which was Dennis Rodman. How big a part of that dynasty was identifying Toni Kukoc as a Croatian prospect that was a little bit underrated because Jerry Krause was such a great scout. My point is understanding team dynamics, understanding how to fill your rosters, understanding team planning, future planning to say our window is this. How do we maximize this? You should have known Bruce Brown was going to be gone. That's anticipation. That's understanding. And in order to know Bruce Brown was going to be gone, you should have replaced that.
No, I'm not.
They replaced him with the draft
pick. We got away from the conversation that we were having, which was about SGA and what this team going to the finals means. Because John D was not trying to hear any more of this Bryant SGA thing. He wasn't. Cool. Because Mars,
get used to it.
To be honest with you, Mars, now listening to Penn's explanation, it is kind of what it sounds like. It does sound like you're telling us that SGA is better.
Yeah, I can't.
I'm not saying he's better. I'm saying have the conversation, put him in that conversation because look, 5 months ago I came up here and I said specifically I said
no.
Okay. All right, cool.
No, look, read my lips. I heard Ron apparently said that Kobe has a better handle than Shea. So Ron just be yapping too.
And other people up here agree.
Okay, and whoever agrees,
Shay's a better playmaker.
Kobe 100% has a better handle than SGA.
No, he
does not. Okay,
I
I love Kobe. I'm not subscribing to that shit, bro.
So you niggas never watched, and you see
we watched it.
No, you didn't.
That is so irrelevant because you're not taking the ball from either one of them, and both of them can get wherever they want to go. So when y'all talk about who has the better handles at this point, it's like who's a better tween, who's better dribbling around cones. They both get where they need to go, and nobody's taking the ball from either one of them. So what does it matter?
I think he belongs at the conversation. Look, Swiper wanted to put Nikola Jokic in, Hakeem talks and Shaq talks, and people lost their minds. But I think he belongs at that table. And as a talent, not as a career, as a talent, because you got to win championships to get there as a career. But as a talent, in terms of what he does in the basketball court, yeah, he does belong in that conversation. You can shuffle the deck, but just like Magic belonged in the conversation with Larry, right? Just like at some point we said Michael belongs in that conversation as well. It doesn't mean that one player is better than the other. I'm just saying we can have a discussion about it. I'm saying we could have a discussion about Shea and all-time guards. We can have a discussion about Shea and James Harden. We can have a discussion about Shea and D Wade and Steph Curry and Kobe Bryant. And the only guard in the history that
you lost me with D Wade, but that's just me though. But when you get to Steph,
you can have D Wade and Harden. We can have those conversations.
Listen,
I'm not
John D.
I'll talk about pretty much anything. So
if you make a post saying this is all the reasons why Kobe Bryant is better than Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, you're gonna get no pushback from me. I give a shit less. I don't care. I'm just saying, give him a seat at the table of all-time guards.
And he ain't deserved no seat at the table. He ain't need nothing to sit at the table. What are you talking about?
Okay, but this is the thing.
And we want to put him at the table.
Not Ron. You're right. Because the Thunder would be better than Tyrese Halliburton. I don't want to hear nothing from you.
A couple years of work. This boy ain't did nothing yet.
The Thunder would be better with. He did nothing.
He's
done nothing yet.
In 2 weeks, will he have a seat at the table if they win?
No.
What does he have to do to get a seat at the table, Ron?
And then turn around and win the 3 more championships.
Wait, Ron. What does he have to do? Ron, what does he have to do? I'm not sitting at the table. What do I have to do to get in the room of the pantheon of guards?
He's in the room.
He's not in the room, John.
He's sitting down.
He's not in the lobby.
He's not in the lobby.
Hold on.
MJ's not in the lobby yet.
He's still outside getting his ID checked, Joe. But he gonna get in though. They gonna let him in.
I heard that if he wins a championship, he's the greatest Thunder of all time.
But that was wrong, Pin. That's just wrong.
That's not wrong.
I'm not trying to.
He's not better than Kevin Durant.
He's not better than KD. I think Shea's at the table. Personally, I think Shea's at the table. I think in terms of the best guards to play, especially in this century, I think he's at the table. Now, me personally, Kobe and Steph have their own separate.
They have their own house.
Like they're on a different table. I don't know what to tell you. Those guys, I'm leaving them out of this. But D Wade, Harden, Chris
Nash,
CP3, like Steve Nash, like all of those guys, Shea's at the table with them, in my opinion. Now, does that mean I have him number one over all of those guys? I don't think so. I'll say that. I don't think I do. I might. I don't think I do. But I think he's at the table with those guys. I just think Kobe and Steph.
I think the only guard in NBA history that just cannot have a conversation.
Pen, hold this thought, please, because this the kind of shit that drives me crazy. Because y'all dudes jump on my ass on the regular. Mars,
talking about the win.
Did you not sit up here, Mars, and tell me a couple of days ago that if the Minnesota Timberwolves won the NBA championship, that we could have a conversation about Anthony Edwards being better than KG off the strength of them winning? But now,
what I said was, here's what I said.
But now,
I remember that conversation. What I said was, why can't you have the conversation?
Okay,
based on the idea of winning a franchise first championship.
Okay,
that's what I said. Now, my opinion on the matter is Kevin Garnett clears Anthony Edwards.
Okay,
that's my opinion. But when it comes down to, my opinion has been very clear about Kevin Garnett. Very clear. My opinion is also Kevin Durant is the best player to play for the Thunder, and I doubt Shea's ever going to be as good as I think Kevin Durant was. He might. I doubt it. So for me, Shea at best is going to be the second best Thunder ever. At best. But he might become the best. He might just play there for 15 years. And then it's like, oh, okay, Shea got it. But for me,
KD has been there for 9 years.
But based on how the best for a franchise conversations have worked historically,
sure.
If Ant were to win a title, why couldn't he be over KG?
Okay,
now, I know why he wouldn't be over KG for me, but that's because I just do things different.
You don't think
I gotta ask you this. Hang on.
He's just not close to KG.
Is Anthony who's closer to who? Is Shea closer to KD?
Shea's closer to KD.
I think he's really close to KD. And KD was my favorite player growing up. From like 2007 till 2019. No one talking to me about anything. KD was my favorite player. So I'm gonna say this 100%. Shea is absolutely in that conversation. You can give the edge to KD for sure.
Chill.
Welcome to the club. The club is very full.
We got a taste of what's going to happen.
Hold on. Chill. So
I just think Shea's at table too.
This is where my pushback came from originally. And so when Penn said the thing about the 13 players and the seat and table is going to be at the reason why I dislike that combo, Penn, based on something I've already said for months.
Because Jokic has never done it. But if Jokic did do it, you'd be literally tweeting about it every day, every night.
I'm not going to call you when I called you again. But when you do that, like that like you streamline me in a way in your own brain that is not even the connectivity. It just so happens that Jokic is playing at a level that he's the best in the world. But if any other player played for Denver, if Melo was playing for Denver right now, they had never won. I would not mention Melo at all because he was never in that conversation. So yes, Jokic is considered the best in the world by a consensus. So therefore, he's included in the conversation. I agree with you. But my conversation about this is larger than just one player. It's about the scheme of one player in context of an entire league and the CBA. So you can keep pointing at Jokic and saying it's an agenda, but that's just what it is. So that's why please stop doing that. Let me just talk about the sport and then not have it be directly connected to a narrative. Am I allowed to do that?
Yes, you are.
Thank you.
If you don't make it about a narrative, cool.
So again, I'm trying really hard to just euro everything you're saying right now without going straight at you. So chill. The context is that we're and again, I'm doing a ladder drill right now to get away from this. So dead leg drill all day. So what I'm saying is chill.
Yep.
Do you agree? And the reason why I said it doesn't matter. Because even in all those situations, I think Steph played for the best team in the world by far. They had 3 All-Stars in the DPOY.
Yep.
I think you look at LeBron, Wade and Bosh, like they also were an all-time great team. I think if you look at the Lakers in 2000, like all that stuff, they had the best team in the world. He was playing with Kobe. Shaq was crazy. I mean, again, they were all preeminent all-time great talents. But the context around it is, I think now, the last 6 years, and I think Mars would agree with this. So since 2019, we would say the best players in the world have been basically LeBron at the tail end, and he won in 20.
He's on the list.
And then Jokic, right?
But I'm saying Steph in there, but
Steph in 21 too, crazy year, right? Crazy year. But even Steph won in 22. But even that was like a weird year with the talent and all kind of stuff. But then the CBA hits. Like we get a brand new CBA chill, and then now everything's different. Like literally the Pacers, they might be the best team in the Eastern Conference just because 1 through 10, they just got a bunch of guys. They just got a bunch of guys, Joe. And even as good as Tatum is, Tatum was down 3-1 in this team. And as good as we thought the Boston Celtics were, they were down 3-1 because of 1 through 10 and 1 through 11. And so what I'm saying, Chill, is that the reason why I don't care about it as much, I don't think it's as contingent on you having the best player consist as much as it has been in the relative eras, due to the fact that you have to be able to go 1 through 9, I think, in this new era, and have multiple bodies and multiple players that do multiple things to help you through a regular season grind, but also through a playoff run. But do you think that?
Well, my name ain't on the poll, Ron.
But hang on one second, sorry. So to try to articulate, to try to tackle this without getting heated.
I shoot like Larry Bird.
On the poll.
I shoot like Larry Bird.
I am not saying that what Shea is doing is amazing as an indictment on every other player who hasn't done the same thing. I'm not saying, oh, well, he's entering this incredible list of 13 players, and look, Jokic and Giannis and so-and-so are not, and all these guys are not on the list. D-Wade's not on the list. Dirk's not on the list. They're bums. No, man. Sometimes you are the best player in the world and your team just doesn't show up. Sometimes you're the best player in the world and you just run into the wrong matchup. I realized that, if the OKC Thunder had gotten bounced in the second round, everyone would be talking about what? If they had gotten bounced by the Denver Nuggets, everybody was saying, oh, Shea's a playoff dropper because he had some tough games. People would be talking about Chet Holmgren is overrated. J-Dub didn't show up because blah, 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 blah. But when they got through that series, we can't say the inverse, that they deserve some damn credit for getting through a really formidable foe. Yeah. So what I'm saying is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander being on this list potentially, because he hasn't won the championship yet, and respect to the Indiana Pacers, they may push this, I don't know, but probably not. I'm saying his seat at that table should be a compliment for Shea. It doesn't need to be an insult to everybody else who's not in that very unique group, because it's a very specific thing. Because Real Talk tweeted out that Shea is going to be the first player ever to win Western Conference Finals MVP plus, MVP plus. Okay, well, Western Conference Finals MVP, that particular trophy, it wasn't there.
Yep.
Right. So this is just something that your kids someday are going to bring this up, and Shea was the first, and someone's going to be like, well, LeBron never did that, and be like, well, it's just arbitrary
because it wasn't around. But
yeah,
to Swiper's point, yes, Swiper, because back then I was able to build my unit around my best player and hold on to him much longer, which would explain why we were able to win championships. Why you saw the Miami Heat, not just the Miami Heat, but to go back to the Bulls, to go back to the Celtics, I was able to hold on to these guys a lot longer. But the fact that now what the CBA has done, even if I do have my best player and I'm able to build around him, I'm not able to build around him nearly as long, because these other guys are going to go.
Yeah, 7 straight different champions, Jill. Like that.
That's what I'm talking about.
Hold on, Pin. That's crazy. We've never existed in that place. I think that matters.
I don't think that, if I'm being honest with you, Swiper, and I'm projecting here, I don't think we're going to have a repeat champion this decade.
I think we'll have one. Well, I think we'll have one next year.
I thought we were going to have one. I thought we were going to have one this year.
Going back to back?
Wrong. I thought we were going to have one this year. I was wrong about that. I thought that the Milwaukee Bucks would do it again. Wrong about that.
Every champion gets that label. Right?
I thought Denver could do it again. Champion. Wrong about that. I'm not sure if we're going to have a repeat champion this decade.
So,
and I
think Boston and OKC were in the best
strength of your point, Swiper, that these teams, they were able to build around their best player and hold on to these units much longer. I mean, that Laker team with Kobe and Shaq, well, Robert Horry, Brian Shaw, Derek Fisher, Rick Fox, them dudes were together for a long time. Like, we don't see that now. We don't see teams where guys are together 5, 6, 7 years.
And then we could even argue they blew up their own process when they added Malone and Gary Payton and all that stuff to the unit. So it's they're I'm saying like they decided to do that, and then they ran into the Detroit team and all that.
They still should have won,
right? But they got dog walk for a reason. Kachonchi won like that, and Rashid and Ben and all them. So what I'm saying is, even look at the Spurs. The Spurs, they held on to 3 different iterations of their team.
100%.
So like they won in the 99, then they won in 03, they won again two more times, and then they won again
07,
in 2014. So what I'm saying is like even them, they just found a way to reconfigure multiple times, and that maybe that's it. Maybe it's just the Spurs model is more realistic now because you're gonna have to suffer some penalties for a few years, lose some players, but then you got to reconfigure every few years or so, and then you can get back there. But even to Penn's point, and now back to you because you're not trolling anymore. I think OK should be the favorite, but they might not even win next year, and who knows why? I mean, there could be a litany of reasons their top end guys are not healthy in the playoffs, or another team in the Western Conference they completely reload their roster. Now the top end talent and they got the bench.
The difference. Just really quickly, Penn. John D. Think about what $76 million on the books means just for you.
Yeah,
then on top of that, that's just for you. And then on top of that, the other guy, your other guy running with you. Now I got to pay him something substantial next year.
But that's
Oklahoma City.
But that's what I'm saying though. Like you're the money that you're going to be paying to Chet, J-Dub, and Shea, that's gonna hurt. But when you have the draft capital that OKC does, you have the flexibility to bring in a guy and be like, look, you're going to learn under Alex Caruso. Like, that's really good. You can learn under Lou Dort. You can learn under Isaiah Hartenstein. You can watch high-level basketball be played for 2 years before you get a real position in the rotation. And then when you're not trying to pay Isaiah Hartenstein, you have this center who's been learning off of him for 2 years. And then you have this other guard that's been learning off of Caruso for 2 years. And if he doesn't work, you also have multiple other draft picks you can pull in. I'm not saying they have to hit on every single draft pick, but OKC's hit rate is pretty high.
But we also remember too, John,
so much better
next year, and as a business, what do we see the most?
Possible.
We see other businesses raiding businesses. So don't think for 1 second that those guys won't get poached. Mars, I'm going to tell you this one more time. Give me the kid, Mars.
No,
give me the kid.
You can't have the kid.
Give me the kid,
Mars.
Mars.
At a point where, out of spite, I would make him untouchable. Like,
give me the kid, Mars.
That's funny.
Give me something.
Yo,
Give me the kid.
Swiper, I think you're gonna appreciate this. There are 5 players in NBA history who, over a 12-game sample, and shout out to Nerd Sesh for the stat because I would never have thought to even think about this, who've averaged 30, 6, and 7 on 60% true shooting. There's 5 players in NBA history who have done this over a 12-game sample in the playoffs. Who are they?
5 games.
I'll tell you.
LeBron, Jokic, LeBron, Jokic, Shea.
That's 3.
35 and 5. Is that what you said?
37 and 6.
36 and 7.
36 and
7.
So
Jordan
Jokic is 1. SJ is 1. Who else did you say?
LeBron and Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan.
And then there's a 5th.
And then the 5th one would be
Jabbar.
Am I tripping to say Steph?
It's not Steph.
It's got to be Kobe.
30.
It's not Kobe. Kobe just missed it.
Damn it.
36
Damn
and
it.
7.
Shea's already on the list.
Oh, okay.
So it's Shea, Jokic, Michael, LeBron.
Wait, what is it? What is it?
Larry? Is it Larry?
30, 6, and 7 over a 12-game stretch in the playoffs. 60% true shooting. It's not Luka.
Damn it!
It is James Harden.
Yeah, hard.
That's crazy.
So, well, but again, I think
but my point was arbitrary. Like, it's arbitrary, right? Like this thing. And to answer Chill's point and to your point about, like, we're not going to get another repeat champion. Yes, we will. And the reason we're going to get another repeat champion is for the same reason we got Golden State repeating. It's the same reason that we had the Lakers repeating in the early 2000s. Dynasties are formed by gaps in advantage because a lot of things are going to go wrong for you in the playoffs. I think I can argue, and this may sound controversial, that the OKC Thunder have had a lot of things go wrong for them in the playoffs. Okay, Shea's had stinkers, Chet's had stinkers.
Well, this year,
yes.
That's not a wrong.
That's
not a wrong. That's not a
no,
wrong.
No, it is wrong.
Aaron Gordon. That's all we got to say.
Okay, some things.
John Morant getting hurt was.
What? Okay. That didn't matter, Ron. That didn't matter. They were beating the shit out of
the
No, but you're right. You're right. You're right, Ron. You're right. My bad. You're right.
Lou Dort launching threes and missing everything from.
That's basketball, though. That's not going wrong.
I understand that.
And then Mark did the right thing and took him out so that Case and them dudes could save his ass.
Cool. But Shea struggled. Shea
struggled. How dare you talk about Lou Dort not making those threes?
Shea struggled. Hang on. No. Shea struggled.
He's gonna struggle. He struggled this series.
Okay. Here's the thing. I would say that number one, their gap of advantage is the number one thing that I care about the most. Is I already think they're so much better than the field that I think that that's huge. Number two, I think the fact that Isaiah Hartenstein and Alex Caruso just got on this team.
right? They didn't have the full year with Chet. They only had one training camp. I think that gets better. Teams tend to get better as you go a few years into playing with each other. You tend to get better, right? We're
How
seeing
much
it in
better
the
is Alex
playoffs.
Caruso and Hartenstein going to get for them, though? You know what I mean? Like,
but it's not about them individually getting better. It's like Isaiah
as a
Hartenstein
team, right? Yeah.
and Chet Holmgren, like the chemistry between those two bigs.
No, that
real.
was
sort
that's
of
real.
deprived,
I can get,
right?
I can get
Because
what you
Chet got hurt. Chet got hurt this year.
Yeah.
So you consider the age of Mark Daigneault. This is his first deep playoff run. Is he learning a lot? For sure, he's learning a lot, right? Shea, like we are seeing Shea get better game by game. In that Denver series, he was flustered as shit early in, but he started
right there. I got to ask you about as far as SGA goes though. And this isn't hate, yo. I'm just saying. He's been in the league for a little bit now, right? And he's gotten much better since he got into the league. How much better do we expect SGA to get? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying he can't get better. I'm just because there's definitely things he could work on, but I mean he's gotten so much better. Is there more leaps he's going to be able to take?
I think there's 3 huge leaps he can take.
Okay, what are those?
I think leap number 1 could be his on-ball defense can get a lot better, right? His on-ball defense can get a lot better. Leap number 2 is I think he can get even stronger in the paint, right? And
like driving to the rack, like staying on balance and stuff. Okay.
So I actually want to say 4 things. Number 3, I think his playmaking can improve so much. Like his court mapping, sometimes he gets tunnel vision, and I think he can get so much better at just. And we're seeing it. We're seeing it in real time now. Where with the Minnesota Timberwolves early on the season, like early in the series, he was getting a little bit flustered. He wasn't seeing the openings. Now he's like simple read, simple passes. He's just adjusting. He has a mind to learn very quickly, and he applies shit that he learns very quickly because he's just very focused individual who has that determination to get better on things. And the deep shooting.
My bad, go ahead.
I think the deep shooting can get a lot better because he's already a 3-level scorer. We're seeing the deep. If this guy can figure out 40% 3-point shooting from like 28 feet. Like he start get that deep shot going,
or he can just shoot above 30% from 3. That'd be great.
Turn into Steph. I mean,
golly. What what you just described, what you just described to me sounds awfully close to a perfect basketball player, and I just think those are very rare. Like it's very rare that we get a perfect basketball player.
But that's what he's after. That's what he's after.
And mind you, I'm not saying that's not what he's after. I believe that's what he should thrive for. No doubt about that. I'm just saying like a perfect basketball player is kind of not. I don't want to say unrealistic, but it's very rare, and it's hard to find any. Like even I'm talking about all-time greats, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan. These dudes weren't perfect basketball players. You know what I'm saying? It's just really hard to not have any flaws. And if SGA does achieve that feet pin, that's hats off. More power to him. You know what I'm saying? I don't want him to not get better. I'm just curious to know like how does one become a perfect basketball player?
Can his flaws, Ox, be masked? Can his flaws be masked by how great he is at so many other things?
Or it could be masked by
his
teammates being top notch on the defensive end, and that's not a knock either. That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
That's how
ideally you want great defenders around your star players.
And not to say he doesn't play defense because he's a defender as well.
He's a good defender. If Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, just ended up, I don't know, on some great team with 2 players who were better than him, he would probably be one of your like top 3 defenders, top 2 defenders. He'd be doing. Exactly.
I mean, you can be a top 2 defender. That doesn't say how good of a defender you are. He would never. I don't think he'll ever be the defender.
McDaniels.
Yeah, I don't think he'll ever be the defender of Cason Wallace, Lou Dort, Alex Caruso. I don't think he'll ever be that good of a defender.
I think I think he could be like a 90th percentile defender. I think he could make a few balls.
Hey, Ron.
Hey, Shea the GOAT. Hey, Shea the GOAT.
Wait. Ron.
Shea the GOAT.
He on his way.
Here's my problem. My problem is with Ron talking about that the guy hasn't done anything. Okay, I'd like to think that yes, he has.
Boy, did a goddamn thing.
I mean, that's just not true. Ron, compared to not only compared to what's going on in today's
you
game,
are the guy. Ron, in order to pass somebody up, you got to play 50 years in the NBA.
I didn't say 50. I did not say 50.
Morris,
I did not say
Shea been averaging 30 for 3 years, Ron.
We've only seen him do it for 2 years.
How long?
We're
in year 4 right now. We're in year 4 of this.
Year 3, technically. Of SGA, year 3.
So 25, 30, 30, 30. That's what he's been doing, right? So almost, and on top of that, so we're looking at anywhere around like 27, 5-5. That's who he is over like the last 4 years. With that being said, Ron, he's played over these last 4 years. This dude didn't just show up last year. This dude didn't just show up 2 years ago. When I talked about him and Jason Tatum, that was my issue. That we were putting these dudes in conversations that they weren't in 2 years previous to that. Now when he showed up and he's gotten better, I have to give it up that, yo, this dude is showing me what he can be as an elite player. You, on the other hand, are telling me that this dude hasn't done anything. I'm a first team All-Pro for 3 straight years, Ron. That's a big ass deal. That is a big deal. I don't care if I got bounced in the round. I don't care if I got bounced in round 1 in the playoffs every year. I'm a first team All-Pro. That means that I'm playing at a top 10 level every year the last 3 years. That's a big deal, Ron.
Not only is
then
he
we add
MVP.
the winning into this.
Go ahead.
Then once we add the winning into this, now I get into a different stratosphere, which is where he is now. Getting to the NBA Finals. Now I get catapulted over other guys who haven't been here over the last couple of years. When you talk about SGA not doing anything, you can't say that he's not done anything, Ron.
Okay,
he's
hang
not.
on.
He's not in it. It's planets, and he's not in this galaxy.
The trajectory
yet.
and
He's just
growth
not.
is crazy.
Hey,
Okay,
Mars, he might be on the way there. He's not in.
No,
Kobe
he is.
Bryant,
He is
Steph
there,
Curry,
bro.
Kobe,
What?
Steph.
Bro, Ron, you need to wake up. Okay,
I need to wake up to what?
Okay, look at this. Per 100 possessions, this is his scoring rate per 100 possessions from
I don't
when
want to
he
hear
was
about no per 100 possessions, man. God damn. I don't want to hear it. I'm
Brother.
through with it.
No.
I'm done. It's
Brother,
no
you are
stat that
asleep. You need to activate that third eye and wait.
Ron,
Not
so
right
Ron,
now.
let me ask you this question. All right, so
Hang
when
on.
we talk about
I promise you this is going to make some sense. No, I promise you this is going to make sense.
to make sense.
Okay,
He's not with
Ron.
Kobe Bryant.
Forget about Kobe for a second.
He's not like
These numbers
he
have nothing to.
hasn't-
These
he
numbers
has
have
not
nothing to
done
do with
it for
Kobe.
long enough
These
yet.
numbers have
And
nothing
good
to
enough
do.
yet.
Bro,
He hasn't.
he has an
been good enough
MVP. You were
for
talking
long
about a guy who's averaging 30 for
Ooh, I got an MVP. Ooh.
MVP means
no.
So
No.
So Ron, what do you? So Ron, what do you?
You like some SGA generational hater, and it's
so
honestly
Ron,
weird.
what do you want from this? Because you know how I feel about
Well,
Steph
Ken,
Curry got
I think he's
back-to-back
responding
MVP
to your energy.
when Steph Curry
Rod
got
is a known hater
back-to-back
at the same time.
MVPs.
We got
when
Munchers,
Steph
we got
Curry
Glazers
got
all in one.
back-to-back
everybody's here.
MVPs and went to back-to-back finals. We
Eaters,
didn't even put
munchers, and
him
glazers all
we
here.
didn't put him in Kobe Bryant
it's a
conversation.
convention.
Who?
Mars, in 2016, in 2016,
Jordan conversations. I remember.
Hold that thing up
Crazy,
high.
Ron.
dude.
That is not
I
true.
remember
I
2016.
vividly remember.
They were putting Steph Curry and Michael Jordan conversations.
Take it a step further than that.
Remember.
Mars,
They
take it a step further than
what
that.
happened 9 years ago. That's what they were doing.
Please don't stop
They
there,
were putting
Mars.
And
Steph
SGA
Curry
does
and
not have
Michael
KD.
Jordan talks. That's
Please
what
don't
they
stop
SGA does
there,
not have
Mars.
KD.
is he in Michael Jordan talks right now?
No.
SGA?
Okay, so we clearly when that happened, it was a major overreaction.
How long until we get into Steph Curry talking SGA? How long until we get there?
How
One more
about
time.
that?
Well, Penn tried to put him in there
That's
earlier
gonna
this
happen.
year.
Right there.
That's gonna happen.
Right there.
2016.
Y'all are
happen.
late.
Penn,
Y'all are late. Penn did that already. Swiper, he did that already.
This is the thing, though.
He doesn't think he's better than Steph,
Win. If
Yes,
the
he
Thunder
does. He
win,
said he said
nobody
Shea was
Shea's
better
not
than
in the
unanimous
conversation
MVP. Steph Curry.
He
Penn
did?
said
I
that.
said
Penn
17.
said that
Curry.
SGA was
17
better
Curry.
than.
2016
Not
Curry that won the
16
league
Curry.
MVP.
17.
How
You
far
said-
Ron-
you
I
said- you
I said 17 Curry. I said 17
Okay,
Curry.
so take
The
that
first
back.
year.
I think
Yeah.
winning. Man, this
It's
is
semantics.
So wait. So y'all telling me he didn't say he was better than 16 Curry?
I ain't even
No, I
talking
did
about
not.
that.
He
Penn,
said
17.
he
I said
said he
17.
said
Right
Shea
now?
he said Shea was better than Pete Curry, and then started going on
Yo.
a rant talking about 17 Steph, which I believe was so that he can have plausible deniability and say he didn't say 16. But he said he was better than Pete Steph.
let me ask you
That's
this,
what he
Penn.
said. So
Penn.
once again, Penn said he was better than Pete Steph, but then just went on a whole tangent talking about 17 Steph, so that when this conversation could be revisited, like it's being revisited now, he can say I didn't say 16. Like, but I know what he did. He
Penn,
said he was better than Pete
2016.
Steph. That's what he said.
Penn, 2016 Steph Curry
Just
and SGA
disgusting,
today.
yo.
Where's the gap?
It's just
Sorry,
nasty.
what-
Steph is
2016?
here, Shea is here.
2016
He
Steph
ain't
Curry
It's
there.
just
and
nasty.
2025
He's not
SGA.
there.
What's the gap?
Pull up your hands.
Put your hands
I think this is so
up,
nasty.
up. No, go up. Up a little bit more. A little bit more. There you are.
So
That's
Steph
the gap.
Curry in 2016 and SGA today. This is the
So
gap between
an
the two.
eyebrow?
So this is
eyebrow?
what it is.
That's the gap.
That's an Anthony Davis eyebrow.
No, that's a good gap.
Serious.
What it is.
Yo,
that's a good gap.
No, hang on. This is what I'm trying to say. I was trying to get this. Hang on.
You're really being serious right now? Like for real? I know you just said you're being serious, but are you seriously being serious?
Wait, who was on top of who was on top of who?
SGA is on the bottom.
Who's the bottom? Who's the bottom?
Shea the bottom.
Leave.
Okay,
this Curry, no doubt.
Yo, I'm trying to explain to you like the growth trajectory of players is very, very hard to match. Now, y'all know I'm a draft like nerd, right? Yes. Like I follow the draft very much. I'm very curious about how we miss these players. And again, I followed some of the greatest growth trajectories of all time, like Giannis. Look at where Shea has come from to where he's gotten, and point to where you think this might go. Okay. Yep. Now, sorry, Ron, I'm gonna have to bring this number up per 100 possession scoring. He's gone from 19 as a rookie. No, 19 as a rookie, 19, okay, to 26, to 33, to 34, to 42, to 42.4, to 45.9. Where's the regression? Consider his box plus minus from his rookie year to this year, and you're going to see the staggering number that's going up. 0.5, 1.7, 4.1, 3.4, 7.3, 9.0, 11.5 this past year. If he takes this up one more notch, yes, you are talking about like the greatest seasons of all time. You're up there with the peak seasons of Jokic, the peak seasons of Jordan. Those are the seasons that are above this level. And just so you know, over the past 3 years, the 7.3, the 9.0, and the 11.5, Kobe never clipped 6, ever. So just so you're aware,
but
that's
we're doing this again. This is where
I'm telling you what the numbers.
Everything comes full circle.
But hold on. But I guess this is what I'm. But I really this SGA thing is so difficult to frame because
people don't want to accept it.
But it's not. It's you too.
I don't want to accept that he's better than Kobe.
No, it's the same thing as Jokic. It's completely different. Look, I was campaigning for Jokic being the best player in the world before it was very popular for that to be the accepted norm. People like, oh no, he's pudgy, he's this, he's that, he's a bad defender. I'm like, but look at what he's doing. He is the best player in the world. Okay. The numbers, you might say they're stupid. I was looking at a podcast that I did 3 years ago about why the Pacers won the Halliburton and Domas trade, and I was pointing to a lot of those numbers, and I was saying, look, man, the numbers say Tyrese Halliburton is way better than people realize he is, and the Pacers are going to find out. So, look, man, when you get back to the basis of basketball beyond the space generation and gravity and all that stuff, we really are talking about, is my team really winning your minutes? That's all it is.
And you're a draft nerd, and Penn, you're a draft nerd. So with you being a draft nerd, in 2018, when SJ is coming out of college, what I want you to do is I want you to fast forward today, and I want you to think about a fourth place team in the SEC and their second leading scorer. Are you projecting that guy to be this?
No, of course not. Not even close. People thought he was going to be a defensive stopper, maybe a connective passer, maybe a good third, fourth option. He was not getting hyped. So
that's the point I'm making. So how do we project? How do we project guys like this? Like John Calipari, he clearly didn't get it. He clearly got it wrong.
I'll actually tell you, because I did an entire live on this yesterday about how great teams draft, and there's certain things that we tend to overvalue as draft evaluators. Yep. Like scoring is one thing we tend to massively overvalue at the youth level. This is the Mikey Williams story, right? Put up big numbers, get a lot of hype. The Imani Bates, like those guys. We tend to undervalue things that are not typical for the position, right? Like who's out there measuring Shea's balance? Who's out there measuring a center like Nikola Jokic's hand-eye coordination? These are not things we think about. The passing from a center, we just like, no, he doesn't block shots, so he's a bum. You know, he doesn't look like the normal thing. The most important thing I think that you need to really evaluate is the mind of the player, and this is the hardest thing to evaluate. When I think about players mentally, I think about a player going down 2-1 in a series, or a player being down 15 at halftime. What part of the brain, right? Like what part of the brain activates when you get that situation? When you go down 2-1, it's an opportunity. When you're down 2 with 3 seconds to go, it's an opportunity to hit a game winner. But not every player perceives that as an opportunity. A lot of players view it as a stress. Like, oh, what if I miss?
Packed up.
Hey, so Penn, I'm just trying to figure out, because I'm following what you're saying. What the hell this got to do with this boy being in Curry and Kobe conversations?
The greatest players of all time, have minds that are significantly different than the average player. They want pressure. They view pressure as an opportunity. When you, okay, I'm gonna give you honest truth. When I was tasked, like when I got onto the court, right, and we're down 1, and I know there's a big play, and I got to make a pass, I was nervous. I had like nerves running. I could feel my heart rate. I used to have to, try to put my hand on my heart to like stop me from being nervous in those moments because I was, you know what I mean? Like I need to slow my brain down.
Breathe.
That's not a good place to be mentally.
Well,
that's not where you're calm.
Makes sense.
But there's other players where you look at the greats of all time, Wayne Gretzky, Tom Brady,
they stone
Steve
cold.
Nash.
They live for them type of moments.
It's not just about being stone cold. It's about what happens to your brain in those moments. If everybody else around you is 12% to 15% more panicked, and you actually are more zoned in, what's the gap?
Numbers on how much panic you have? How do you quantify that?
You can actually. You can.
My question.
You can do
in real time, Pin. In real time.
No, not in real time. But in retrospect, if I put a heart rate monitor on,
what does this have to do with the Steph Curry conversation?
Ron, what does SGA have?
Well, I think it's important, but this is not the conversation. Like, we just not.
I just want to know what SGA has to do in your estimation, because you told me that he hasn't done a damn thing. How much more of this then do you need to see before we can start to have a legit conversation? Like before we can have a legit conversation. Ron, you know how I feel when we talk about the all-time greats. I need a decade. Before we can have a real conversation about you. I need 10 years. How much more time do you need before you go, yo, this dude, we could have a real conversation about him and player A? Because I don't think him and Bryant are in the same space. I don't.
SGA,
they're not.
But I'm not going to say he hasn't done anything.
Let's move on.
I'm gonna need at least 5 to 7 more years.
This is all off season, bro. This is all off season.
How many?
I'm fine, but it ain't the off season yet. What I'm saying is, I
5 to 7
years.
Yeah, and it don't even necessarily got to be at this level. It could be a tier or 2 down, but I need 5 to 7 more.
Ron, if he does this, if he has 4 more years like this,
if he plays like this till he's 30,
I'm not talking career.
Kobe
I'm
did
talking
this for
peak.
16 straight years.
No, but Kobe wasn't this good.
I'm not talking
this good
career.
for 16 years though.
Yo,
16. No, he didn't, Ron.
Yo, Ron, I think
I'm
not talking about their career.
I'll give you 12.
14.
No.
From
Just give me 4 more. Just give me 4 more years. SGA.
He'd already torn his Achilles by that point. So
from 90, and he came back off the Achilles balling.
I move on. Superchats.
Kobe came back off the Achilles balling.
Ron's gonna get Ron.
No, I'm not. Kobe came back off the Achilles going. Like he was still balling. I'm not saying.
He was on the court. He was playing basketball. He was
hooping. What?
Now,
Ron, from 2000 to 2012, that's kind of where the love stops. But those were a great 12, 13 years. Amazing 12, 13 years. SGA, give me 4 more, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then let's talk about it. Malpin, I'm with you about being early to things. I know how you like to be early and project on things, and I can't knock you for that. I'm talking about right now. I don't think we're ready for that conversation. And you know what? I don't think he's ready for that conversation on the court. And honestly, from a human standpoint, some of us aren't ready to talk about that this early. I think you're just more mentally capable of having those conversations a little earlier, and that's
and
fine.
Pin, you're jumping to Kobe. Is he better than Giannis?
Yeah.
For you?
No.
At 8, no.
Swiper, please stop. Swiper, please. I'm trying to get.
Hold on. Okay. Pin, you think he's better than Apex Giannis at this point?
No, not Apex Giannis, but
Well, that's
this
what I'm
version
talking
of
about.
Giannis, yes.
He's not better than Giannis today.
This Giannis.
Yeah.
I'll have the conversation.
And he's better than Luka too.
I have the Luka conversation.
Hey, I'm with that.
No. But you know what? I'll accept it. But
I'll have a Luka conversation. I'll have a Giannis conversation today.
This is what happens.
Ladies
and gentlemen,
next year,
you win.
Next
what
year,
happens is the conversation about
he ain't better than Giannis. He ain't better than Giannis.
When you start to win, the conversation about you changes. 100%. If SGA stayed
like it's supposed to,
if SGA stayed as a first-team All-League performer for the last 3 years, averaging 30 a game, and his team was getting bounced in round 1 or in the semifinals we wouldn't even touch this
Mars.
conversation.
But hold on.
Sometimes all you need is a dude. All you need is a dude to strain his hammies.
Hold up, Swiper, but before you change the subject, hold on, just right quick. I gotta put this in. I gotta just put this in. So, in 3 weeks, when Halliburton serves this dude, it is averaging 20, 25, and 10 in the NBA Finals, like he's been doing, like he's been doing the whole playoffs.
I don't think
I don't think he's had 10 turnovers all season.
in that dirty ass Puma hat to put him in Jason Kidd conversations. I want you in that dirty ass Puma hat to put him in John Stockton
well, that's not
conversations.
happening.
You called him the best point guard in the NBA.
Joker hat. I want you in that fake ass Joker hat, Swiper, to put him in Magic Johnson conversations. I want all of you guys to put
don't know anything about Wakanda. Doesn't know anything about comics. Doesn't know anything about the DC world at all in any way, Marvel, any of that. So, Mars.
Respect each other.
But do you understand? Because we've had this conversation, and you've been in opposition to this, but I hope do you see my vantage point now in talking about like why roster construction matters so much? And I think the difference between what SJ has around him to elevate him to conversation like Penn is talking about, whereas Giannis, he's lacking so much of that. If Giannis did have something at least like in the proximity of that, we would be putting him back in conversations of clear, like best in the world talks, back in conversations. He's having one of the greatest 10, 15 peaks of all time. Like, I think that matters. Like, we're slanting so hard toward SJ. He's a great individual player. But at the same time, like, he's also benefiting in ways that his team is so good that now he's winning at such a high level this year, maybe next year, that now he's in like Kobe and Steph and Giannis talks, where it's like there are other players that I think only two, to be fair, only two that I think have legitimate arguments over SGA's players. But they're both in more disadvantageous situations, but SGA is going to be lifted up. It seems like above one of them in particular, in Giannis, because of the situations around them. I think for me, Giannis this year, I think SGA was better. I'm with you, Penn. But I'm also saying, if Giannis got another roster like 21 around him, the conversations around Giannis's play would be vastly different. Okay. I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying you can think he's better. I don't think that's a great argument.
For sure.
Hang on.
That's all I'm saying, Mark. That's
this is a very, very important part.
That's all I'm saying.
Just give him proof.
Aaron Gordon, prior to the tear, prior to the injury, was Aaron Gordon outplaying Chet Holmgren?
In that series, yes.
Okay, great. Was Jamal Murray outplaying J-Dub?
No, I think he had 2 good games. I don't know about outplaying.
Was it relatively close?
And when you factor in the defense.
When you consider the championship experience around Jokic, I could argue that maybe it was Shea who was in a disadvantageous situation because he had the youngest roster in the goddamn league. Yeah, think about that.
Super chat.
No, man. Like, I am sick and tired of y'all reverse engineering.
Lose your mind, Diesel.
No.
We got $50.
Lose your mind, Diesel.
Go ahead. Young teams are not supposed to win. What were we?
Yes. We have talked. We definitely talked about that. I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that, Pin, because I'm still coming to. Like I said, I don't think they're a great. They're a great team. But I was with you. I've been saying that from the beginning. I'm always going to side with experience if the teams are close. That's why I had Denver. I took Denver because I thought that the experience was going to prevail. But sometimes, you pull a hammy and shit happens. You know what I'm saying? So,
okay, cool. And sometimes
they were absolutely going to beat that team with the healthy Aaron Gordon.
Hang on. And sometimes Chet blows 2 free throws, even though he's a good shooter. It happens.
That could be inexperience.
The lights might have been too bright. That could be Mark Daigneault fouling down 3.
His panic levels
all I'm saying is,
can we get a number on that? I want to know what number he was at. What percentage of panic was he at the free throw line?
Fellas,
I got a high level panic.
Ron, we're getting to the science of the game right now, Ron. Don't cut it off now.
I gotta grab the wheel. The road that we're driving down is quickly coming to an end. And on top of that, I still have a couple.
Not with your non-driving ass. God damn!
Get Ron out the driver's seat. Get him
over. How many times did we almost have to pull over? Like, Ron, do you know where you going, bro? Like,
I know where he has no idea where we going.
GPS, bro.
You can't drive for nothing. And I'm not even talking about.
A nonchalant nigga sent through a super chat and said, "When is Apex Giannis for everyone?"
2020 to 2022.
Yes.
There it is.
2019 till today.
Yeah, like y'all gonna hate.
I think that's his prime.
I think that's his prime. Apex Giannis is this
peak and his prime.
I think
he's still at his peak. Chill. He's still peak. Chill.
I still think this is the best version of Giannis that we've ever seen. And part of it is because, once again, like I always say, scoring is king. This is the best scoring version of Giannis that we've got. We're getting middies, we're getting turnarounds and all of that. Yeah, his defense has declined. Yeah, but you can't tell me.
I'd rather have Giannis shooting 82% at the rim, personally, than what I saw this year.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I liked him better when he was dunking on niggas.
But this is the point I'm making. Though
he still be dunking.
19, 20,
82% at the rim on 600 attempts. So, like,
I still think he dunks more.
Yeah, so it's like he's better.
How many attempts, Wiper? God damn.
600 attempts and 82% at the rim.
That's 4 out of every 5 shots I'm making.
Man, I hope so. You're right next to the rim.
Well, this is restricted area, by the way. So this is 3 feet in.
Do you guys see the stat that Rudy Gobert was shooting 36% on layups in the playoffs?
Yeah. Shout out.
36%, 7.1.
Get him the ball.
But we just meant to give him the ball near the rim.
Oh man, that nigga's a bum.
God damn, Rudy.
I'm tired of it.
I'll never win Bucks fans like Elijah, because I won't say he's the best in the world, but Bucks fans, they will very much like me this summer with how we will be talking about this whole thing, because I think now we have moved so far outside the realm of how I think Giannis should be discussed that we're gonna make sure we do that right.
Even his rebounding is hindered when you can't grab the ball on a rebound.
Did we even finish the comments of the week?
No, we didn't. And I'm trying to.
I can't support Rudy anymore. Yo, I'm sorry. I'm off the Rudy
155. We got 48 super chats and still 3 comments of the week left.
Well, 47.
Yes, because somebody wanted to grab the wheel of the car and drive down. Man, this was
I drove this off the cliff.
Alexander drive.
Well, Swiper helped, and Ron, you didn't help. You didn't help the situation.
I got thrown in the back. I got thrown in the trunk.
You hopped in the trunk.
I mean, it's a spacious trunk. But
read the comments, Ron.
Read the shit. We got one from Trim Duncan. Shout out to Trim Duncan on episode 565. Trim said, "Chill definitely is Mr." How ironic. Chill definitely is Mr. How can you pass me up in a year if I've been better for the last 3 years?
Absolutely. That's absolutely true.
So, what's the point? If you ain't been doing what I've been doing over the last 3 years, if I'm trying to think of somebody in the game today, like think about what SGA's been doing. Think about what SGA's been doing over these last 3 years. And I don't know, let's say who's a good player in the game today that's been
I don't know. Let's just go Steph Curry the last 10 years and SGA the last 3 years.
I'm not gonna go Steph Curry. No. Mm-mm.
If we come into next year and Wemby's just better than Shea, I'm gonna say Wemby's better than Shea. Like, I'm sorry. So? If we come into next year and Wemby is somehow better than Shea,
I hope to see the only Anglo man up here, or Serbian. I hope you are the main one on the Wemby train right behind me if that happens. You better show the same energy that he's better than Kevin Garnett next year. When hold on, I'm not done with you. He went to Kobe. So the inverse of that on the interior would be Wemby's better than KG.
Yeah.
12, 5, and 3 blocks and 2 steals a game. He said, no.
Let me know before. Let me know before, so I want to be there. I don't want to be there for that.
28, 12, and 5 on 5 stocks a game. DPOY, first team All NBA,
39% on 11 of them.
And they're a top 6 seed. They're a top 6 seed next year in year 3. So when he does that, I hope Penn is saying he's better than Kevin Garnett next year, and he's early to the party.
Hang on, Mr. Yaponomics. Did you just say the only other Anglo man other than me? Did you just say that?
That's not what he
Mr. Yaponomics has left the
building. He said support right with me, not other Anglo man with me.
I don't understand the.
But I want to know. Well, I want to know. Chill. So
right?
he wasn't saying him. He was talking about you, Pin. He was calling you white, but you are white though, right? Anyway. So it's no big deal. It's no big deal. I don't think he meant no harm by you. I don't think he was trying to get at you.
Serbs aren't white.
So chill. Y'all not white?
We're Serbian.
But either way, chill. I want to know, chill. I'm curious, chill. So next year, if Scotty Barnes is better than Kevin Durant,
holy shit!
No,
is he better than Kevin Durant?
Y'all gonna have to fire me. Y'all gonna have to fire me. I'll tell you that right now. You're gonna have to fire me, ban me, sue me.
If he's better than KD, if he had a whoa. If he had a better season than KD next year, are we saying? Are you saying that he's better than KD? Period.
No, you can have a better season.
Not for a career, but yeah. No, not
as
a career. But if he plays better for a whole season than Kevin Durant, then yes, he's better than Kevin Durant. Yes.
Just real quick.
I think many times you can have a better season and not be a better player, but I also think there's many times where you are just a better player.
And that's fair.
A whole season makes him better to me.
Yeah, that's fine. If Scottie Barnes improves next year, and I think he's better than Kevin Durant. He's better than Kevin Durant.
Okay, but I don't want to take this too far. I don't want to take this too far because
how the hell did I lose the best shooter poll? Y'all crazy. I am the best shooter on the panel. Shut up.
Go ahead, John.
You got a burner for open?
This is yeah. I don't think it's crazy to say like if Scottie Barnes shot making is like.
Am I the only man up here that doesn't have a burner? Because I'm not afraid to be myself in public. Is that it?
Not a burner like that. Like a burner, like a burner.
A burner jump shot.
You ain't no hooper swiper. You wouldn't know.
I just got a burner. I know he does. I know Ron does too.
I got military accuracy.
Hey, tell him again. Swiper niggas act like I don't got a flamethrower. I'll throw flames. Stop playing with me.
John, as you were saying.
If Scottie Barnes shot making is like a leap ahead of what it was this season, like if he takes another leap, he's gonna be a really good because you got the versatile defense, you got the playmaking, the rebound, and the trans.
I mean, his mid-range shooting is already great. So if he yes, it's great.
Moved by some turnaround jumpers, man.
Okay, well, cool. Like look, man, y'all really not realizing how much Brandon Ingram is gonna help. Brandon Ingram, big upgrade over Grady Dick. And
hey, panel, I did this on purpose.
Yeah, y'all.
I think Brandon Ingram's better than Scottie Barnes, but I mean,
we can't afford to go down this road right now. I still have one more chat, and then we're gonna get into super chats. The last one that we have is from Matthew Burke again. Matthew Burke made it twice. Shout out to Matthew Burke. In episode 563, Matthew Burke said 1470 is the minimum SAT score to the idiot who thinks 1500 won't get you in.
Matthew Burke, you are the fucking idiot because if I got 1470 and I'm an awesome basketball player, I'm getting into Harvard. You. And I know some people. You. How about that? You. I got 1470 and I know some people. I'm not just getting in on merit. No. That's not the way that works. If I got 1470, I'm an awesome basketball player and I know some people, I'm getting into Harvard. I'm getting in.
Well, you can gray shirt too. You can just take first semester, get your grades up, and then you come back in the spring semester. That was another option too. Gray shirt, there's red shirt, and then there's gray shirt. Gray shirt, you go to community college for.
Ever heard gray
semester.
Gray shirt, that just means you take less than 12 units, so your clock doesn't start.
MTHJ 301 said trade scenario: Clay, PJ, Gafford, Lively, Flag, 2028 first rounder and or 2029 the LA Lakers first round pick for Giannis and AJ Green.
Who are the Mavericks gonna have then? Want to get rid of all of
my thoughts are how's the weather in Milwaukee?
They're gonna have Giannis, AD, Kyrie, and Vibes, and Najee Marshall.
That M in the
Max Christie?
That M stands for Milwaukee.
Yeah, that's Max Christie.
Right.
That's
Lively Flag. No. You got to keep one of them. I think you keep Lively.
If I'm the Bucks, I say no. If I'm the Bucks, I'm not trading Giannis. I'm not trading.
If I'm the Bucks, I think I'll take that. If I'm the Bucks, I'll do that.
100%, you take it.
I'm all right. I'm not.
You take a lot less than that.
I'm good on Giannis. Thank you. I'll keep my top 15 player ever. Thank you.
But that's the championship window argument, Mars. 31 years old versus 18 years old. He's basically half his age, almost.
Damn, relax. We ain't that old yet. God.
Oh, I ain't even acknowledged people.
No, Swiper. We are.
But we ain't that old. You said half?
Yo,
yeah, I mean, what you? I'm 34. Half that is 17.
I got news for you. Someone who is born in 65 just turned 60. Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about that.
You said 1960.
We weren't born close to the 60s though, Swiper. So don't worry about that.
But I was born in the late 80s. Go ahead.
My man Trendy became a YouTube member. Shout out to Trendy.
75, you 50.
Rod sent through a members chat and said, Mars minutes, we so back, man. Brunson top 4. What?
I do think Brunson's a top 4 point, but I agree. I do think he's a top 4. Yeah, I'm back.
Who loses their minutes the most on PC? We can have that conversation.
Who what?
loses their minutes the most on PC? Because Mars won his minutes when he said Mars minutes are back. So like, who loses their minutes the most on PC? Chat, who do you think loses their minutes the most on PC?
What's net rating on PC?
Who has the worst net rating on PC?
That's beautiful. I love that.
Wait. And we're including anybody. Now, I don't care what y'all say. Dion loses his minutes more than anybody else. I don't care about laughs. I don't care about all that. It's Dion.
Dion is.
Dion won them dudes. Dion one of them dudes I think I was talking about when I was talking about the Kyle Kuzma thing, where it's like, to y'all on the outside, he looked weak, but he winning games for us though. Like Dion, you could say he's a net negative or whatever the term is, but shit, we need them minutes, man.
Shout out Dion. You'll be seeing him next week. I promise you. Simon 7.
Shout out Dion from Ohio, man. Shout out Dion from Ohio, man.
Dion wild as hell.
He gonna bring this up as soon as he get on screen too. That's right. I heard you said I'd be losing my net minute. I'm like LeBron. I never lose. I'm a winner. 4 of them. I beat Chill head to head.
LeBron and never lose in the same sentence.
Simon 718 said, ask Chill the same question earlier this morning, but want to hear from the rest of the panel. They won't, but if the Pacers, they will, and when the Pacers beat OKC in 5 in the finals, where does this finals run rank?
In 5?
It doesn't rank.
If they beat the Thunder in 5,
I'm not gonna lie.
That might be one of the most impressive finals victories.
It will be the biggest choke job ever.
No, not choke. Earn. They would have earned that.
No, it will be a choke job. That's what it will be.
You beat Milwaukee in 5. You beat the Cavs in 5.
Mm-hmm.
You would have beat the Knicks in 5.
Mm-hmm.
The series is over if you beat the Knicks in 5, and then you end up beating Oklahoma City in 5.
16-4 while going through the 64-win number 1 seeds.
That's pretty impressive.
By going against maybe the best player in the world.
That's pretty impressive.
Then obviously beating the Knicks, who beat the reigning champs, so beating the team that knocked off the reigning champs, and then beating the team with the second best net rating of all time, the MVP, and like one of the best playoff net ratings of all time, and one of the best defenses of all time. Being that team in 5.
You know,
I understand. There's been some injury fortune on that side. I understand that. Oh god damn! Hey, the Pacers do that. Woo.
How many days do the OKC Thunder have to prepare for the Indiana Pacers?
The same amount of days. One extra day.
They don't.
One extra day, actually.
No, I'm just asking how many days from now.
If the Pacers win now, 6. I think it's 6. If they win today, well, technically 5.
That's 3 days more than they needed. OKC in 4.
Final start.
All right, y'all.
Sweet.
Hey, man, I'm rooting for the Pacers, man. I want to see some.
Cole Panda became a member and then sent through a super chat and said, "Could this OKC team beat the 2017 Warriors?"
Well, maybe
Warriors in 6. Warriors in 6.
Well, no,
Warriors in 4.
That matters. SJ will be the 3rd best player on the floor and they can still win.
Warriors in 6. But like this thing, the 2017 Warriors still had okay depth. Like by 2019, they were cooked.
They respect Caruso, Sean Livingston. Casey Wallace, Iggy.
Caruso's not even depth. Caruso's
Swipe. But like, really close.
You get to a point where like Golden State could go legitimately like 8 deep. Like they could go with 8 guys. Like that. And then when your top 4 is that good, and you have a legitimate 8-man, because Kevon Looney was in that rotation, Livingston, JaVale, Iguodala. That was like their non-core guys.
I think
you go 8 deep, and then you have Steph, Clay, Draymond, KD.
Warriors win, man.
Well, them dudes don't even want to play past game 2. Past game 2, they're gonna be like, bro, this shit ain't even fun no more.
Nah, I think that OKC defense can get a couple games, but Warriors in 6.
Chris E, speaking of OKC, Chris E said OKC ain't dominating the West. The West were injured this year. Lakers had no center or shooters. Mavs will be better next year with Kyrie back.
Is OKC better than any team LeBron played in the finals?
Is OKC better than the 2016 Warriors, basically?
That's the question, yeah. Because remember, Steph, now, you remember the playoffs, Steph wasn't.
I'm factoring in the 2016 Warriors that the Cavs played.
That's the best team he played against. I don't know if they better. That's the best team he played against. I don't know if they better than that 2007 Spurs team.
Yes, they are. But
are they better than that Mavs team in 11?
Yes.
Dirk could do these dudes dirty. Chill. Don't listen to Marsh. Chill. Don't listen to Marsh.
The only question
Dirk is the
of
difference.
are they better is the 14 Spurs and the 16 Warriors.
Chill. Don't listen to Marsh.
No.
Dirk can fry the defense. It doesn't mean they're not the Thunder are
The
still better
team is
I
better,
think
but
Dirk,
Dirk,
yeah, I
yeah,
think
Dirk
Dirk
is
would fine.
different.
I think Dirk would-
Matter of fact,
I
I'll take
think Dirk is like
2011.
the perfect matchup for OKC. Like Dirk is like the perfect offensive player if you want to go against OKC, in my opinion. So what Dirk would do would be unspeakable.
Yeah, just put them at the
I still
nail.
think OKC are a clearly better team.
Then
Sure.
how
Hey,
did the We
check-
Believe
Right,
Warriors
If I'm
stop them?
factoring in the fact that the
That
Cavs
was 2007.
played the 16 Warriors were playing against the
I know.
compromised
Yeah.
Steph, I think
y'all
it's
know what
still
JK
Dirk.
gonna do to SGA?
All
just
I'm
think about
all I'm
Just
saying,
think
all I'm
about
saying
it.
more is all
Think
I'm
about
saying
it
is
for a
that
second.
that pressure on the perimeter, I don't think affects Jason Kidd the way it affects
Or
other
JJ Perea.
Whoa. Yeah,
Or
Mars,
Jason
Mars.
Terry.
So 2018
You know,
Braun, we had
Evan
this
Harris,
conversation.
Jason Kidd's
He-
panic levels are like, bro. Like,
He would have lost to the
Facts.
Warriors and the Rockets. Does 2018 Braun, that same Cavs team, lose to this OKC team?
California.
Yeah,
we don't stress out
the
more.
In the
2018
same amount of games,
The
same amount of
2018
games.
Cavs damn near get swept by this team.
Yeah. Oh wow,
Just so we're right.
you hear
But
that, Chill?
I
agree.
Thunder
That team
team
was
was better
balling.
than the Warriors with a compromised Steph. I think if Steph's fully healthy in 2016, I don't know if they're better than that.
Bogut and Bogut injury.
Bogut injury, Draymond suspension. They're better than that the Warriors team.
Ron, this is what happens when you do super chat into the show. That they're interesting.
Multi Kenny became a member, and he said, "Dub return of the Hoop Talk duo."
Yes,
Shout out to Hoop Talk duo.
Who talk back this weekend? So what's happening?
H-Town T became a YouTube member. Shout out to H-Town T. And then Juju sent through a super chat and said, check Case and Wallace and both of OKC's first rounders for Cooper Flag.
No.
I think OKC is overpaying.
Nope.
I agree. I agree.
No.
H-Town T44 said, Swiper, can Denver be a real destination for
Go ahead
Denver?
on Swiper. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Michael
mean, if
loves
he
KD
wants
in
to,
Denver.
if he
loves
wants to,
Denver.
but I don't know. KD doesn't seem, based on what I'm hearing, he seems to really want to be like more around like situations that he wants to be in, like in terms of like fit, like maybe hoopers and all this stuff, which is fine. But I don't know if he wants to be in Denver. But I think I've said for years, he goes to Denver. I think that's the easiest ring he ever wins, and I think OKC that series is over. Chill. I mean, Penn. I think that series is over. That's just they're cooked. If you got a wing scorer like that, they can offset their 2-man with. And then even a 2-man with him and Yoke, and then the isolation scoring alone. Yeah, I mean, they've never had that before. They've never had that before.
The Nuggets are Kevin Durant away.
7 gram swish said, what are 1 to 2 things Ant can improve on? I think his vision while getting downhill needs to be better.
Mid-post scoring, mid-range shooting. That's the important thing because he added the deep range shot. He already has the rim pressure. Now he needs to learn to navigate those 20 feet of space between the 3-point line and the rim, and needs to become deadly at reading those situations, knowing, when to go, when to defer, when to force, having those counters. Like that's the difference because he's a way better athlete in terms of explosion to the rim
All
and
of this
burst.
stuff is with the ball. He needs to learn how to play off the basketball.
That too.
He doesn't know how to play off the ball.
Because he's
I think
never really
that's the
played
biggest
without the
thing there.
basketball in his whole career.
He's got to learn that.
But
As
that's
a guard, he's got to learn how to play without the
But
ball.
see, Chill, that's the cool thing about someone like Shea, who wasn't that consensus 5-star the whole way through, didn't come in right away and was like asked to be the man. Is he had to develop his full game throughout, going to Kentucky to being on the Clippers, to even when he got to the they didn't just hand him the opportunity, so he had to become like a complete basketball player. So now when he gets to play off of another star, like shit, what one day maybe what the OKC Thunder are going to do is they're going to turn 2, 3, 4 of these assets into a really, really big time star like a Giannis. Well, guess what? Shea could play off of Giannis. Shea could play off of Jokic. Shea could play off of anybody. That's the cool thing about him. His game is malleable, which means when you want to push him off the ball, he's cool with it. He doesn't become useless.
I agree, man. SJ would be a great number 2 next to Jokic and Giannis, man. That'd be special basketball
in OKC.
Oops.
Nate sent through a members chat and said, saw something on Twitter and wanted to get the panel's thoughts. Does Chet go above Paulo in a 2022 redraft?
Yeah, I saw that too.
I was saying before the draft he should have gone number 1. I was on here saying, yes.
He's had 2 major injuries, Mars. Does that not matter?
I don't care.
You don't care.
He doesn't go above Paulo.
That last injury was so accidental though. Like that was so random.
The hit the I don't care. I think he's the best player from that draft. So
I agree, he is, but I think Paulo still goes number 1. The archetype is really valuable.
J-Dub is like clearly the third
number 3. Yeah.
J-Dub.
So that's crazy though, right?
Yeah, OKC really won that draft.
J-Dub in Houston.
They got the way they got J-Dub was so disgusting. By the way,
I was high on J-Dub, but that's because
J-Dub was considered a reach at 12. But y'all imagine what those OKC practices be like. Usman Jang, who is on the same team as J-Dub, literally went a pick before J-Dub.
Got to bounce, fellas.
All right,
you got them all.
Usman Jang was an interesting project. I thought if Usman Jang worked out, it would have been nice.
Masinko said, y'all see this Suggs and Garland trade rumor?
Yeah, I saw that.
Helps.
That'd be interesting.
Garland
with the Magic would be great, and then Suggs with the Cleveland would be really great as well.
I just don't see the Donovan Mitchell. Like I don't see it.
You say you don't see like him as the ball handler, like the guard.
I don't see him A as your point guard, primary decision maker, and B is I just don't see you building a team around Donovan Mitchell. And you're just a consensus, like, especially with what it looks like you have to do to win a championship now. What Boston had in 24, what OKC have now. I don't think you're doing that with Donovan Mitchell.
But Jalen Suggs a dog, like a real dog.
Really like
he could really, really angry.
No,
imagine putting imagine putting Jalen Suggs and Evan Mobley on the same team. Like the other team might not actually score 10 points in a quarter. That's some crazy stuff. And I think
now Jarrett Allen might need to go because Evan Mobley's. I think his numbers seem to be a lot better, if I remember correctly.
You want to play full-time center?
It's possible.
Yes, I want Mobley playing full-time 5. I've been wanting that for a long time. And now that they lost, I also want them to split up the back. So it's also something I've been saying for a long time.
Garland plus Allen plus something for Giannis. Who says no?
The Bucks.
No, they don't. No way the Bucks.
I mean, Garland and Jared Allen. I don't have.
That's a lot, bro. That's a lot. If you're a small market team, you want to stay relevant. Darius Garland and Jared Allen, you could do a hell of a lot worse than that. Those are 2 all-stars.
I'd listen, but like I said, I'm not trading him. So I'm saying that.
All right, y'all. Mo sent through a members chat and said, "Is Russ and Harden generational?"
Yes.
I think so.
They're generational players. Yes, generational talents. I don't think so.
Rebounding guard, free throw baiting. Yep.
Russ might be the best 2K guard of all time, at least in the post Kobe era, because you right triggered him to the basket in that mid range was special stuff, Mars. Special stuff.
John Morant,
I could never use Steph Curry correctly.
John Wall.
John Wall was another one.
Derrick
but I couldn't use him. I didn't know how to get his jump ball. Klay Thompson.
Now Klay. Steph Curry was
broken. Klay on the wing, bro. Klay, perfect release. It's green every time. You're done.
Bryce Lawson with the members chat. Bryce said Thunder 4 picks. Big move coming. KD reunion.
Possibly.
They really could go get KD if they wanted to.
They will never.
They won't. They just be like, oh, here you go.
They won't. That's not how Sam Presti operates. They won't do it.
Macho Man 124 said the devil lives in Gary, Indiana.
Heard it before.
Shout out to Gary
in the poach.
Who's that?
I'm assuming Tyrese Halliburton.
Oh, well, the most popular Gary, Indiana person of all time is Penn.
Who?
Damn.
Michael Jackson.
It's Janet Jackson.
Okay.
Renji became a YouTube member today. Shout out to Renji. Also, Black Moon Swordsman said, I really do like you, Penn, but your eyes were closed when Kobe was playing. Do you really not believe that switching peak Kobe with peak SGA would make OKC better? Peak Kobe didn't play with Shaq.
Peak Kobe was what, 27, 28 years old? 29, according to you? Or are we talking about 81 point Kobe? I think Kobe was amazing, man. I actually, weirdly enough, think Kobe would be better in this generation. I think he would be better in today's NBA where they're conceding so many mid-range shots. I think his athleticism and stuff, I think he'd be great. I just think SGA is so incredible. I think SGA is so much better at taking care of the ball. I think he's just a little bit more efficient. His decision-making is a little bit better. His defense is worse. His athleticism is worse. So I think it's splitting hairs between these two players, man. I don't really think there's a big gap. Could I see this version of Kobe maybe leading this type of OKC team? Maybe. But maybe we need to talk about the fact that Kobe didn't really know how to lead a team. And, you know, like early on in his career, that was the biggest thing. He's like distance from his teammates. He's a lone wolf. Look at Shea. Look at the create.
Kobe was the leader of that three-peat.
Oh Lord,
No.
you must be.
Like Shaq was the best player. Kobe was the leader.
Well, I would say what the role players were leading that team.
Respect Rick. No, Phil
they had
Jackson
a lot of
was the
veterans
leader.
on those
Okay, Phil
rosters.
Jackson was the leader.
Yeah,
And
they had a
also,
lot of
let's not even compare winning championships with Phil Jackson versus winning championships with Mark Daignault.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean,
Like,
to be fair, they had Rick Fox, they had Derek Fisher on that roster. Like, I mean, they were
Derek Fisher is younger than Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was the leader.
But like,
well,
I don't want to be
like
disrespectful to Kobe. I don't want to be disrespectful to Kobe at all. That wasn't my point. But it was just I think they had a lot of veterans to help. Ron, I'll say that, to help Kobe. I'll say that.
Yeah, for sure.
And he never won without Derek for a reason, by the way. I'm not saying because Derek was like some transformational player. I think Derek mattered in that locker room. Does that make sense, Ron?
No, absolutely.
Yeah, and also Derek Fisher was not younger than Kobe. Just so we're clear about that.
They were around the same age.
They were 4 years apart.
So Derek Fisher's 4 years
freshman
older.
and 20 senior.
Shut up.
They were. I think they were in the same draft, 96, 97, right? Kobe came out in the 96 draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kobe came out as a 17-year-old in the 96 draft. Derek Fisher was already 22.
Well, they were the same level of NBA experience.
Yeah, but Derek Fisher had 4 years of college experience.
When I say that, I was like Keedy out there. Right?
Agility test. Hey, man.
Zenon Foz with the members chat and said SGA plus the greatest Thunder player equals a mouse.
I don't know what that means.
I have no clue what that means. But shout out to the mouse that equals. Andre Q said, I just don't like putting players in convos off of a couple of seasons. Show me this for 8+ years and you got it.
That's not the way anything works. It only works that way when you don't like the player that's in the conversation. That's the truth. We didn't need 8 years of Michael Jordan dominating for us to put him over Magic and Bird. We saw it for a couple of years. We're like, all right, cool, it's legit.
Well, to be fair, Michael Jordan was the best player in the world by 1987-88. Just to be fair.
I mean,
yes,
I just like
he probably was the best player in '86. It just took a year or two to correct. Look, last year,
86 was the Larry year.
Hang on, last year this time, Nikola Jokic got MVP. He got on television. Shaquille O'Neal said, "No disrespect, big man. I think it should have been Shea." And Jokic was coming off the best year of his career. This year, Jokic second best year, third year best, whatever, second best year of his career. And this year, he puts up the best year of his career statistically. And Jokic actually beats him. So my point is, when have any of the guards you want to compare, Shea to and say he's not better than this guy? When have they ever beat a player better than Jokic for a league MVP?
No, that's
never.
Well, no.
And according to Shaq, this should have been
the level of play.
Shea's
The
second.
level of play wasn't the biggest difference. People even said up here, like if Jokic won 55, 57 games this year again, they would have got it to him. The 68 win to 50 win was the difference.
Right. But Shea's a huge driver of wins for his team. So if the gap was close,
but it's not penalizing Jokic for
but this is the same argument as Donovan Mitchell, first team All NBA. Was he clearly better than Ant? No. Was he clearly better than Steph? No. But his team won more. So that's how I know.
But
works.
I'm saying I don't think the level of play was the same though. But go ahead. We can move.
Donovan Mitchell also shouldn't have been first team. But
I gotta go 220. Oh my god, I gotta show.
Merry Christmas.
All right,
peace.
Legendary Savage. All right, Swiper became a YouTube member. Shout out to Legendary Savage. Cameron sent through a super chat and said, "How is Jason Tatum having a better season than Wemby? Is he in JT talks?"
I have Wemby in that group. Like for me, I'm gonna leave him beat out of this for now because he doesn't exist. Okay, so I got Jokic is the best player in the world. Shea and Giannis and Luka for me are the next three. I don't know who the best is of that group. I don't know. I lean towards Giannis 2, Shea and Luka 3 and 4. I don't know. Then that next group is like Tatum, Wemby. I actually don't know who else after that. I think Wemby might be like the 6th best player in the league. So, yeah.
But when I said he was going to be 7, I was crazy. All right.
You were just early.
I'm always early. That's what I'm saying. I'm not wrong. I'm early.
Well, you can be wrong. Well, that one was a projection, so I'm not even going to say you was
wrong. Look, I look back at
you projected, and I think you projected accuracy.
Our video last year where I got cooked on my Cade take, Swiper was like, you get a good team around him, he's going to be great. Swiper cooked. He was a year early. See? Because the first compliment I pay to Swiper is when he leaves. But that's how I roll, I pay compliments to Swiper after he leaves.
You paid him.
He was right. I was wrong, for sure.
Oh, he was definitely wrong.
Desto said projecting a dynasty is extremely irresponsible. You were setting them up to be criticized. Let's just appreciate what they are doing in the moment.
No, but they accept the criticism. They accept that comes with it. Nobody who chases greatness is oblivious to the fact that greatness comes at a cost. Giannis has talked about this. Tatum's talked about this. LeBron's talked about this. Jordan's talked about it. Literally every great person has talked about it. It's like, because I'm choosing to put myself in this conversation, I accept that the other side of this is when I fall short, I will be a hated person and everyone's going to troll me. That's reality, man. You want to be main character, you got to put up with all that shit that comes with it.
Double MG sent through a super chat and said, I've seen some nasty convos / takes about Booker recently. I think he gets disrespected for real. I want to know how y'all rank him, etc.
I think he's the second best shooting guard in the league.
Behind Ant?
Yes. I don't know where that puts him in the league. I think he's a top 20 player. I couldn't tell you where. He's but this year I think was a bad year. But I think generally.
But Seymour's, I think Ant had a bad playoffs, like through and through. And I don't think Anthony compared like relative to what I would expect from Ant. Like he did not play good this series. He had one game.
Yeah,
he got outplayed by Julius Randle the prior two series.
No. He played better than Julius Randle in the Lakers series. Julius Randle played better in the Warriors series. But I think Julius Randle playing better in the Warriors series is more a testament to Julius Randle than it is a disservice to Ant. Ant played well against the Warriors. I just think Julius Randle played amazing. So I give Julius Randle that credit more than I take away from Ant. Like, oh, you got outplayed by Julius Randle. But no, Julius Randle elevated to a level that was like, yeah, okay. But
but neither one of them was the team's best player.
What?
Respect Terrence Shannon Jr.
Okay, my fault.
It's great.
But I'm saying that to say, just based on Ant's playoff performance, and I said bad. He didn't necessarily play bad, but he didn't play to the levels that I expected him to play to. With that being said, I have to have some thought about just who's the best shooting guard. I'm very high on Devin Booker, always have been. Donovan Mitchell did ball out in the playoffs this year, and Ant played how he played. So it's a toss up for me between those three. I don't know how I would rank them right now.
That's my ranking.
Cowboy Bob said, "Swiper, stop it. Ant-Man is a man of his word. Thus far about not getting swept in the playoffs. Need a game 6 for me to be right again. Go New York, go."
Knicks in 8. Knicks in 8. Knicks in 8. You gotta give him some buffer room. Knicks in 8.
I'm rooting for the comeback.
Andre Q said, "Man, F them projections. Show me something other than regular season wins. I'm not putting SGA over Dame, Kyrie, or Harden. Yes, he can, but he isn't.
The irony.
He can be, but isn't.
Dame, the irony is insane.
Shout out.
How can you say show me something more than regular season wins and then say he ain't over Dame? Shay's about to be in a part of the play. Shay's won more conference finals games than Dame has.
Shout out Big Dollar.
I don't know how you talk about playoffs and put Harden in that conversation as like we're not going to look at the ultimate playoff dropping in NBA history. Respect James Harden talent, but shit.
Dame drops more than Harden. But besides, it's cool. James Harden got the narrative on his back. He ain't gonna get rid of it this
time. We got a super chat from Saber. Saber said, "My name's Saber. Can one explain defensive schemes, like how you know someone is in a zone and what is a zone? Sorry if not makes sense or if it doesn't make sense."
A zone is where instead of guarding a matchup, so we'll do typical. Imagine a point guard guards the point guard, etc., etc., etc. Instead of you guarding a person, you're guarding an area of the court. So that's what a typical zone is. So if someone cuts through, you don't follow the cutter. Someone else, the person who relocates to that area of the court, you are now guarding them. That's what a zone defense is. It's basically, it just makes it. It's meant to give up. Basically, what normally happens is either you give up shots around the free throw line, or you end up giving up open threes because of people moving within the zone, and then also you run the risk of giving up offensive rebounds because you're not guarding anyone, you're not boxing out. Like it's harder to find a body to box out. So like the downsides of a typical zone are shots in the middle of the lane, so like free throws and stuff, open jump shots, and then offensive rebounds. But that's what a typical zone is. Now there's way more complex zones that teams run nowadays, but that's the typical zone. And then you got lineouts 2-3.
What's your favorite zone defense against an alpha scoring guard?
I mean, it depends on the type of scorer they are, but I think a 2-1-2 is always cool. So you have someone just hovering around the free throw line, and you have two on the back line, two at the top. They're basically just guarding him. Denver did a lot of things that were practically a 2-1-2 with Jokic as the one in the middle. So yeah, I think 2-1-2 is cool. Many different zones for many different people. But 2-1-2 would be one that I think is quite effective.
Nick Tri-State said, "Let me see SGA break a finger in his shooting hand. Change how he has shot. Change how he shoots the ball. Then win a chip. People forget, but I'm here to remind y'all."
Dub, Nick Tri-State. Remind us, please.
He did do that in 2020. He did.
Killer Predator 00 said, "Russ game 1 against the Suns a couple years ago, 3 for 19. Didn't need to bring that up.
I think I remember that game.
You know, I just want to say people really do be forgetting like how good Pau Gasol was. Pau Gasol, the version that Kobe won with, is so much better in my opinion than the current versions of J-Dub and Chet. Like Pau Gasol was great. Like he legitimately was outplaying like some of the greatest power forwards. I mean,
Pau was tough.
Pau was amazing. So
Pau was amazing.
You running 5.7 said OKC reminds me of the Legion of Boom. After all, they are. All right, y'all. It's been a good episode.
You're not rooting for OKC because of the Sonics thing.
You said
the
Thunder don't take the Sonics like legacy stuff. Like they don't have the banner.
Yes.
Do they?
Yes.
No, I mean like.
But if
no, I mean
the
Thunder organization,
right?
the Thunder organization like denies those things, but they're like attributed it on like the NBA. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Have they ever won the Sonics Sonics throwbacks?
No.
I don't think the Thunder even have the banner from '79 hanging. I don't think they do.
I don't think they do either, and I think there's a good reason for that because the Sonics are going to come back to Seattle. Yeah. But I do want to say, neither the OKC Thunder nor the Indiana Pacers have ever won an actual NBA championship, and I can't believe we got 3 hours and 30 minutes into the show before actually saying that. Neither one of these franchises has actually
because the Knicks about to come back.
Okay,
on,
shit,
come
coming back like Willis Reed. Okay, cool.
Yeah, come on, I believe.
Football Breakdown said Swiper still crying. I see. Joker was a playoff drop this year and isn't a Game 7 demon. Quit using selective numbers and overly complex vocab to push your goofy ass agendas.
I don't find his vocab overly complex.
Jokic did drop in the playoffs offensively this year for sure.
Everyone drops against OKC. That's what makes them a generational defense.
We'll see in the finals.
He dropped against the Clippers too, but like defensively, I think he stepped up from where he was.
Mars, he averaged a triple-double. How much did he really drop? And he was going up against a great defensive team. The Clippers are a great defensive team. And apparently, Ivica Zubac is like his ultimate stopper.
You're just giving me the reasons why he dropped. But he dropped. I don't think playoff dropping is like, people view playoff dropping as if it's like the insult on a person's career. Like most people drop. You can still drop and be better than everyone else. Like, I don't care. Jokic was still maybe the best playoff performer in the playoffs this year. That's how great he still was. But he dropped. Like, he dropped.
LeVar B. Ballin said Ron got CTE. They were putting Curry in MJ and Kobe talk.
They definitely were doing it. They definitely were.
The point
they still are.
They were, and you guys obviously like when like if Shea averages 35 in the finals, he's gonna get thrown into those talks. But here's the thing: is
he played the Pacers, he might average 40.
Once you come off that hangover, then people start to put you in actual talks that you're.
What if he averages 50, Ron? Because your defense will give it up. What if he averages 50 in the finals? What are you going to say then?
I know another Canadian that's not going for that. Okay.
Oh, Nembhard?
He not going for it at all.
What is he going to do?
What if he averages 23 because Nembhard putting the clamps on that boy? Because Nembhard and Neesmith, they both just taking turns.
Jaden McDaniels,
defensive attention, so
I know you just watched Jaden McDaniels give up 40. Like if Jaden McDaniels can't do shit with Rudy Gobert blocking him, what do you think Andrew Nembhard and Miles Turner are gonna do? I mean, bro, Scotty Barnes put up 35 on the Pacers this year. Okay, like everybody cooks the Pacers, so I accept that y'all playoff defense a lot better because Aaron Neesmith's been doing a great job, but Aaron Neesmith can't do shit with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
We'll see. Backup said personal agenda push. Who do you think has been more impactful this playoffs, Gobert or Caruso?
Caruso.
I got Caruso by a mile.
What question is that?
Luke Bacon said, so last year Chet gets bullied by Jonas, then he's fooled at the rim, now he's in the finals.
Oh my God. The Chet discourse on this channel has been so bad. Since before he got drafted and I was saying he needs to go number 1, all I had to listen to was stuff about his weight and his frame. And then everyone was victory lapping because he missed. Well, no one was happy that he got hurt and missed year 1. But they were using that to confirm that, oh, I see Chet, he's not going to last. He's not going to last. He's one of the best defensive players in the NBA. Like, I don't know what to tell you. He would have been
Top 5.
Damn near would have been DPOY this year if he stayed healthy. Now, I don't think he's a better defender than Wemby, but I do think he is a top 5 defender in the sport. I think he's one of the best rim protectors in the league. I refuse. The food at the rim stuff is genuinely one of the worst things I've ever heard. And I'm never going to forget it because that's a disgraceful opinion. So,
yo, when I posted that video, people were like, no one has ever said this. Point to the person who said this. People couldn't believe. It's so incredulous. Like the Shea Kobe stuff, you can cook it and say, oh, it's presumptuous, it's too early. But people could believe you at least said it. The Chet food at the rim stuff is like saying Alex Caruso is a defensive liability. It's genuinely crazy.
I'm saying, we want Steph Curry to shoot threes.
Right.
Yeah, that's how defensive game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steph shoot.
Like Sam Mitchell saying, we're going to guard Kobe single coverage. Like that. You know, it's just crazy shit.
From Jersey. Jersey said first team, MVP, All-Star, scoring title, Finals MVP, Western Conference Finals MVP as well. Don't forget about that. And champ. This hasn't been done since Shaq in 2000. SGA has a chance to make history.
Because the scoring title separates him from the LeBron. Okay, gotcha.
So the only people who have done that, am I wrong, is
Michael.
Shaq and MJ?
Mm-hmm.
Kareem? Never.
Did Kareem win a scoring title that year?
It would have had to have been 71.
It would have to be 71. I'll check.
Did Larry Bird ever win a scoring title?
No.
Well, then no one else has done it.
Kareem 71. Kareem 71. Yep, Kareem 71.
Come on, man. I know my GOAT like I know the back of my hands.
Okay, so it's Kareem, Michael, Shaquille O'Neal, and Shea. Oh my God.
I would argue that's 3 of the top 5 players in the history of the game.
4. Nah, fuck it. Let's go. 4.
Yeah, I would argue that's 3 of the top 5 ever, and then Shea.
There you go.
Andrew Coleman said, chill. I need you to cook Ant because if that was Tatum, they would be killing him if he played bad like that.
Ant and Tatum are in different tiers as players.
Basically. Void Century said, Penn, during Westbrook's prime, his starting 5 of Adams, Ibaka, Roberson, and in the only floor spacer, KD, was like playing in the early 2000s. Teams packed the paint on OKC.
There's a 6 to 7% efficiency gap at the rim between a truly great player, in my opinion, like a great scorer and a rim finisher like D Wade in his prime versus Russell Westbrook. And I'm confirmed 100% of my mind, nothing is ever going to tell me different, that they are similar levels of athlete. So the only difference in those 7% is really just decision making. Intelligence, court mapping, touch, feel, all that stuff. And I just think Russell Westbrook, the numbers put him in conversations that, in my opinion, his game doesn't belong in.
Well, Russ was never the greatest finisher.
I feel the same way you feel about the numbers, just with a different name.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
I don't know.
Scotty Barnes, Jokic. Who you want to roast today?
I don't want to roast anybody.
Tyrese Halliburton.
Mad Max Sports Talk said, if Wemby generational, why ain't Chet? Both generational rim protectors, and move crazy being 7 foot. When was the last time we seen someone like Ant?
If they're both generational, then neither one of them is generational. That's the crazy part. Because if there's 2 of them, then they're not generational.
2 people can be generational. I think the thing with Wemby is Wemby has way more of a perimeter game than the defensive stuff. Wemby was a better defensive prospect than offensive one, but I think what made Wemby generational beyond the defense was the offensive potential that I just don't think Chet has. Because defensive prospects like Anthony Davis was a generational defensive prospect, but I don't think he was a generational prospect because the offensive game was so raw.
But he's a better shooter.
Turned into offensively. I mean, yeah, Wemby had the shooting indicator. Wemby was like an 8% free throw shooter in France. And
yeah, but it hasn't quite translated to that level of shooting that Chet. I mean, again, Chet has been a shaky shooter at times from the line.
Factoring like the self-creation and stuff with Wemby and degree of difficulty, I think they're quite comparable.
I think the flexibility of Wemby and the sheer size of Wemby, like again, him being closer to 7'5" and even Chet being closer to like 7'1", that 4-inch gap is just, that's the generational part. We've never seen a player like, we've seen 7-footers move like pretty crazy. Like KD's damn near 7 feet. You know, Garnett was 7 feet. They're all very fluid, right? We've seen fluid movers at 7 feet. Damn near, we've seen Thon Maker at 7 feet. Okay, we've seen a lot of players who were fluid at 7 feet. I don't think we've ever seen a player north of 7'3" who was fluid. That's what I think. That's the separator.
K-Dot said trade scenario: Darius Garland to the Magic for Anthony Black, Jonathan Isaac, Goga, and 2 first. Thoughts?
Just a lot of defense you're getting back.
Crazy defense.
Ooh, I think I don't know. I'd struggle with like these types of trade packages. I don't know. I would be looking at Garland if I was the Magic.
I like that for both teams, honestly. Like at first, I didn't like it for the Cavs, but they really get 3 good rotation pieces.
You're clearing out so much of your defense. Paolo's not a great defender. Darius Garland's not a good defender. So you just basically like
you've changed the identity of your team.
Fundamentally, yeah. And honestly, I want the ball in Paolo and Franz's hands. Why am I adding a third playmaker? I need shooting. I need play finishing. I need
provide shooting.
Right, but Darius Garland provides great shooting, but his talents are most maximized on the ball.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
So
I mean,
now
shoot, though.
Okay, but now is Paolo? Okay, imagine this offense: Paolo and Franz on opposite wings, spacing out for Darius Garland. Come on now, that's a cramped paint.
What about a pick and roll with one of them though?
Oh, that's great. That's great, but that's
neither one are great screeners. So, I mean,
that too, right? So people always assume that people who have on-ball skills, like we're looking at this with the draft with Trey Johnson, like, oh, he just learned how to screen. He'll just learn how to cut. I don't know about that. Cutting is a skill. Screening is a skill. Offensive rebounding is a skill, right? Not everyone's going to rebound like Josh Hart just because you take the ball out of their hands.
Andre Q said, why does Shay's 3 seasons put him in D-Wade convos? Laughing emojis. Yes, he is a great scorer, but he hasn't done shit.
Well, I'm talking strictly peaks when I say I think Shay's in that tier 2 of guards, which means I'm talking about 2 or 3 years. And respectfully, D-Wade ain't exactly the king of longevity. When I talk about D-Wade, I'm really thinking about maybe 4 seasons, 06, 09, 2010, and 2011. Everything else is like either he was hurt or he just wasn't at that level to where we're really talking about. And 06 is because the playoff run was like where it was. Even then, 06 Wade isn't even comparable to 09 in my opinion. So like they have comparable time frames in my opinion.
Yeah, Shay's gonna, in terms of resume, Shay's probably gonna lap D-Wade. He's probably gonna wash.
I mean, he's gonna have the MVP. He's gonna have the MVP that D-Wade never got.
Yeah.
A likely Finals MVP, which D-Wade has one of, and then everything is gonna be him stacking up all NBAs and all stars.
He's already 3-time first team All NBA.
Yeah,
that's crazy. He's 26.
He'll probably surpass James Harden in terms of resume on paper as well. So,
well, what I will say is earlier when I was pointing to his numbers, we don't know when we hit a peak with a player. Like with Giannis, when he was 25, I thought, what if he keeps getting better? What if he adds a 3? And it's just like the what if he didn't though, right? With Shai, we don't know. Like he could have he could have an injury. You know, touch wood. I hope he doesn't. He'd have an injury, and next year's a disaster. We just saw this with Jason Tatum. And then all those plans are laid to waste. And we realize actually the peak that we were hoping for actually already happened. It could happen. But I'm saying if he takes one more step, and he's been known to be adding these pieces every single offseason, like all those demons from the past, like Kobe and Michael and all those guys and Steph, those guys who consistently added to the game. If he adds a deep range shot and he becomes a better decision maker and he becomes even stronger at the rim, you really are talking about like one of the best seasons ever. Forget guards, forget last 25 years, just all time seasons. Peak.
I'm Drake Q said, man, stop it. Shea is not close to KD. These convos been nasty. If you put any good scorer in the league with that defense, nothing changes.
I disagree with that second part. I do think KD's better than Shea, though.
By a bit. I think it's by a bit.
I'm comfortable taking KD, but I also depends how you define close. I don't know.
I think the decision making of Shea is a little bit better. I think the defense is close. KD provides more at the rim. I think Shea provides a little bit more as a team defender on the perimeter. I think the leadership intangible, though, that element of like, do you take responsibility for how your guys are doing? That shit always bothered me about KD, where he kind of deferred. He didn't really have that sort of, this is my team, this is my moment, this is my responsibility, that thing that a lot of people kind of criticized him for. I think that's something that Shea has in spades. So if we're looking just like, okay, analytics, shooting numbers, shooting form, size, whatever, yeah, in 2K, KD clears 100%. I take KD 1000% in 2K. But in real life, when all the intangibles and leadership and, you know, clutch presence and how do you show up in those big moments and all that stuff matters, and how do you have those tough conversations with your team, and how do you defer, and how do you choose when to pick your spots, that stuff, I think Shea has it, man. I think it's really, really close, or he's got it.
And Mars, can you run that poll on Twitter and let us know how it goes tomorrow?
What, Shea versus KD?
KD rules Twitter.
Oh, man. I'm actually already running that poll.
Oh shit!
Yeah, been running for about an hour and a half. Yep, been running for an hour and a half. KD has 78% of the votes.
KD runs Twitter, man. That's what I'm telling you.
I'm Drake Q said, love SGA, but can we at least wait for something to happen before putting him in convos with players who have had great careers?
We're talking about peaks. We're not talking about career.
I understand not wanting to be premature, but it gets to a point where it's like, at what point are you just denying what you're seeing because you want to see more? Like, does that make sense? Like, I understand, like, you don't, after one game, you don't want to be like, oh, this guy's better than MJ. I get it. But if we get to a point where it's been 2 years of Shea doing whatever he's doing, and you're still like, I haven't seen enough, like, come on, I feel like at some point you just gotta like acknowledge what your eyes are seeing. I don't know. I don't know when the time is. Like, I couldn't tell you. I feel like at some point like that time has to be there.
I agree. Also, people just think that they're cool because they just be like, small sample size, too soon. But it's like, bro,
Like,
you've been doing it for 3 years. 3 years of top 5 MVP finishes is nothing. 3 years of this shit, 3 years of all NBA first team is nothing. Shit, man. People are crazy.
It's definitely been 3 amazing years. I'll get after Shea.
That's almost 1,000 days, Ron.
No, and that's why he's at where he's at. Like, in terms of the in the league right now, and in terms of how good the Thunder are, it's just certain conversations that I refuse to put him in just yet. And part of it isn't necessarily the 3 years, and it's also, and I know I kind of went off on this earlier too. It's not even just the career. I just don't think Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is touching Kobe, and touching may be a bit excessive. I think it's a clear gap. And not that Steph Curry gap that you put. I think it is a sizable gap between those two.
I don't think you're asking the right questions. Name me another 26-year-old who won a championship with less developed talent around him.
Can't do that because their talent's developed on defense. That's their strong suit. Like, they seem pretty well developed on defense.
You're talking about a 21-year-old Cason Wallace coming off the bench, right?
And he is a demon on defense. Cason Wallace is one of the league's best defenders.
Right.
Over the last 10 years, Cason Wallace he's one of the better defenders that the league's seen.
I think it's hard to quantify like team success to an individual or group of individuals and say, well, how much of this is the training staff? How much of this is Cason himself? How much of this is his trainer? You know, shout outs to Eric. How much of this is leadership? I think the whole thing works in tandem. It's hard to separate it out, but Shea is a very, very, very big part of that team, man. I always say it. You take on the identity of your leaders. That team has taken on the identity of Shea for sure. So I do think that Shea has a lot to do with how good these young players are becoming.
All right, y'all. We got a couple more super chats, then we got to get up out of here. Russell Clark sent back-to-back super chats. He said, is Halliburton turning into what Lonzo Ball was supposed to be?
Lonzo, better defender. But yeah.
Lonzo as a prospect wasn't that good of a defender. He turned into that in the league, which was interesting. But what Lonzo was supposed to be, yeah, kind of.
I could see that. I could see where it's going with that. Russell Clark said, "Can we do an all-or list as well? I got Dr. J, Allen Iverson, Kyrie, etc." One day, Russell, during this summer, we are going to. I'm adding it to my list right now. We will do an aura draft.
We gonna redo our top 10s at each position.
Yeah. Can't wait to do that.
Was Penn here when we did that last year?
Aura list?
No, our top 10 all time at each position.
I don't think so.
I need that. I'll be the Sabonis fourth best center.
All right, y'all. It has been real. We did a lot of overtime today, but you guys are welcome. We'll be back tonight on Playback. Y'all be sure to pull up and, well, enjoy the Pacers sending the Knicks to Cancun. Until then, we'll catch y'all at the same time, same place tomorrow. We out.
Peace.